I guess let's just jump right in. We've got a couple drop shot baits, for example, like flatworms and flat nose minnows. And my favorite colors are typically just natural colors or shad colors. So we've got brownback, something like a green pumpkin, as you can see, natural shad. Here's some more of those flat nose minnows. I just like to keep them in a bulk. I can always change the color by using some sort of a spike it or a dip and glow, but I prefer that natural matte color in that power bait max scent. I think it really has an amazing profile that not a lot of baits have, as well as the max scent being a huge attraction for those fish. I do believe that scent works. Next up, we got some creature hogs, different colors, something kind of natural. I can fish in clearer water, and then something a little bit darker for those more dirty water situations. These as well pair perfectly on the back of a jig, and not a lot of people throw a beaver trailer on a jig, so I think that this would get a lot of attention. Next up, we just got some generals. And again, I like just kind of natural plain colors. So this is baby bass right here. And then we got green pumpkin. These are 6-inch and 5-inch. Both sizes work great. I recommend the 5-inch for wacky rigging, and then the 6-inch, you can Texas rig this guy. Next up is the Berkley fatty bottom hopper. These are not max scent. These are just your plain power bait, Berkley power bait scent. I think these are also effective in any situation. I mean, these things stink, bro. I mean, if you've ever opened a package of these, they smell. We got it in Junebug and Plum. And then lastly, we got some generals. And we got it in the Goat and Grimace. Two really nice colors. This is more natural, and then this is going to be a little bit more dirty color. Almost looks like a Junebug red, and then this one's kind of got that green pumpkin, blue fleck kind of thing going on. Even more max scent. But these are going to be the max scent chigger cross, which honestly these pair perfectly on the back of a trailer of a jig or a chatterbait if you rig it vertically, or just plain Texas rig. I mean, these guys work. And some of my favorite colors are typically going to be just like a dirty water color, for example, like black and red flake. I mean, this is money, dude. You pair this up on the I think it's called like Texas Craw is the color of jig in the Berkley lineup, and I mean, this thing would be perfect. Put it on a flipping jig, put it on a heavy cover jig, put it on a swimming jig. You may want to pick up a few packs. I've got more than a few packs, and I get them in different sizes as well. So you see, this is the 4-inch watermelon, and then I'll just go ahead and as well pick up the 3-inch and watermelon. And so you may be wondering, hey, why don't you just get the 4-inch and cut them down? Well, the reason being is A, you get more in the 3-inch, and B, I'll use the 4-inch on a Texas rig or a bigger profile jig, like a heavy cover, something that I'm like flipping and pitching, as opposed to the 3-inch watermelon. I can use him on just the back of a jig, like a small finesse jig. And I mean, again, these work phenomenally. I really like this color right here. It's Alabama Craw. Summer Craw. Summer Craw is a really, really good color. And that's in the full size profile as well. But like I said, 3-inch, 4-inch, 3-inch, 4-inch, and this is all just max scent chigger cross. And we got so many. The claws do get pinched off, so I recommend getting a whole bunch of these guys. But yeah, I mean, there's at least like 15 packs right there, just max scent craws, maybe more. Alright, next up, if you're really going for pressured bass, then the Little General can be extremely effective if you pair it on the back of a jig, a finesse jig, or you just put it on a Ned rig in general. I got it in peanut butter and jelly, as well as we got some more flatworms, and it's in that smoke purple fleck. And this is probably one of my favorite colors that Berkley makes. They don't make it in a lot of baits. I wish they did. I wish they made it in other different kind of baits, but the flatworm, smoke purple, money. Next up, we're just going to go to plain power bait chigger craws. We got it in Labatt. It's just a really sapphire kind of blue color. And again, watermelon seed. Here's blue craw. This is blue craw, so it's got green pumpkin with that blue flash in it. We got Okeechobee craw. I do keep the 3 and 4 inch as well. You get an extra one in the smaller size, so 10 count to 9 count. I got 10 jig trailers and then 9 Texas rigs, essentially. Summer craw works perfectly, even though it's called summer craw. Almost seems to work year round for me other than winter. And then we got some in the goat. This is the goat color. I think this was made by Mike Iaconelli. Again, it's that green pumpkin kind of blue fleck. Again, I mean, you're gonna go through a few packs, so just, you know, pick up a bunch, and I mean, you'll be good to go. So to me, this is like the brother to the Chigger Craw. Right here, we got Crazy Leg Chigger Craws, and I believe that is the green pumpkin, or pumpkin green fleck, excuse me. And again, we'll pick up the 3-inch size for the exact reason as well. These come with 10, these come with 8, so you're actually getting 2 more in the Crazy Leg Chigger Craw. Pumpkin green fleck, 3-inch, 4-inch, summer craw, 3-inch, 4-inch. Pretty much all the same colors. Okeechobee craw, black and red flake, watermelon candy. This color is a little bit difficult to get your hands on, but if you can, this is probably one of my favorite colored Crazy Leg Chigger Craw. Again, you pair it up on the watermelon candy jig lineup that they have, you can get some phenomenal jig pairings. I mean, I'd throw him on the back of a 1/2 ounce football jig, just slow drag him all day long. And I mean, yeah, that's money. Always double, triple, quadruple down on your baits, because they're gonna get ripped up, they're gonna catch fish. If you wanna have some action actually in your baits, then you need to have a little bit of supple and softness in your baits as well. So they will get ripped up, and that's normal. That's gonna be the case when you're catching them. So just expect that. Flute worms. Flute worms are probably one of the best worms to fish on a finesse presentation. You can rig them on a Texas rig. You can rig them wacky style. You can rig them Nico. You can rig them on a shaky head. Nail weight, especially in the head, it has a slot perfectly designed for nail weighting. And you know what? I'm actually going to take one of these out of the package and show y'all, because I'm a really big fan of them. But as you can see, a lot of action in the tail there. Kind of going to quiver around, and it's got that slotted head, so you can go ahead and put a nail weight in it. And then along the body, you'll see these segments and these indented segments right here, where you basically can put your O-rings and rubber bands to then put your hook through. And it comes in a lot of interesting colors that I personally like. So again, that smoke purple color, that's probably my favorite color. Anything that has a little bit of purple is right up my alley. Then we got, that one was just plain green pumpkin. Watermelon red, a really good standard wacky rig, Nico rig worm. It really comes in some interesting colors, guys. I really can't get over it. We got greeny weenie. It's kind of got that green watermelon seed, and then it's got a purple descent to it. It's got morning dawn, perfect on a drop shot. I had to pick up a whole bunch of these as well. We probably got like 7 packages of them, because I mean, they're probably one of the most versatile worms to exist. I mean, you're talking about the, you know, you're talking about the do-all kind of baits. I mean, this is it right here. You could go out and catch them and do every presentation with this. And they come with a bunch in there, right? Like this is the 5.7 size, so almost a 6-inch worm, and you're getting 12. The 4.7s, you get 15 of them. So I mean, that's worth it right there. Next up for finesse worms, these are more specifically for wacky and probably shaky head rigging. We got some 4.25 Berkley power bait generals. This is in Grimace, and we have it in Goat. Again, a natural color and then a dirty water color. Lastly, these are a little bit unpopular on the market, or I guess relatively newer than some of the other finesse worms and finesse baits I've shown. In the Berkley power bait lineup, the power bait water bug, designed by Mike Iaconelli. These float, so you want to fish them on a drop shot, a Ned rig. You're going to fish these and it's just going to sit vertically in that water column, or you're going to fish it on a Ned. It's going to sit straight up because it has that floating. That floating capability is really going to make it stand out from a lot of these other kind of baits. It's going to help you be a lot more snagless from the bottom. Maybe it'll help you hang right above the grass line or weed edge or something like that. So we got it in 2 colors here. We got it in Goby Magic. It's kind of got that purple and gold fleck. And then we got it in just your standard green pumpkin. And just a 3.3 inch size. They do have a bigger size, but I just figured I would personally be fishing them on a drop shot, so I didn't want to go too big. But yeah, I'm gonna keep a whole bunch of these power jerk shads. This right here is in the baby bass color, which is extremely effective, especially, you know, during spring, summer. It's got that nice glitter effect. It's gonna really reflect in the sunlight. And then we got white ice. This is probably what I would throw in fall and winter because the shad spawn, bass are feeding up on bait fish. White, extremely effective. But yeah, I'm gonna keep 3 and 3. So 3 packs of these and 3 packs of these. You can pair these up on the back of a chatterbait. You can pair them up on the back of a spinnerbait. You can mid-stroll them. You could put them on a drop shot. You could just Texas rig them. You can weighted Texas rig them. You can do a lot of things with the fluke, and especially it having that power bait scent is going to make it that much more irresistible and help you trigger a strike. So yeah, keep a bunch of these on deck and you'll be all right. Next up, we're going to have some creature baits. So a really old school one is going to be the fatty craw. I think this was designed by Bobby Lane. Yes sir, Bobby Lane designed these. These are a really great flipping bait. They've been around for a while, and I'll take one of these out of the package and just show y'all why I like them. Really effective. As you can see, it's got a really nice thin profile. Not too much water resistance. He'll be able to get in and out of cover real easy, and the durability on him is nice as well. Yeah, all around a great bait. I like him. The ridges, you get a lot of water displacement along with the appendages there on the side of the body. But yeah, this is in black and blue fleck. Probably one of my favorite colors to just flip and pitch around where I'm from. It's just dirty water. Dirty water, dirty water, dirty water. And if you've watched some of my videos, I think you kind of see the theme there. So yeah, the craw fatty, or the fatty craw, whatever you want to call it. It's a good one. Next up, we've got the Pit Boss, which was designed by Pro Skeet Reese. This right here is probably one of the most popular flipping and pitching baits. The power bait scent got smacked on there, and I think it became a great bait over the years. I mean, they have it in some really nice colors. That's black and blue, which y'all know what black and blue looks like. We got it in green pumpkin, just a nice natural color. And you know, with these two right here, with black and blue and green pumpkin, you can practically go anywhere in the US, maybe the world, I don't know, and catch them. Green pumpkin, black and blue, and then you throw like white in there and you're good to go. But yeah, just to make things interesting, I'll show y'all some of the I will show y'all some of my prized possession colors. No, I'm just kidding. Just to make things interesting, here's some of my favorite colors. This is the green pumpkin purple fleck. We've got the Skeet's Hot Craw. This one is extremely popular in the spring season. Junebug, just a classic. You know, everybody knows Junebug. Gotta love him. And then we got Green Haze. So this right here is essentially almost like a clear color with a blast of green fleck. And honestly, probably my 2 favorite colors have to be Green Haze, and then there's another one that's really, really difficult to get your hands on. I think it's called Skywalker. It's essentially the same thing. It's like a clear plastic, but it's got blue fleck just blasted through it. And if you can get your hands on those, these really represent a bluegill the best. And that's that Green Haze has got that green fleck, or the blue fleck if you can find it in the Skywalker, representing a bluegill. It really is probably one of the best flipping and pitching baits, bedding baits, Texas rig, put it on the back of a jig. And I'm going to show you why. It's so thick. I mean, the body on it is way different than that fatty craw I showed you. It's just got so much meat to it. Let's see if I can find one that maybe looks a little bit better. Here we go. It's got 4 appendages that just essentially look like fins. And I mean, bass can't resist it, dude. And it's covered in that power bait sauce as well. So, alrighty, for some more power bait soft plastics, we've got the Bonefish. It's essentially just a paddle tail that has ridges across the entire body, really displacing a lot of water, a lot of action with that paddle tail. And we got it in peanut butter jelly. Again, that purple peanut butter jelly, I can't resist it. I know the bass can't resist it as well. It comes in a 3.25 size, and then this one right here is the 2.5 size, and we've got it in Firecracker Chartreuse, which is probably one of the coolest looking colors I've ever seen. It's a clear plastic, but it's got red, white, and blue fleck blasted through it, so God bless America. And then just this chartreuse tail that's probably irresistible to these fish. But yeah, I haven't even fished with them yet, so y'all will be the first to see how it goes. Next up, we've got the Fatty Bottom Hopper. but in the smaller size. So the ones previous I showed were, I believe, like 8 or 9 inch. I'll grab them. They're right here. They are 7 inch, excuse me, 7 inch, and they're huge looking. And then you've got them right here in a 5 inch. This color right here is gonna be Watermelon Candy Red. Got a couple packs of those. And then this color right here is Skeet's Ghost Minnow. We're gonna pull one out for you guys because I can't resist it, and I might as well. You're here to watch an unboxing. Am I right? All right. So it's got this like clear purple bottom. It's like purple descent. I don't know if the camera's even catching this, but it's got like a fleck, this kind of like gold silver fleck. Again, it's got that really thick body. It would work perfect on a wacky or a Nico presentation. I do recommend using some sort of O-ring. So this is the Straight Money Worm designed by Skeet Reese. And in this color, I believe it is the Skeet's Green Money. It comes in a 6 inch profile, and then it comes in a 5 inch profile. This is Skeet's Chartreuse Shad. I personally got these so I could rig them up on a drop shot. So it's kind of got a chartreuse exterior with some purple descent and gold flake. Margarita Red. I'm going to go ahead and take him out too just to show y'all. This is a dirty water color, and it's got a flange on the end of the tail there. I don't know if y'all see that, but that flange really helps kick back and forth, displace a lot of water on a drop shot. All you really got to do is give him a few shakes, but that Margarita Red is gorgeous. I mean, if you fish Roboworm, you know what Margarita Mutilator is. You know Margarita Red's gonna probably do the same thing. And with that being said, you can't talk about a power worm or a power bait worm without talking about the power worm. The original power bait worm that sent a craze through the market. Next up, we've got some Berkley power bait power hogs. And again, just a black sapphire color and a watermelon seed color. I'm not gonna go too much in depth about these. You know, everyone knows what a creature bait is or a hog bait is. But yeah, I picked up a couple because it looks nice and I wanted to try something new. So we got these Berkley power bait swim shads. They come pre-rigged and pre-weighted. So if you're someone that doesn't really like tying up and rigging up, doesn't know how to do it inline, or doesn't want to because you A, don't have the time, B, want to be efficient, or C, don't really care to learn, these swim shads are perfect. It's got that power bait scent all over them. They come in HD colors, and then they come in just these plain kind of painted colors as well. So this is going to be like a sexy shad imitation. I do believe there is a 2 inch size as well, but we have the 3 inch and the 4 inch. We got some Berkley gulps. These are just some Berkley gulp minnows. Yeah, I'm excited to see how they pair up against, you know, like real minnows. So maybe on the channel we'll probably do like a real live minnow versus Berkley gulp minnow test or something and see how it goes. But again, got to keep a couple on deck. They come in at 12 count, so 2. We got 24 minnows. Well, we made it past the soft plastic containers, but we still have clamshells, terminal, hard baits, jigs, and spinner baits, and chatter baits. Well, I guess slobber knockers. But yeah, if you're still watching this video right now, just click that thumbs up button. I appreciate y'all being here with me on this journey. We're gonna get through all this, I promise. Just bear with me. Alright, so clamshells. We've got some Berkley Champ minnows. This is the HD Black Nose Shiner color. And when I saw these at the store and bought them, I about thought they were real minnows at first. So they perform great on the drop shot. I really like them. I had to get myself another pack. On the same theme of realism, we've got a whole bunch of Berkley gillies, and we've got them in all different sizes. So we've got the 130 size in pumpkin seed. The 110 comes with 3. The 130 comes with 2. And then you have the 90. And this comes with 4. I recommend rigging these on a power shot or a Texas rig kind of representation. Amazing. You could really pair them on a chatterbait, throw them on a bunch of different kind of presentations. I really like the versatility in this soft plastic, as well as the colors and the appearance. So this is watermelon candy. This is blue shiner gold, HD bluegill, and then we just got some black and blue. So black and blue fleck and the watermelon. These two are probably going to be my bread and butter, and I'll be able to again be as versatile as possible, go wherever I need to, and still catch fish. Still on the concept of realism, we've got some of the Agent E's. Essentially this is going to be like a jigging swim bait. So we got it in that HD bluegill color. the chartreuse shad, peanut butter jelly, you know me, right up my alley. Black and blue fleck. They do have larger sizes and heavier weight sizes. So this is the 1 ounce, and it's a 3.75 inch. And then this is still a 3 inch, but a 1/2 ounce. And you're still getting 2 of them. And I mean, it's got that weed guard. It's gonna help it run through cover. Moving on from the Agent E's, we've got the Shape 108. So apparently this bait right here got its name because it took 108 experiments or 108 samples, 108 test designs. I'm not really sure what the word or lingo is or whatever they did, but I guess it got its name because it took them 108 tries. So the Shape 108, it has a very unique action. The craw appendages on this bait, they flap in unison. So rather than, you know, flapping on either side like 1, 1, 1, 1, they flap together kind of thing. I don't know how to explain that with my fingers. But yeah, we got it in Junebug in the 3.5 size. And then we had to pick it up in its big brother size. So we got the 4 inch. This is the full size right here. And I mean, we got it, you know, for Texas rigging, really big jigs, situations where you're just looking for a really large profile. But we got it in peanut butter jelly and then that black and blue fleck. We got some 2.8 sized paddle tails. These are the Berkley Power Bait Power Swimmers, and I believe that this color right here is the Tennessee Shad and IU, and these are the 2.8 sizes, so we can rig these standalone on the jig head, or we can rig them as a trailer on some finesse baits. And then we got the 3.8 size right here. This is an electric shad, and this is going to be perfectly rigged on a trailer for a spinnerbait or chatterbait or even a swim jig. Honestly, I really like the color in these power swimmers, as well as the durability in them. I find that these power swimmers last. So yeah, we picked up a few as trailers, as well as some of the Boss Scrubs for trailers, and we got it in watermelon seed, black and blue fleck. And when you're talking about Berkley power bait trailers, you can't not talk about the Power Stinger. The Berkley Power Stinger only recently came out, but I think it's probably caught fire to being one of the most popular chatterbait trailers there is right now. And I personally can see why. After picking up a few packages of these, the colors are just out of this world. This right here is Ghost Red Craw. I don't know who thought of this color, who made this, but it looks great. And I don't know, I'm a huge fan. And then we got Swamp Gas. Golly, Swamp Gas right here. Swamp Gas is gas, bro. You're just straight throwing heat. Like, if they're not biting this on a bladed jig, put your bladed jig up, because this is where the money's at. Comes in a 5 count, 4.25 inch. Don't be afraid to pick some up for yourself. And similarly to the Boss Scrub, we got the Speed Boss in Skeets Green Money. I only picked up 1 pack of these because I was kind of curious to see how they went. I've never really fished with them, so you guys will be experiencing that in real time with me on the channel soon enough. Alrighty, lastly for clamshells, we've got some Berkley Beaten Paddle Frogs. I'm personally a big fan of, you know, like a Stanley Ribbit, top toed, stuff like that. So to me, when I saw these guys, I just had to pick some up. We got it in green pumpkin, black, and snow leopard. Again, I can't reiterate this enough. You get yourself a natural colored presentation. You get yourself a dark, dirty water colored presentation. And you get yourself a bright white stained water colored presentation. You can essentially fish these 3 colors in top water year round, catch fish anywhere, and have no problems. I mean, seriously, that green pumpkin, black and white, easy. You simplify things. You make it easy on yourself to catch fish. Alrighty, let's get started with some hard baits. Well, I guess technically these are still soft baits, but we got the Berkley Swamp Lords, and we got it in a poppin' style and then your walking style Swamp Lords. So we got the Swamp Lord in bone and Potomac Gill. Probably my 2 favorite looking colors that I saw, so of course I had to add them to the cart just because most fishing lures catch fishermen before they catch fish. And as well, you can feel the soft and suppleness of this frog right here. Anything that inhales this frog is gonna get a hook in it. It's so soft that that body just wants to collapse immediately upon any sort of impact. But yeah, that's the walking Swamp Lord. And then we got the poppin' Swamp Lord. It's got that nice green natural body. It's got the red kind of bait fish eyes. I'm excited to try it out. I want to see how the Swamp Lord compares to just like a standard ordinary, like a $2 frog from Walmart or something. So I don't know. I'm excited to try these out, guys. Next up, we just got a classic stunner. This is going to be a 112+1 in the Northern Lights color. It's going to pause on a dime. It's got that slow sinking action, which not a lot of jerkbaits have. Typically, you're going to have to wrap some wire or weight your jerkbait. These come pre-weighted to slow sink, as well as they come with the Fusion 19 treble hooks. So, I mean, this thing's wicked sharp. Really nice jerkbait. I'm a big fan of the Stunner 112, so I'm excited to try out the 112+1. Next up for hard baits, we got a couple wake bowls. Wake baits. Let's talk real quick about wake baits. No one ever really fishes a wake bait anymore, and so I had to pick up these wake bowls. Obviously, one's going to be more of like your shad, bone, dirty, stained kind of color, and then you got your chrome, so this is going to work a little bit better. Sunlight, clear water. Next up, we got the square bowl, which is similar to the wake bowl, but square bowl is going to dive a little bit deeper instead of just waking on the surface. You can probably get this guy to around 6-7 foot on some really light line. And yeah, I mean, the action on these crankbaits are pretty top tier. This is the chameleon pearl color. This is a vintage craw color, so a little bit harder to get. This right here is big money. And then we got the 7.5 size. This guy's going to dive a little bit deeper. He's going to have a little bit bigger of a profile. And we got him in just the black chartreuse. Now, here is two finesse crankbaits, kind of on two different ends of the spectrum. This is going to be more of your like finesse, cold water, smaller downsized crankbait, but it's going to dive very, very deep. So the Money Badger right here can probably get down to like, I mean, 12 foot, maybe more depending on what size you get. This right here is the 6.25 Money Badger right here, and we've got it in purple glimmer. Got that finesse kind of crank style to it. We got this in the killer craw color. So we've got that shad pattern and a craw pattern. And then we've got the Berkley Fritside 5. This is going to be in the HD blue craw color. Winter to spring transition. A flat side crankbait can be deadly. You can't talk about Berkley hard baits without talking about the War Pig. Probably one of the nicest rattle traps ever made, or lipless crankbaits, whatever you want to call it. But this is a War Pig, is in 1/2 ounce. We got it in black silver, black gold, and then we got a 3/4 ounce size, and this is going to be in blueback. So we kind of got a nice natural big shad presentation. I was kind of hoping I could get something that represented like a gizzard, or just, you know, like a big profile shad for when they're feeding on big bait fish, as well as to help me get more depth and just a bigger profile in general. As you can see, the 3/4 inch is a lot bigger than that 1/2 ounce, and it's going to get you deeper as well, of course. But lastly, for the crankbaits, we got us some dredgers. So this right here is big money again, chameleon pearl, y'all seen those, and then this is their gilly color. This color right here, gilly, is probably one of the nicest colors I've seen in a bluegill pattern. And at first I thought it looked a little bit gimmicky, but it really works. And I mean, these guys get really deep. It says you can get them down to 26 feet. Lastly, for hard baits, you gotta have a Chopo 90, especially in that Maverick color. I mean, this thing just straight up gets bit. I personally really like fishing the Chopo because it's a lot more affordable in terms of having a topwater prop bait, as well as still not really lacking in quality. It's got the Fusion 19 hooks on it, so it's going to be wicked sharp. It's got really nice color patterns. Again, I'm a huge fan of that Maverick color. Next, we got skirted baits. So this is going to be like jigs, slobber knockers, and spinner baits, aka the Power Blade. So Berkley recently came out with these Power Blade spinnerbaits, designed by Edwin Evers, and I'm pretty sure some other pros had some play into it, but I know that Edwin Evers was the main one to design these, and boy, let me tell you, I am a huge fan of these Power Blade spinnerbaits, mainly being that the colors are phenomenal, and then, I mean, beyond that, you have the Power Bait scent inside of that skirt, so the colors look phenomenal in the skirt, yes, but the Power Bait scent being implemented inside of that skirt is really going to set it apart from a lot of other spinnerbaits. It's just having that much of an edge on the competition, you know? I mean, this is it right here. So we got a 3/4 ounce tandem spinnerbait in that coleslaw color. That looks gorgeous. So this is BioSpawn right here. It's got that Fusion 19 black nickel hook, and this is going to be a 1/2 ounce tandem spinnerbait. Then we got a 1/2 ounce single Colorado blade spinnerbait. This color right here is called Old School. It's got that chartreuse with that blue mixed in, and I mean, dude, money. We got a 1/2 ounce tandem as well, but this is going to be more of a shad representation instead of that BioSpawn. This color right here is just called white, plain white. And we got a double willow power blade right here in Purple Rain. Lastly, we got another double willow, but this is going to be in the compact style, and it's in the Pretty Ones color. So pretty one with the chartreuse blades. And then we had to pick up some of these smaller style spinnerbaits, you know, for pond hopping, pond fishing, smaller fishing, rivers, creek systems, stuff like that. Just looking for fun. But again, we got that BioSpawn color, and we got it in a single Colorado. And we got shad spawn, so BioSpawn, shad spawn, and then we got gold shiner, 1/4 ounce, but they're really nice profiles, and the hook is all the way back meeting the blades, and you'll notice that on all of these. So the hook being placed where the blades are, and even with this 3/4 ounce and this massive large willow blade, you still got the hook placed basically where the blade is. That's going to increase your hookup ratio and your land ratio, because instead of them just hitting that blade and not catching a hook after, they're going to go to hit that blade and they're going to smack right into that long shank hook. So yeah, really quality stuff. I mean, that hook right there is like a gaff, dude. If you miss them on that, then you probably shouldn't be throwing a spinnerbait. Not last, and definitely not least, we got some slobber knockers. And when I say some, I mean, I'm pretty sure we have every single color. I'll go ahead and go through them all for you guys, but if I left the color out, or if I don't have it, leave it in the comment section and I'll make sure to pick it up, just because I think it would be funny at this point to have every single color. But yeah, white and chartreuse 3/8 ounce, that gold blade. We got it in the 1/2 ounce hot craw. Essentially this is like a watermelon red, but really sweet color, really nice color, really nice natural simple color. Herring 1/2 ounce, comes with a silver blade. Next up, gold blade on that golden shiner slobber knocker, 3/8 ounce. It's a 1/2 ounce fire craw slobber knocker, 1/2 ounce bruised. It's very similar to like an Okeechobee craw color. We got Bama Brim right here, Bream, however you pronounce it, Brim, Bama Brim. Then we got it in that coleslaw color I mentioned before. We got it in the 3/8 ounce as well. So we got it in Blacklight Special, 1/2 ounce. And then we got green pumpkin shad. Probably one of the most effective known to man chatterbait colors. Just a nice green pumpkin and a shad. So I'm a big fan of these Berkley slobber knockers. Got a nice compact profile. The action is just slightly different. It's got a little bit more hunting action to it. I feel like it's a little bit less prone to snag, and I'm not sure why exactly. It could be the design of that head, has that more archy style kind of head. But yeah, really nice compact looking chatterbait. Similar to the power blade, it has the power bait scented skirt, which is just going to make you have that much of an advantage against the competition, or that much advantage when you're just fishing pressured bass. Lastly, for skirted baits, we just got a whole bunch of jigs. And I won't bore you to death with every single color, but I will get the main ones out of the way, and I would like to show you guys every style that Berkley has to offer. So just to make things simple, I'm gonna go ahead and grab one of every bait. And again, I'm pretty sure we have every style of Berkley jig here, but if I left one off, please feel free to correct me in the comment section. And again, I'll probably end up picking one up. But yeah, we got a heavy cover jig. This is going to be in the Okeechobee craw color. It's got that direct line tie kind of head. Again, as we talked about with the power blade and the slobber knocker, these jigs have the power bait scent built into the skirt. So it's just going to be that much better. Next up, flipping jig, black and blue chartreuse. Again, it's got that flipping style head to be able to make nice flips and pitches. You got swim jigs, 1/2 ounce, 1/4 ounce, and 3/8 ounce swim jigs, I believe. But this is just a plain white color swim jig. And I mean, they have a whole bunch of other colors as well and sizes. So again, 1/4 ounce, 1/2 ounce, you got your 3/8 ounce, which leads me to my next thing I was going to talk about, which is the finesse swim jig. So the finesse swim jig, this is another style of jig that Berkley came out with. Essentially, this is like the swim jig, but built on more of a finesse thin wire hook. So finesse swim jig, you're going to want to use him with fluorocarbon. When you're fishing the big swim jig, this guy you want to fish on braid. Then you have the finesse jig, Not a finesse swim jig, just your plain finesse jig. This right here can be paired perfectly with like a Ned rig kind of trailer. Here we got a skipping jig. This is going to be in the blue oyster color. And lastly, we have the football jig. The colors are pretty sweet. This is kind of got this nice kind of coffee crawl looking color. This is called black, brown, amber. It's made so well. The way that the football head shape is designed is going to help you be so snag free against rock and wood cover, as well as the design of this head is going to enable you to have a lot more contact with the bottom. So when you're dragging across rock and structure, stuff that you want to feel and know what you're touching, this football head right here is the way to go. And I mean, all these jigs were designed by Gary Klein, so everyone knows that he's just flat out good jig fisherman, but he really knows what he's doing. He really made a bunch of these nice, and they weren't all designed by Gary Klein. I believe that there was some other pros that had input in them as well. For example, Bobby Lane did play a part in the swim jig, as you can see here, and he also did play a part in the finesse swim jig and stuff like that. I mean, these guys are pros that are tailoring this stuff for themselves mainly, while they're tournament fishing, while they're pro fishing, or whatever they're doing. They're thinking about how they can make something better that's already been invented 1,000 times, right? Everyone's invented the wheel. How can we make the wheel better? And that's what these guys are doing right here, and you can see it. The last topic we have to discuss is the terminal, and like I've said throughout this video, Berkley 19 fusion hooks are probably some of the best quality hooks you can get on the market. They're very affordable. They're easily found. You can find them in most supermarkets, Walmart, Sports Academy, Bass Pro, Cabela's, and you can get them online as well. For example, I mean, I really do religiously live by them. I've had a pack of them sitting on my desk right here. The quality on them is visible, as well as they come in these sealed containers, foam backing, reusable containers, and then they label them as well, letting you know how many you have, what it comes with. So it lets you know these are size 4 treble hooks, 1X, and I mean, yeah, you can use these to replace most of your baits, and you should notice a catch ratio go up. Along with the Fusion 19 treble hook replacements, pretty much the whole Fusion 19 lineup of terminal is phenomenal. So we got right here, we got some swim bait jig heads, 1/4 ounce, pair perfectly with any sort of swim bait. You could also throw them on an umbrella rig if you had a couple packs. We got some weighted swim bait hooks. We got some unweighted screw lock swim baits, and then we got some underspins. So we got them in 1/4 ounce. We got like a nice pearl white and then a glitter shad, and then we had to pick up the glitter shad in the 1/2 ounce for a little bit deeper water presentations, as well as just for any bigger swim baits that we might have. Again, some feathered treble hooks. You can use these as replacements. These are size 4 as well. Standard I typically go with are size 4s, size 2s, and size 6s. A great replacement for a topwater hook on the back end of a spook. So yeah, man, these Fusion 19s can really cover you all the way from like heavy flipping all the way to doing some like finesse fishing. Some weedless wacky hooks. It's got like a nice fluorocarbon cover. It helps a little bit. Obviously it's not 100% snag proof, but you know, I think it does make a difference. And then, you know, you got your super lines. Yeah, these Fusion 19s have a really nice slick set coating, as well as that matte kind of nickel finish. It really doesn't have too much shine to it. It probably doesn't shy any fish away. And again, man, they're really, really sharp, chemically sharpened hooks. And I mean, they got you covered, you know, in every situation that you want, all the way from, you know, just soft plastic rigging to football heads. I typically like fishing these on swim baits. They even have these half head jig heads, which are Ned rigs essentially, but in all sorts of different colors. Immediately we see a reel, and I already know what this is. This is the 2500 Googan spinning reel. I ordered to pair with probably one of the Googan Go-To series spinning rods. Next up, we got a whole bunch of different frogs. The Micro Filthy Frog, this is the walking version in just that bubblegum pink. Mini Poppin' Filthy Frog, green pumpkin. We got a full-size Filthy Frog in Nightclub. A mini Filthy Frog in Bone. We got another mini Poppin' Frog, and this is in Ghost Gill. Then we got a full-size Poppin' Filthy Frog as well in that Nightclub color. I'm personally a big fan of fishing a black frog, so I just figured, you know, why not give it a try. Plus, I really like the green Eat Me logo on top. I don't think that's going to scare any fish away. I think that's just a cool aesthetic. And lastly, we just got a full-size Filthy Frog in that white color. So this is going to be like our shad representation in a bright situation, or when it's like when bass are feeding up on bait fish. And then this is going to kind of be more low light situation. Bass may be feeding on bluegill or just darker kind of colored forage. And with these two, you can pretty much do everything you need to do in terms of top water. Just having a white and a black frog can really take you everywhere you need to go in terms of fishing a frog top water. Next up, we picked up a couple Hummers. So this right here is the black and blue fleck 1/2 ounce, and then this is the bluegill 3/8 ounce. They come with hand-tied skirts, chemically sharpened hooks. The holes inside of the blade right here are going to be able to create some sort of a bubble trail, and then the rubber knot stopper is going to allow the body along with the hand-tied skirt to just all remain upright, as it really just sits there and causes the commotion on the water. I'm sure the more you use it, the more it'll wear out, start squeaking on you, and then you have a really good buzzbait. But yeah, just had to pick up the two sizes they had, which is 1/2 ounce and 3/8. Next up, we got some jigs. I'm honestly a huge fan of the Grass Hero. It's got a nice supple weed guard. The color schemes on them are nice, and it's hand-tied skirt as well. And I believe they use mustad in the hooks, so if you're not a big fan of Googan, then at least if you're a fan of mustad, then you should have no problem fishing a Googan Squad jig. I went ahead and picked them up, so this is the chartreuse white color. Then we got Rotten Pumpkin. This is a 3/8 ounce. And then this is a little bit different style jig. This is their thick jig. And this right here can be used to be flipped, pitched. You'll see a plastic trailer that I got specifically to pair with this. So I think you'll see the combo. Next up, we got a Googan clickbait in bluegill. I heard a lot of mixed reviews on this product, and I wasn't really sure what to believe. So I figured I would just pick one up for myself, give it a try, and give it my own review. So if that's something y'all are interested in, just make sure you're tuned into the channel, and that'll be something I'll be dropping soon. Lastly, for skirted baits, we've got a couple spinner baits. We got a mini bumper, and then we got a micro zinger. And these two colors honestly stood out to me. The hot pink, of course. Never seen a hot pink spinner bait. But yeah, this is a 1/4 ounce, and this is a 1/8 ounce. That's it for skirted baits. Next up, we're going to have some hard baits, crank baits, swim baits. So just to dive right in, we're going to have a couple more of those hot pink colored baits, except these are micro baits. This is the micro banger and the micro clutch. And I don't know if you kind of see a theme here, but see if I can hold them all in frame for y'all. I went with a whole pink micro finesse kit, and I'm excited to fish and try this out. I think this is really going to work when you're fishing like river systems. But yeah, really big fan of that pink Googan color. We got a Googan Squad Rip. This is just a blade bait. Essentially, you're going to cast him out and vertically jig him, or you can cast and burn this guy. It's just going to imitate a small shad or a bait fish profile. I personally had to go with that purple shiner color because obviously, you know me, purple is probably one of my favorite colors in fishing, and you're going to see that throughout the entire unboxing series. But yeah, that Googan Squad Rip looks mean, looks nice. It's got those nice wicked sharp hooks. Next up, we got a couple junior contenders right here. This is Googan Squad's smaller size swim bait, almost like a baby buka shad. It's a 3-jointed body swim bait. The paint job on these are pretty sweet. I'm personally a huge fan of the bone and gizzard shad. And I mean, as you can see, I have them both right here. But that bone color seems like it's really going to get bit in those dirty water situations when you're fishing under like a dock or something. Especially here in Texas, I know that the junior contender in bone is going to be extremely effective. And then I obviously had to pick up some sort of a clearer, clean water pattern. A little bit more natural. This is the gizzard shad. Now, I'm not a huge jerkbait fisherman in all honesty, but whenever I saw this color in the Junior Scout, I had to pick it up. This is LG Bone, and it looks sweet, man. You're talking about poetry. This thing looks gorgeous. A ballad of true finesse. Obviously, it's got that bone siding, the chartreuse bottom, and then a purple kind of glitter on top. Yeah, this thing looks sweet. I'm excited to fish it. It dives around 3 to 5 feet, and it's properly weighted as well. It weighs around 3/8 ounce, so you can chuck him out there. Well, we're almost done with hard baits. We just got crankbaits and clutches. Next up, we got the mini clutch in shotgun shad. It comes with some nice scales on the side, a chartreuse kind of bottom with that darker toned back. Really nice profile, really nice color. It's a little bit more downsized on the profile, but you'll probably be able to trigger more bites. Then we got the full-size clutches. This is going to be your chartreuse blueback and then quicksilver. So obviously one dirty water, kind of maybe more low light condition, and then maybe clear water, sunnier kind of days. The color scheme on them looks great. I know the functionality on them are great. Down here in Texas, there's been multiple double digits caught on Googan clutches, and every time you go into like an academy or something, they're pretty much sold out off the shelf. So had to pick up a couple clutches. Can never go wrong with a lipless crankbait. Something similar to a lipless crankbait, the flat banger, I went ahead and picked up. This is Popcorn Craw, and this is Cosmo Shad. Cosmo Shad in the lineup of Googan baits is probably my favorite color in terms of every single crankbait that they have and every single color. Cosmo Shad is the way to go for me. Lastly, we got a couple Recons and a Grande Recon. It's in that Popcorn Craw color. We got Citrus Shad, and then this down here is that Shotgun Shad color I showed y'all earlier with the scales. And pretty self-explanatory. Obviously, these are going to be your deep diving crankbaits, ledge fishing, summertime, hot water. Really need to get down there. These are going to get down to like 20 foot. And then these guys right here are going to get down to around 12 foot. I'm sure you could get them deeper on lighter line. That's going to do it for hard baits. Alrighty, next up, we got terminal. And a whole bunch of it. So starting out, I picked myself up some 15-pound braid and then 20-pound fluorocarbon. Next up, we got some Googan tungsten putty. This stuff can be used to pretty much weigh down any sort of a hard bait you have, or even a soft plastic fluke. You can just sit there and mold it around the shank of the hook. But really, you would want to put this around the around your treble hooks or on the bill of any of your hard baits, just to get it to dive a little bit deeper. Maybe put a nosedive action kind of on the jerk bait. But yeah, this stuff is legit, man. And honestly, if you've never worked with it, I think it's something that you could pick up and just experiment, have fun with it. If you like it, if it's something that you're into, maybe pick up another pack. If not, then at least you learned and got to experience it. But I really picked it up for the experience. I think it'll be cool to work with and seeing what kind of stuff we can come up with on the channel. Another thing Googan did, I don't know if they created it or just popularized it, but it's that green series, kind of that Googan green weight color. I thought these looked really, really interesting, especially where I fish. It's a lot of dirty water situations. Also, I figured maybe they would work really good for bed fishing if I want to see my weight. So we picked some up in 3/16, quarter ounce. And I as well went ahead and got some flipping weights and worm weights as well. Same kind of concept. We got the 3/8 ounce and then we got the 3/4. A third interesting thing that Googan Squad did was creating these green stoppers. I don't know if this package is doing them justice. Let me see if I can take them out here. They come with 2 to a pack, 18 bobber stops total. So again, it's got those green weight stops. Comes with like 9 of them on each one. You get 18 total. Comes in a 2-pack, really nice resealable containers. And I think that green bobber stop looks honestly really interesting, really unique. I think it's also going to help you probably notice where your weight is if you're not fishing with that green tungsten. If you're fishing with just like your normal black or green pumpkin looking, or even an unpainted lead weight, sometimes it's difficult to see. So maybe this little addition will make it to where you can see your weight, but it won't be enough to influence fish to not bite. Plus, again, I mean, it's fishing. It's supposed to be fun, you know what I mean? So when I'm picking stuff up like this, I'm looking to have fun. I'm looking to experiment with it. I'm looking to see if I actually get bites or not. And if I do, then it just feels that much better. Next up, we got some Bandito flipping hooks. I'm personally a huge fan, again, of the Googan Green series. It's made of high-quality materials, black nickel wire, chemically sharpened hook points. And then these flipping hooks actually come with a small fluorocarbon point. Here, I'll take one out and show y'all again as well. These flipping hooks come with a super glued or epoxied and then hand tied fluorocarbon keeper for your bait. So if you're flipping a bandito bug, if you're flipping a craw, creature, trench hog, brush hog, whatever you want to call it, whatever you're flipping is essentially going to be held a lot better by that fluorocarbon keeper, and it's less likely to get ripped up. When you're talking longevity of your baits, using something like this with a fluorocarbon keeper, it's going to be a lot better. The 2 sizes that I carry is going to be 5/0 and then 4/0. And then the 4/0 really should get the job done for almost every situation. 5/0 is just going to be for a little bit bigger soft plastics. If you really have to, you can downsize to a 3/0. But next up, we got some hammer hooks. So the Googan Squad hammer hook, we got 5/0, 4/0, 3/0. Really nice worm style hook, almost with an EWG kind of a gap to it, but it still has that kind of that straight hook point. It has a little bit more of an offset to it. It's got a nice thick gauge wire, so you can really use these effectively with braid. Again, they're going to be really versatile, reliable, and razor sharp. Next up, we got the dart and toad hook. Pretty much, you're going to have it in this kind of style, which is unweighted, or you're going to have it right here. This is going to be your weighted style hook. And the main size I recommend in this dart and toad hook is probably just going to be your 5/0. So if you just pick up a 5/0 weighted and unweighted. Next up we got the Googan Squad Green Series weighted underspin in 7/0. These pair perfectly with a dangerous swim bait, or if you're fishing like a freestyle mag draft. Lastly, for terminal, we got a whole bunch of finesse hooks. So we got the Googan Squad Green Series wacky hook, and then the drop and finesse. And a major thing to note about this drop and finesse is similar to the Bandito flipping hook. It has this very small fluorocarbon keeper. So that's going to help keep your worms on there, your small creature baits, whatever you're drop shotting. It's really going to help them stay on the hook a lot better, as well as keep them from ripping. And yeah, we just picked up a whole bundle of these just because I know how much I like finesse fishing, and I know how much I'm probably going to do it. But the drop and finesse hooks come in 3 different sizes. It's going to be 1/0, number 1, and 2/0. The most popular I would recommend is just going with the 1/0. So I did pick up a little bit of the Googan Squad Gold Series, but I will say they're a little bit more expensive and pricey. They are nicer. They're engineered and manufactured by Hayabusa, which is pretty much like a Japanese company that makes incredible hooks. But these things are wicked sharp, extremely strong. I've seen them hold up to some huge fish. Don't be afraid to pick up some of the Googan Squad Gold Series, or even just picking up some of the Googan Squad Green Series. Terminal tackle, this stuff is really affordable and it gets the job done. Not to mention, there's already a lot of science and engineering gone into it. Alrighty, and for the grand finale, we always have to open some sort of a huge mega box. This is going to have all of our soft plastic, apparel, clothing. Let's jump right into this one. Alrighty. And off the rip, we got a Googan Squad fanny. I know a lot of people like to wear these around their waist, but I'll personally just take mine and sling him across the body. I think I have a lot easier access as I'm fishing like this to just go unzip, get whatever I need out, and go right back to fishing, you know what I mean? And I think this looks kind of good on me. I'm just going to keep it on for the rest of the video. Alright, next up, we got a couple hats. This is going to be that cypress rope. Again, it's got that cypress rope running right here up top. Got a whole bunch of baits and lures on the top of the hat. Really nice color scheme, just a nice forest green. You know, you wear this, go out camping, fishing, hiking, hunting, whatever you want. And then we got that bugberry topo. Topo stands for topographic, so it's like a topographic kind of map looking scheme here. Again, really, really nice color. It's got this kind of like denim, almost blue jean color that I really like. If you see here, it's got like a hidden clutch right there. Really nice, really cool looking hats. I personally wear their hats. I'm a huge fan of them. It helps keep the hair out of my face, it helps keep the sun out of my eyes, helps people see that I'm looking at them. I don't know. Next for apparel, we got a whole bunch of these Mondo optics. I got like 4 of them. I probably have 2 more sitting on my shelf. And the reason being is because I go through sunglasses like no other. And beyond that, if you want to give one to a buddy, just, you know, you go out fishing with them, they need a pair for the day. Keep one in your car, you could keep one in your kayak, you could keep one in your boat. Essentially what I'm trying to teach you guys is redundancy. You lose one, it falls in the water, it breaks, or you forget it at home, you have another one ready for you. And I'm not going to bust these guys out of the package, but like I said, I got a couple sitting on my shelf, so I'll go ahead and take one out now. These are the personal shades that I use while fishing. These are the largy lookers. They have the largy lookers and the smallie spotters. This is a green tint lens. I specifically use green tint because most of the water that I fish here in Texas is green colored, but I'll just put them on to show y'all for the video. I won't keep them on throughout the entire video, but I think they look nice. I like them, and they're polarized, so you know, they're going to help keep the sunlight out of your eyes. They're going to help you see bedding fish a lot more. They're going to help you see underwater structure. A lot of positives to note from wearing some sort of polarized shades. And these come in at a really affordable price. Not to mention, they look sleek. I like wearing them. And then they come in a nice little carrying bag. And you can just throw them in your backpack. Again, throw them in your pocket, kayak, boat, whatever. That should be everything for apparel. Let's get started with some of these soft plastics. Why not start out with the good old Saucy Swimmer? So these Googan Saucy Swimmers honestly tend to get bit for me. Really cool color. I found these 2.8 black, just straight black. saucy swimmers. I've never seen that before, so I had to pick some up, and it comes with a whole bunch of them in there too, so you're really getting your money's worth, it seems like. I got some 3.3s. These are in some natural colors. We got electric shad, and then we got green pumpkin blue right here. Again, going up a size, we got the 3.8s. This is in sexy shimmer, and this is sprayed lettuce. So shad representation, bluegill representation, some sort of white spinnerbait trailer, some sort of a bluegill or green pumpkin swim jig or spinbait trailer. Perfect. And then we got some huge 4.8 paddle tail swim baits. I figured I could rig these standalone on like a 1/2 ounce jig head. The action on these is incredible. They're gonna kick like a Kitech. One thing that Googan is popular for is putting rattles in their soft plastics. So we got this rattling chunk and peanut butter jelly. And this is what I was saying earlier, the big thick jig that I had, 1 ounce peanut butter jelly, this is what I would pair it with. So I got a rattling trailer. Alongside that thick jig, it's gonna be flipped and pitched in really heavy cover, dirty water. It'll be herd along with scene, Bama bug, summer craw, and green pumpkin. But yeah, that's the rattling chunk. Next up, we got the rattling Ned. This is a more finesse presentation. You would fish this on a Ned rig. Has that same kind of rattle technology built into it. This right here is going to be California craw. And then we got chartreuse pepper fleck, which old school classic. Everybody knows about chartreuse. Not a lot of people know how to work this color, but if you know, then you know. I've always been a fan of the chartreuse pepper fleck color just ever since I've been a little kid, and that's always just kind of been a staple for me growing up, so it's something that stuck with me. Staying on the topic of finesse, we got the Googan drag and drop. This is going to pair perfectly with the drag and drop finesse hook, built almost specifically for this bait. So right here, we got this is the brown gill color, and then this is a sunset bug. Two really nice colors. One's a little bit more natural colored, and then one's going to stand out a little bit more in those dirty water presentations. You can see that's the back side of them. One's got a orange kind of back, and then the other one's got a brown back. And the tops of them, this one's got a brown top, this one's got a blue top. So a little bit more natural, a little bit more stained, but we got us a couple packs of them, 4 total. Again, staying on the topic of finesse, we got the Googan 4-inch lunker log. The lunker log is probably the second most popular bait, the first being what I'll show you after this, but the Googan Squad lunker log 4-inch, you can pair it perfectly on a Bubba shot, drop shot, Texas rig, wacky rig, shaky head. You can really do a lot with this bait. Got it in chartreuse green pepper fleck. This is sprayed lettuce. Baby bass, it's got some of that gold and silver fleck in it with that nice natural watermelon seed color. Probably one of my favorites. We got black and blue lunker logs, white or pearl. This is going to be extremely effective in bed bait fishing. Cinnamon lunker log, a nice natural presentation, really clear water. You could also add a little bit of chartreuse to the tail, give it almost like a dyed effect of a pumpkin seed. We got June bug, green pumpkin blue, a nice natural classic as well, known to be really effective in almost every water clarity. And then black and red flake. These guys I would definitely throw on a shaky head, like a finesse shaky head presentation. Moving on up a size, we got the 5-inch lunker log. Again, same concept. It's going to be like your classic traditional Cinco. Probably the most effective worldwide fish catcher. Just a classic green pumpkin stick bait. Now, we talked about the second most popular Googan soft plastic, but let's talk about the first. The most popular Googan soft plastic has to be the Bandito bug. In my hands, I'm holding almost like 15 packages, and I don't regret it. It comes in 2 different sizes and a bunch of fish catching colors. So, for example, we got the junior bug right here. This is Bama bug. It's going to be like a green pumpkin with a little bit of June bug mixed in. We got California craw. Everybody knows California craw. Alabama craw. It's got the orange with the green pumpkin. Pearl, perfect for bed bait fishing or for a swim jig trailer. Blue baby, it's essentially green pumpkin, but it has a blue flash running through it. Really nice bluegill imitation. And then we got the full size, so this is Alabama craw. Again, it's got that orange with the green pumpkin. Okeechobee craw, green pumpkin with some blue fleck. June bug, just straight up purple with that green fleck running through it. Again, we got that full size pearl, black and blue fleck, natural, which has one silver side and then the other side almost is like a green pumpkin blue. And lastly, we got Bama Bug and the full-size Bandito. And next in the Googan Squad lineup, we got the Mondo Worm. So we got some 10-inch profile worms, and then we got some 7 1/4 inch. Really, this is just Googan's take on a worm, and I know that it has a lot of popularity and a lot of people like it. The tab tail seems to displace a lot of water. It's pretty aggressive in terms of action. Yeah, it seems to get bit, especially during those summer days, so don't be afraid to get you a few Mondo worms, try them out for yourself, and see how they compare against, you know, your normal standard util that you're used to throwing. Next, we got some trench hogs. So we got the junior trench hog and then some full size. The full size, I'd probably fish him on a Texas rig, just straight alone. You could even probably fish him weightless. And then your junior trenches, you could just flip and pitch these guys, smaller finesse rigs, Texas rig. Again, this is just Googan's take on a brush hog creature style type bait. I'm personally a fan just because it kind of gives you a different profile that the fish aren't used to seeing, as well as those appendages do seem to displace a lot more water than your average brush hog. Speaking of water displacement and appendages flapping and stuff like that, the Googan Crack and Craw, you compare these guys on the back of a jig trailer. Essentially, you know what it is, it's just a cross style type bait. You got the junior size and you got the full size, and just some standard colors, that chartreuse pepper, white for bed bait fishing, or if you're just needing a swim jig trailer, that nice natural color with the silver and blue fleck. And then we got that green pumpkin purple again. A bait that isn't really talked about in the Googan lineup has to be the Googan Toad. And to me, I think these things look great. I really like the color patterns on them, as well as the hook concealment points that you'll see built into the body. And in the Googan Explode Toads, we have white pearl shad, blue baby, summer craw, black flash, and fire craw. I had to pick up 5 packs of 5, so I got like 25 Explode Toads. A really popular bait, especially right now around that kind of like spring, winter to spring transition, has to be the Googan Dart. We have 5-inch, 6-inch, and then 7-inch darts. These things get huge. We got electric shad, pro blue red, natural, and then we got that green pumpkin purple in that 5-inch. These are going to be paired perfectly, weightless, weighted, Texas rig, and even on a trailer. Mid-strolling, scrounging, really whatever you want to do with them should be really effective. And that forked tail, that vertical forked tail, should help you come through cover, in and out of cover a lot easier. You get snagged up a lot less. So again, I know this is a really popular bait, but if you haven't already, pick up some of those darts, 5-inch, 6-inch, 7-inch, whatever profile fits your need, and I'm sure you're bound to catch some fish on them. Next up, we got the Googan Slim Shake Worm. Comes in 2 different sizes. This is the 8-inch, this is the 6.5-inch. The Googan Slim Shake Worm, it's exactly what it says in the name. It's fully loaded with salt. It's made to be on a shaky head, a Texas rig, Nico rig. Really a lot of ways to fish him. Lastly, these were made a little bit more recently. I haven't fished with them yet, and I'm extremely excited to try them out. The Googan Slizzard. This right here has to be one of the coolest looking lizard baits I've ever seen. And you talk about reinventing the wheel. I mean, this guy's in a wheelhouse of its own. I wanted to get myself something that I could work in both water clarity situations, so the toxic waste and then the black and blue. So the Googan Lizard actually comes equipped with a segmented body and that same Mondo tail that you'll see in a Mondo worm. So it looks like this bait will displace a lot of action and also get a lot of bites, as well as just having a different profile that most fish haven't seen. Hopefully you guys are excited to see these on the channel, because I'm really excited to fish with them. But very realistic lizard appearance, very cool looking baits. And lastly, we get a sticker. So starting out with Strike King right here, we got a whole bunch of stuff. This box is about to explode with how much stuff is in here. And right on the surface you can see some Rage Swimmers, aka Strike King's version of a paddle tail, in some really nice shad colors. And then we got a green pumpkin right here. We got them in 2 different sizes. This right here is the 3 3/4 inch, and then we got the 3.25. This right here is going to be Pearl Flash, and then we got the 3 3/4 inch in Ghost Shad. Then we got the 3 1/4 inch in Green Pumpkin. Really nice baits. They come in clamshells, so your paddle tails are going to stay straight for as long as you keep them. I've heard that these Rage Swimmers are a lot more durable than most paddle tail swim baits, so we'll have to put that to the test on the channel. Again, since the stuff's just on top, I'm just going to pull straight from the top. We got a whole bunch of top water options. So we got KVD pop and purchase. We got KVD pad purchase. We got this right here is the KVD splash, I think. And we got it in this color right here. It's called Black Lab. It's got this really, really cool bottom with this kind of rainbow glitter going through that black body. And then we got the two KVD purchase. These right here are both going to be in the color bottoms up. Essentially, this is a June bug. If I was to take this out and show you, you know, why not? Let me just take it out and show you real quick. Again, it's got that June bug bottom, as I mentioned just before. Really nice color. And then it's got that chartreuse top so you can see it really easily, along with the skirt that really helps it walk and have a nice natural kind of movement. Lastly, we got the red eyes, which are going to help create almost like a target for fish to key in on and potentially increase your bite ratio. But really nice frog right here. Pretty soft, supple. Seems like it's going to collapse really easily whenever a fish goes to eat him. I think I'll be able to get nice hook sets. I really like the skirt material along with the color pattern in general. So again, this is bottoms up. Another topwater bait I picked up was the KVD 2.5 wake bait in the bluegill pattern. This right here is going to help me fish fall to wintertime transition, reeling it extremely slow on the surface. But I'm really excited to work with this wake bait. It seems to have a really nice wide body profile, so hopefully it attracts some big fish. And lastly, for topwater, we got a KVD toad buzz in a 3/8 ounce and that green pumpkin chartreuse. Next up for hard baits, we're going to go into some crankbaits. So this right here is going to be the Chick Magnet Junior. They also have the Chick Magnet, which is going to be your full standard size. But I'm personally a big fan of the Junior, especially right here. This is the spring craw color. Again, this spring craw color, I mean, it's in the name. You fish them winter to spring transition, maybe even a little bit into that spawn. Really nice color pattern. It's really going to entice those strikes. Not to mention, it's got that circuit board lip, so it's really going to help deflect off cover and last a lot longer than your standard crankbait. Next up, created around the same time as the Chick Magnet, we have the Hybrid Hunter and the Hybrid Hunter Junior. This is going to be your chrome blue back, which essentially is going to imitate most of your bait fish profile. And then this is just going to be fire craw. I'm sure a lot of us are familiar with fire craw. The big difference to note in this style of crankbait is the bill, and that it's going to help it run through wood cover a lot better. And essentially, instead of vertically diving down like most crankbaits do, it's going to help it run more horizontally through the water column. So yeah, really, really nice profile on these. Then the crankbait that's most popular probably, I think, in the whole Strike King lineup has to be the 1.0 or the 1.5. We got both of them here. So we got Wicked Fire Tiger in the 1.0, and then we got Red Sexy Shad in the 1.5. Then taking things a little bit deeper, we got the Strike King 3XD. It comes in some really nice, phenomenal colors. For example, like this right here is going to be MM Sexy Shad. Root Beer. This right here is extremely popular amongst smallmouth fishermen. Pearl Chartreuse Belly. And then just your classic bluegill pattern. So major things to note about the Strike King 3XD. It gets around 9 to 12 foot depth. Really nice finesse profile crankbait that still gets the depth zone that you really need it to, alongside the amazing color schemes that you'll find. Really difficult to get your hands on some of them, but I know a lot of guys that swear by them, especially up north. So don't be afraid to pick some up for yourself if you're looking for a nice finesse crankbait that gets around that 9 to 12 foot depth. Keeping on the same scheme of crankbaits and going deeper, we got the 5XD. And again, this one's going to dive deeper than the 3XD that I just showed. Similar to the 3XD, the Strike King 5XD comes in some really nice colors. We got Pearl Black with Chartreuse Belly, a really interesting color. We got Chartreuse Sexy Shad. We got Plain Sexy Shad. Everyone's probably familiar with this pattern. I believe that this pattern crankbait has probably won more tournaments than any other crankbait pattern, but correct me if I'm wrong. And lastly, we got Powder Blueback Chartreuse. Lastly, for hard baits, we got the Red Eye Shad. This is probably the second most popular bait amongst all of the Strike King lineup for hard baits, right next to the crankbaits they offer. But this color right here is going to be Royal Purple. Y'all know me, I'm a fan of purple, but when I saw this lipless, I just had to have it. It looks incredible. The color scheme, the paint, the eyes, the hooks are wicked sharp, so everything about this trap looks good to me. Next on the Strike King lineup, we got spinnerbaits. And I really got to hand it to him. Strike King honestly has some of the coolest looking spinnerbait skirts I've ever seen. So we got the Micro King. This is like a 1 16th ounce. It's got that hot pink and white skirt. Moving on up a size, we got the Mini King. This is a 3/16 ounce, and this is in a bluegill pattern. I'm not specific on the name, so if anyone does have the name, feel free to comment below. But it looks insane. Just your classic double willow spinner, 1/2 ounce. And then I picked up 2 of their tour grade compact spinnerbaits. So this one's going to be a 3/8 ounce, and then this one's going to be the 1/2 ounce. And then we got the color Morning Dawn, and then the other color I believe is called Rotten Tomato. Don't quote me on that, but really, really interesting colors. Like I said, Strike King has some really cool looking spinnerbait skirts, and when I saw these, I just had to have them. I don't know if I'm just a sucker for cool looking colors, but I think that it helps if you fish something that the bass aren't used to seeing all the time. I did get them in 2 different styles, so this is going to be your double willow, and then this is going to be your tandem. It's going to have 1 Colorado and 1 willow blade. That completely does it for hard baits. Let's move on to soft plastics. And fresh out the box, we got some topwater soft plastics. This is the Strike King Super Toad. Pretty much you can rig this guy just on a standalone single hook, double frog hook, or you could rig him up on the back of a buzzbait just for that enhanced action. Really nice colors. We got watermelon red right here. This is watermelon pearl. And then we got that green pumpkin chartreuse. Another topwater soft plastic by Strike King. We got the gurgle toad. So a small difference between the Super Toad and the gurgle toad is they're all picked the same color so you can see them. But you see the Super Toad has those flanged kind of ends on the legs. And then these just have a curl to them, almost like a grub. So these are probably going to be a little bit more subtle profile, and then these are probably going to emit a lot more action or sound. But in that gurgle toad, we got just a plain black, that green pumpkin pearl belly, and then we got blue glimmer. And I picked up a couple packages of these just because I haven't really seen a topwater toad in this color, so I thought, I don't know, it looked interesting, why not? Moving on, we got the Strike King Game Hog. This is essentially their version of a creature bait, a brush hog, whatever you want to call it. Really nice colors. We got that watermelon red. We got Big Tex. Green pumpkin purple, I believe. I'm not sure if the camera's even really picking up that purple shimmer, but... And then we got the Magnum Game Hog in Okeechobee Craw. I think we're all familiar with an Okeechobee Craw color. Another style of creature bait that Strike King has is the KVD Rodent. So this right here is in the Fire Craw color. And then we got it in Junebug right here as well. But really nice baits. This is Strike King's take on a creature bait, a beaver bait, whatever you want to call it. Really nice flipping and pitching. You can put them on the back of a jig. And the colors, again, really, really nice colors. It seems like they're using a nice PVC plastic. Alongside these packages do come with a plastic exterior, so it's a little bit more solid. It'll keep your baits a little bit more straight and just keep things nice and neat. Another beaver or creature bait or flipping and pitching bait that Strike King has is the Rage Bug. This is very, very popular on the tournament scene, or basically anybody that likes flipping and pitching a creature style type bait. I'm going to go ahead and take these out of the package a little bit and just show y'all what I mean. Just to take one of these out for you, it comes in a really nice thick body profile, so you'll be able to get a nice hook in there, conceal it, and probably get a few fish on it before it's gone and ripped up. I really like the color scheme. This is going to be Summer Craw, so it's got that chartreuse body and then that green pumpkin side. Another thing to note about Strike King and their soft plastics is if you like coffee, if you're a coffee fanatic or an addict or whatever you want to call it, they do come coated in that coffee scent. So if you like drinking coffee like me or something, getting up early in the morning, these guys smell good. Another positive to note about these Strike King creature baits is that they do come in a clamshell package, so they're going to help your baits maintain shape, stay fresh, clean, organized, and also probably let you see how many you have. Now these right here I know have not been popularized yet, but the Strike King Rage Lizard. I'm a really big fan of fishing like a salamander or a lizard, so when I saw these I was really excited to give them a try. I'm just going to go ahead and take out the clamshell. I probably won't take one out of the package, but just to show you guys, they have this Rage tab tail here on the exterior, and then each one of the flapping arms and legs that they have also have a small Rage tab on each end. So this guy right here is going to disperse a lot of water, create a lot of action, and probably entice a lot of bites. This is that Junebug color, and then we just picked up watermelon red as a safe backup. So we got us a nice clear to stained watercolor, and then we got us a nice dirty kind of watercolor. Here's a bait that Strike King recently put out. I'm not sure if it was made this year or last year, but it's the Scown Bug. We got it in Junebug, black and blue fleck, Bama Craw, Green Pumpkin, Watermelon Red, and Summer Craw. Alright, now that we're completely done with you know, your power fishing kind of soft plastics, let's move on to finesse. First up, we got a classic coffee tubes. This bait used to be extremely popular back in the day, and now honestly I don't see a lot of people fishing a tube. So with that being said, I'm sure there will be a reoccurrence of people using a tube style type bait. Like I said, fresh out the package, smells amazing. And then I'll just take one out. This is in that Goby-licious color. Goby-licious. I don't have a clue if I'm pronouncing that right, but Goby-lish-ish. Alright, in a 2 3/4 size. So it's got that green pumpkin on one side, and then it's got this clear purple silverish fleck on the other. If you're just looking for a different kind of profile that these fish aren't used to seeing, fishing a tube bait can be something that'll trigger a lot of strikes. If you're wondering how to rig up the tubes, then Strike King did create a tube jig head that make things really easy. This is a 3/16 ounce. You just slide them inside of the tube, push the line tie through, and then you're good to go. But really nice black nickel hooks, quality terminal tackle. If you don't have a tube jig head, then in a pinch you can always use just a standard shaky head jig head or just a ball jig head, and it should work as well. It just may not be as effective. It was storming out there. Dang, it's bad. That's why we're in here filming an unboxing. Alright, I think a really slept on bait by Strike King is the half shell. In terms of colors, we got Edge, Green Pumpkin Purple. It's got some purple fleck in it. Sexy Shad, Chartreuse White and Blue, and then we picked up another pack of those edges. The bait that I'm extremely fond of that Strike King makes is the Dream Shot. This right here has caught so many fish for so many people. It's really just going to be your basic worm style bait on a drop shot. So we got a whole bunch of packs in a few different colors. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 packages and different colors. We got Candy Craw, Desert Craw, another Desert Craw, Prism Shad, Green Pumpkin Sapphire, so it's got that green pumpkin with some blue fleck running through it. Really nice natural bluegill presentation. Morning Dawn, I know this is very popular amongst people up north fishing for smallmouth. Then we got Bold Bluegill. It's probably going to be really effective down here in the south. It's got that green pumpkin top with that chartreuse bottom, help it stand out in that dirty to stained kind of water clarity. Another positive thing to note about these is that they have the open pore technology, so the color and design on these are going to be really nice. I'm going to take one out here. But essentially this is all it is right here. It's got a nice flanged tail that puts out a lot of action. One major thing to note is that they do have different sizes in the Dream Shot. So this is a 5-inch and then this is a 4 1/4. A little bit more finesse profile. This is going to be a little bit bigger profile if you're chasing the largemouth, or if you're just looking for something that you could potentially Texas rig. But this is that Fire Tiger crawler. Now the true popular stick bait amongst the Strike King soft plastics definitely has to be the Ocho. So this right here is an Ocho in 4-inch Watermelon Red. Now I did buy some 5-inch Ochos, but I typically buy them in a bulk package like this. So we got 30 5-inch Watermelon Ochos, 30 Green Pumpkin Party Ochos, and then 30 Black and Blue Fleck Ochos. Buying these bulk packages can really help you save money, as well as just being efficient on the water. So if you burn through 10 of them, you don't just run out or have to go open a new pack from your bait binder, backpack, or wherever you keep them. You just have 30 in one pack ready to go. So right here I'm holding 90 Ochos, 90 stick baits right here, and it's really not taking up that much space. You could do a lot of damage with 90 stick baits. Moving on from finesse soft plastics, next up we're going to go into trailers. For starters, here we have the Blade Minnow. Comes in some really nice colors. We got Falcon Craw right here. Go ahead and show you the back side. Black and Blue Green Pumpkin, Bama Bug, and Glacier. I'm really excited to use the bladed minnow. I think it's going to be extremely effective on the back of a bladed jig, obviously, of course, but then also putting it on a spinnerbait, or maybe even just rigging him up like you would a banjo. For anyone that knows what a banjo minnow is, this guy looks almost exactly like him, so I feel like you could get the same effect almost. But yeah, really nice looking soft plastic trailer. And another really good soft plastic trailer, or just a soft plastic bait in general by Strike King, has to be the Caffeine Shad. So these right here are the siren color. Really slept on bait. Really nice chartreuse fluke. I think this attracts a lot of bites, just simply it being such an aggressive standout color. Ghost shad. Really nice clear water color. And then green pumpkin sapphire. It's that green pumpkin with the blue fleck running through it. Again, really nice bluegill imitation. So right here we got bluegill. We got kind of more of like a minnow presentation. And then we got your shad presentation. 3 different colors, 3 different water clarity situations. All 3 extremely effective if you know when to fish them. Another part of the caffeine shad lineup is the swimmin' caffeine shad. It's got that coffee scent, salt impregnated. It's going to have really nice action, really nice colors. But really this is just going to be your standard swim bait. Nice sleek body, no ribs, so it's probably going to come through cover extremely well. Grass effectively. So yeah, don't be afraid to pair this guy up on a spinnerbait, a trailer for a chatterbait, swim jig, or even just fishing him alone on a ball jig head. You should have a lot of luck. Alrighty, that about does it for the Strike King unboxing. Now let's move on to the Gary Yamamoto side of things. So directly on top we got some single tail grubs that would be perfectly paired on like a finesse jig head, or maybe just like a finesse spinnerbait or something. But we got 3 different colors. We got chartreuse, watermelon seed, we got black and silver fleck. Something new that Gary Yamamoto put, I think mainly kind of geared towards live scoping and forward facing sonar, are these shad shaped worms. I'm not exactly sure when they came out with these baits, but this right here is the 3-inch, and then this is a 3.75, and the colors, I personally like them a lot. This right here is plum candy, and then this is perch. Really nice looking colors. I like the flake in them. They really are a shad shaped worm. As you can see, the top here appears to be like a worm. Turn one to the side here. You can see that it does have a little bit of width to the body, or height, excuse me. Another bait to the lineup they added was the D-shad. Again, I'm not exactly sure how recent. I don't believe that they were extremely recent. I'm sure they've been around for a little bit. I got this in green gizzard, and this is chartreuse electric blue. And as y'all saw in the Strike King box, I got the siren color, which is essentially like a really bright chartreuse. So I do like a chartreuse kind of fluke. I think it's extremely effective. I think it really gets bit, so you can try picking that up. So you can't talk about Yamamoto baits without talking about the Senko. And we got some in 4-inch. This is just a green pumpkin seed, and this is watermelon red. Nothing crazy, just 2 nice little standard finesse 4-inch Senkos. And then we got the 5-inch Senko, and this is when the crazy colors come out to play. But I'm pretty sure people have caught more bass on the Yamamoto Senko than every other Senko there ever is to this day. But again, like I said, I got a lot of really nice extreme colors. So this right here is purple emerald flake. We got bubblegum. We got bluegrass. Almost like a gold and purple with this natural clear body. Really nice looking color. Again with the chartreuse pepper. Probably one of my favorite colors as well, alongside any sort of purple. Red shad. Blue large black flake. This is a color that they recently added to their lineup, and I was really intrigued by it when I saw it. I personally do like the color blue in a lot of my baits. I also think the color blue is underutilized in many situations, so I mean, you can't really tell me when you haven't seen the color blue work. I feel like the color blue works in almost every situation, from clear to dirty, and yeah, you name it. The classic watermelon black flake. This is probably the first bait I ever fished for bass growing up. I think my buddy Hayden bought me one of these. We went to Walmart and we were like 12 years old or 13 or something. And I used to do a lot of bluegill fishing, but I had never done any largemouth bass fishing. So he bought me a pack and we went out there and smacked them. And I was just amazed ever since, of course. And I mean, ever since then I've just been hooked. So smoked purple flake, watermelon with purple flake, and then lastly peanut butter and jelly. So still having some sort of a purple accent to it. All of these colors I think catch fish. I'm not sure what it is with the Yamamoto Senko, but I think that it's so soft and supple that as it falls and shimmies, it just has unmatched action. It really is probably one of the best baits to catch a fish on, or just to put for a beginner fisherman that's never caught a bass before. Now most people buy a Senko and they're planning to fish it weightless, but everybody has thrown a Senko, so it feels like every bass has almost seen a stick bait. So lately companies like Yamamoto baits have created some more different designs that are still kind of like a soft plastic that you can fish weightless. This right here is a Yamatanuki. Not sure if I'm pronouncing that right, but I definitely tried my best there. These baits do weigh a lot. As I'm holding them in my hand, I can tell that each one of these baits probably weighs at least like 3/8 of an ounce or something like that. And yeah, that's pretty heavy for just a soft plastic. So again, you fish these guys weightless. You could put a weight in it, but there really is no need. They are extremely heavy. But in terms of colors, this is just brown, purple laminate. And then this right here is just going to be green pumpkin amber. And something similar to that, we got the Fat Ica. I'm not exactly sure. I think it's Fat Ica, but really nice rig. You can fish him weightless as well. He's nice and heavy. Durability is probably a lot more than a Senko as well. Nice thick body. But I just picked up two in the 4-inch size. I got the black with the small red flake, and then the watermelon with the gold flake. Two really nice colors. I think it'll probably give me like a clear water presentation and then a dirty water. And I just kind of cover both of my bases. These don't feel as heavy as the Yamatanuki, but they are definitely a heavy soft plastic that you could probably fish weightless or with a very small tungsten bullet weight. Now that we got finesse and weightless soft plastics out of the way, let's move on to some trailers. So with bladed jigs becoming so popular, everybody's created some sort of a bladed jig trailer. And the original classic one has always been the Seiko. So these right here are the classic bladed jig trailer that everybody used to pair with their jackhammers and just catch like 4 and 5 pounders and up. But this right here is bougie blue. Really nice, interesting colors. That really dark blue hue with the purple fleck. And then we got the blue with the black flake. And then BB2. I'm extremely excited to fish this. BB stands for Bayou Bug. They essentially have Bayou Bug and then BB1, BB2. This is their creation on another style of Bayou Bug that they have, and it probably is the nicest one of the three. Definitely the nicest one. I think the color scheme on it really appeals to me. I'm not exactly sure if it's going to appeal to more fish, but confidence is a thing when you're out fishing. So next on the lineup, we got the Gary Yamamoto Psycho Dad, and I went ahead and picked up a few of these just because they were on a sale. But I do think people are sleeping on this bait. It does not come with a whole bunch in the package. It does only come with 5, but the action and the capabilities that it have, I think, are what make this bait special. A lot of people probably just fish it on a Ned rig or something, but I'd really recommend throwing him on a jig, because if you watch any videos or look at any information, I can't read Japanese, so I don't know what any of this says, but what I will tell you is that this bait does have a bit of floating action in it. So if you pair it up on a jig, the claws will want to kind of stand up almost in a defensive manner, like a crawfish in a defensive stance. But yeah, we picked up a few colors. We got fire craw, green pumpkin blue, and then watermelon. Next up, we got the Gary Yamamoto Cowboy, and this can be put on as a trailer, but it can also be fished just as a Texas rig by itself. It has 2 huge flapping curled appendages that I think are going to be extremely effective at displacing a lot of water. And we got it in 2 really nice, interesting colors. So again, with the blue and large black flake. And then this one right here is going to be smoke watermelon, purple blue flake. But yeah, again, you can fish this guy as a trailer. You might just want to consider downsizing him just like an inch or 2. And then you should be good to go. Next up, we got double tail grubs. And these are extremely effective as trailers. Reason being that they come with 22 a pack and some really nice colors. Black and blue flake, cinnamon purple, and then that fire craw again. So I have 3 different color options. I got one for dirty, one for clear, and then that stained water. Another one of my favorite trailers by Gary Yamamoto has to be the Flappin' Hog, and the reason being is that I think these disperse a whole bunch of water, similar to the Cowboy that we have over there, but they're a little bit more of a downsized profile. You wouldn't have to cut them or anything. I think these could fish perfectly on a jig as is. You can also fish them like on a finesse jig or a Texas rig. If you did want to cut it down a little bit, you could. But really nice bait right here. They come with 7 to a pack, and I just went ahead and picked up like 5 packages. So probably one of my favorite colors here, we got is this Watermelon Magic. Really nice bait fish, kind of bluegill profile, sunfish profile. Then we got Green Pumpkin Purple Copper, also a really interesting color. And then just your classic black with large blue flake. And lastly, this probably has to be the most versatile Gary Yamamoto baits there is, and it's the Hula Grub. And again, like I said, they're extremely effective in many different ways. So you could thread them like on the back of a football jig, or you could just thread them on a jig head. I do recommend picking them up in the 5-inch size just because they do run a little bit smaller than they are, I think, or than they appear. So the DT Hula Grove comes with 10 to a package and some really nice interesting colors. So for example, right here we got Cinnamon Red Blue Flake, and then here we got Purple Emerald. So go ahead and check these out if you haven't fished a DT Hula Grub. They can be extremely effective, again, like I said, a ball jig head, Texas rigged, on a football head. Probably one of my favorite ways to fish them is just pairing them on the back of a football jig as a trailer. So just diving right in, probably the most popular Rapala bait is the Rapala Shad Rap. And as you can see here, we got it in some natural colors, and then we got it in some chrome colors. They also have this jointed style. This is in the baby bass color, but this is going to dive a little bit deeper than just your standard 5 shad wrap. 2 realistic colors. We got the natural shad color, and then baby bass, and then here we have silver blue, and then we just have a plain silver. Next, again, another classic in the Rapala lineup has to be the DT6, and the 2 colors I can really recommend you is bluegill and demon. Really nice colors, bluegill, demon, and then if you want, you could have like a shad color. Just have like 3 colors, and then you'll be good to go basically everywhere, just having 3 different representations. But for pond fishing, the 2 colors I really recommend is definitely the bluegill and then demon. Again, the DT6, it's in the name, dives 6 feet deep, really classic crankbait. Another reason why I paired Rapala and VMC is because all of Rapala baits come equipped with VMC hooks, so just kind of figured, you know, it makes sense. Another major thing to note about the DT6 is that it's made out of balsa wood, as opposed to a lot of baits on the market right now are made out of hard plastic. So really big plus right there. Probably works a little bit more effectively in colder water. And then staying on track with the DT lineup, we have the DT16. And these 2 colors are basically the only 2 colors I fish in the DT16. We have Old School and we have Disco Shad. These 2 colors should basically just get the job done. So again, Disco Shad and Old School. Really sweet colors. DT16 in the name, dives 16 feet, again made out of balsa wood. Really nice crankbaits. We got one more for crankbaits, and then we'll move on to jerkbaits. New addition, or relatively new, from the Otts Garage is the OG Slim. This color right here is Live River Shad. I picked up 2 of them just because I feel like I'll probably end up losing one of them. I got them just to try out. They seem really nice. I really like that they're made out of balsa wood again, and then they have that circuit board lip, so it's probably going to help them deflect off cover a little bit better. Really nice bait overall. Probably end up fishing him through winter to spring transition. Next up, we got jerkbaits. More specifically, this is kind of like one of the first jerkbaits that Rapala ever made, but it's the Husky Jerk, and this guy is a classic. A lot of people probably have fished him for years and years now. I got him in the number 10 size, so he runs about 4 to 8 feet, I believe. And really sweet colors. Again, just 2 kind of clear water colors and then 2 chrome colors. And then following the timeline of Rapala baits, Ripstop Minnow was one that they came out with. I believe it was after the Husky Jerk. This is probably my favorite color in the entire Rapala lineup. It's called Purple Descent. And again, I went ahead and picked up 2 of them, just in case I ended up losing one of them. It comes in 2 different sizes, so this right here is the 09 and this is the 12. This right here, this color is called Mossback Shiner. Really nice and natural color. It is a suspending jerkbait, but another thing to note is that it's a hard stopping jerkbait with the tail flange here that's immediately going to act like a kayak paddle just in the water and stopping almost all the movement from the jerkbait the moment you stop twitching. Lastly, for jerkbaits, we got the Rapala X-Wrap, which honestly, this is probably one of my favorite colors in the Rapala X-Wrap is the gold, so I picked up a couple of them. But this is a really nice finesse jerkbait. These colors right here are Glass Ghost and Silver, but again, really nice finesse jerkbait. And another thing to note about these X-Wraps is it almost feels like they catch every other species. Like, they do catch bass, don't get me wrong, but I've caught like striper on these, crappie, and just a whole bunch of different stuff. Really good bait. You could use this in the river, you could use this in a pond. Feels like this bait can almost go anywhere. Another thing to note, it does come in different sizes. So this is the size 8 and then this is the size 10. I did pick up a little bit bigger size just in case I was striper fishing or maybe saltwater fishing. Speaking of saltwater and striper fishing, I feel like this Rapala Flat Wrap is extremely effective. You essentially just cast it out, reel it down to about like 2-3 feet, and then just give it small twitches and flashes. I feel like that's an underutilized bait, but if you know how to work it, I think it's really effective. Next up, we got the Rapala Original Floater. Again, this is a classic. Mostly everybody knows these baits. We got 3 really nice colors here. We got rainbow trout, silver, and hot steel. So I'll probably use this one for like dirty water pond fishing. This color can just basically work anywhere. It's just your classic chrome almost. Then I got rainbow trout for river and lake fishing. I'm a fan of this rainbow trout color mainly because I fish a lot of rivers and ponds that get stocked by trout, so I think it's extremely effective. Another style of the Rapala floating minnow is the jointed version. So 2 major tips with this guy. You can fish him extremely slow on the surface of the water, almost like a wake bait, or you can crank him like a single jointed swim bait. And then we got the Rapala countdown minnow. This guy's made out of balsa, and a major thing to note is that he sinks. So he doesn't really fish that deep. He goes about 2 to 3 foot. But it does sink, so you can essentially just cast him out, count it down. Again, countdown minnow, it's in the name. Again, really effective bait in that rainbow trout color. I really like fishing him in stocked ponds and river systems. And lastly, for Rapala hard baits, we got the jigging minnow. And these are going to be in 2 different sizes. We got the 3, which is going to be the middle one. It's a little bit more finesse. Comes in 3/16 ounce. And then we got the 7, which comes in a 5/8 ounce. I really prefer the size 7, but I did pick up the 3 just in case I was doing some like ice fishing or finesse fishing. For colors, I got, again, my favorite, purple descent, and then I got silver right here. And then for this one, I'm not exactly sure what the color is, but I'll make sure to leave it in the description, so just y'all be looking out for that. Next up, we got some VMC terminal. So we're just going to start out with some VMC jigs, and we got moontail jigs and bucktail jigs. This is a 1/4 ounce black bucktail jig, and then this is a 3/8 ounce moontail jig. Again, I'm not exactly sure on the color, but I'll make sure that I leave it in the description. Everybody's fished the bucktail jig, but I'm yet to try out a moontail before, and when I saw this, I was extremely excited to grab it because A, the purple in it, and then B, the eyes on it are huge, so I just thought that would attract a really big fish, if anything. But again, I just figured I could kind of use these for like striper fishing, river fishing, lake fishing, whatever. You know, just catch something big or catch something to eat. Another style of jig on the VMC lineup, we got the shaky head. This is a 3/16 ounce in the green pumpkin color. Really nice style jig head. A major thing to note, this comes made out of vanadium steel, which is like 15% stronger than almost any high carbon steel you can find. I'm a huge fan of these VMC hooks, and I really recommend them, so don't be afraid to pick some up if you're in the market for some really good hooks. Next, we're going to move to finesse hooks, and I'm basically going to give you the 3 best and only finesse hooks you're going to need from the VMC lineup, and it's going to be the 1/0 wide gap with that resin closed eye, the weedless Nico hook in size number 1, and the finesse Nico hook in a size 1/0 or a 1. Big things to note about these is that they have the resin closed eye again, and then they come at a slight offset, so they're going to increase your hookup ratio. Weedless Nico, it's kind of self-explanatory. There's 2 massive strands of fluorocarbon that are going to help reduce the amount of snags you have. Then we have the finesse Nico hook. Now it's called the finesse Nico, but I really don't recommend it on that. I really recommend fishing it on a drop shot. And let me take it out of the package here and just show you why. Now again, you're going to have that resin closed eye, but another thing to note is that you're going to have these 2 strands of fluorocarbon keeper that are really going to help increase the life of your baits. And I really recommend these. These are probably some of the best hooks for a drop shot. And you may be wondering like, oh, is a 1/0 too big? No, I just Texas rig it. I'm sure that's something that you'll see on my channel. Lastly for hooks, we got the VMC bladed hybrid. I'm not exactly sure if there's any other brands that make these. I know some people make them homemade. I personally just buy them because I think it's a lot nicer and easier. These treble hook replacements are perfect on a walking bait, jerking bait, or even a lipless rattle trap. And dependent on where you place them, I recommend the size 5. If you put them on the front end of a lipless crankbait or a jerkbait, it'll make them nosedive a little bit more, which will potentially reduce the amount of snags you have and increase action, as well as that irresistible blade that's just constantly shaking and shimmering at the bottom. Next up, we have some accessories, and a major one that I really recommend is the crossover pliers. So these are going to really extend the life of any wacky rig or Nico rig you have. The package does come with some crossover rings, and they're held inside of the handle here. This side also allows you to put anything that you would want as well if you want to buy some more. I really recommend getting some of these Nico rings, so that way you have some crossover rings that you can use for wacky rigging, and then Nico rigging in the other side of the handle. Essentially just loading up these crossover pliers, making you as efficient on the water as possible. Lastly, we made the big boy decision to finally get a tournament level scale. And I think you guys are going to appreciate this on the channel because we've been catching some hogs, and I'm excited to see if we can get some weights on them. Back to the scale, this is like the industry standard when you're talking about like tournament level scales. The reason I went with the scale is because it came with some sturdy looking lip grips to attach to, as well as its touchscreen, and it keeps track of the recent fish you've weighed. And it came with some cull tags, so that's also just a bonus. If there's anything better, feel free to let me know in the comments. Moving on to Missle baits. I believe this company was started by John Cruz, who was just a professional fisherman himself. Directly on top of the package, we have Ike's Mini Swim Jig. This is probably my favorite compact swim jig on the market right now, and not a lot of people are even fishing with this. But you can pair it up with a D-Chunk. It's a really popular bait on the Missle market. I am a huge fan of this bait. It comes armored with a VMC jig, the eyes, the color scheme, the weights that you can get them in. So this color right here is Bruiser. Then we got Junebug, Bone, and Lava Craw. Ain't that sweet? Again, I picked up 4 of them in that 3/16 size. Probably the best size whenever you're talking about a finesse jig. Getting into some soft plastics here. We have the Missle bait Shockwave. We have 2 different sizes. This is the 3.5 and then this is the 4.5. It comes in some really cool colors. This is Bloody Pro Pearl. Then we got Pink Bombshell. And then we got Frosted Purple. This is probably my favorite color in the entire Missle baits Shockwave lineup. I got a whole bunch of them mainly so I could just use them as trailers on spinner baits or like A-rigs. But again, really nice baits. Next up we got a craw type bait. This is called the Twin Turbo. And this is in that purple rain color. I just got them for trailers on like a swim jig or something, but ooh, they smell really good. They smell almost like anise or something. I'm a huge fan of that. Next on the lineup, if you've never heard of this bait, then you're probably living under a rock. But we have the Missle baits D-Bomb. Extremely popular in the Missle baits lineup. It's extremely popular in the entire fishing industry, really. But this right here is that Desert Storm color. Really cool dirty water color, almost like a Bama Craw kind of thing going on. And then we got it in Toxic Grape, which is essentially like a watermelon seed with a purple and then purple fleck going through it. Really nice color. I think it'll be extremely effective for flipping and pitching in the summertime. And then we got the little bro to the D-Bomb. We got the baby D-Bomb, and this is just in a bourbon color. And I picked up like 3 packs of these, and I plan on just dipping and dyeing them all sorts of different colors. But really nice bait. Again, baby D-Bomb, probably use him for flipping and pitching just in a more finesse style presentation. And then talking about finesse fishing, here we have the Ned Bomb. And this right here is a really nice bait, I think, especially if you're using him on a drop shot. I know it's called the Ned Bomb, and you can fish him on a Ned rig, but I do fish him on a drop shot, and I think it just catches the snot out of him. But again, with all Missle baits, comes in some really nice colors. So this right here is going to be green pumpkin, purple, pink tail, and then this is going to be grape soda tail. And then this is like the big bro to the Ned Bomb. We have the Quiver Worm. And this is in a 4.5 inch, so it's a little bit bigger profile. But again, same kind of concept. It's got that stick bait kind of body with that flanged kind of tail. Being a little bit bigger in profile, you can fish him a little bit more versatile. For example, like on a Texas rig, drop shot, shaky head, or even just Nico rigging him. This color right here is PB&J. This is Fishalicious. And then we got Bammer Craw. All 3 really nice colors. Again, that's something you'll always notice with the Missle bait lineup. And lastly, the big bro to him, we got the Quiver 6.5, and this is going to be in a green pumpkin purple. I'm not really sure if the purple's really picking up. It's almost like a purple swirl or like a purple descent. But again, same concept, bigger profile, bigger flange tail, stick bait kind of style body. Again, really cool, interesting color. If you're interested in checking it out or picking it up, it's called GP3. And that does it for Missle baits. We have some Zoom Fat Alberts. These are essentially a curly tail grub. Just your standard 3-inch curly tail grub. You can use him on just a plain ball jig head, or you can rig him up on a trailer. Really nice bait. This color right here is Salt and Pepper. This is Chartreuse Pearl. And then we got just a classic watermelon seed. We also have White Pearl, Electric Shad. Really nice, cool looking color. It's like clear with purple fleck running through it, and then a little bit of a gray body. And then Junebug. So I'm going to keep a whole bunch of these on deck. We're going to have like 2, 4, 6, 7 of these. Again, just to use standalone, but mainly as a trailer. Next up, we got Zoom Finesse Worms, which these are a staple in the fishing industry. I think everybody knows about these. Really nice bait. It comes with 22 a package, but some really cool colors that you might not know about is this right here. This is called Sour Grape. Half of it is like a green sparkle, then the other half is a clear purple. Then we got Electric Shiner, another really interesting color. It's blasted with like purple and yellow fleck, but the plastic is actually almost clear. Then we got a classic Green Pumpkin Red, or if you just have plain green pumpkin, also extremely effective. You can always just dip the tails in chartreuse or something. And then just a plain watermelon seed, something for clear water situations. But we got 4 packs of those as well, so we can just kind of burn through them, fish them, catch a whole bunch on them, and pick more up. Still kind of in that finesse category, we got the Sea Tail Worm. This is essentially like a larger tailed grub. or a larger bodied grub. It's almost like a 4 or a 5-inch grub is what you could consider it. But really nice looking tail, really nice looking worm. Not a lot of people fish this sea worm, and I think it's because they don't know how. You can fish him on a drop shot, but I really recommend a mojo rig or a split shot rig if you know what that is. But really effective bait. I just wish I had some more colors. That right there was cherry seed, but if I could have just a few more colors, I believe they have like an electric blue and a cotton candy chartreuse. Really nice colors. Again, staying on the topic of finesse, we have the 4-inch dead ringer. I think Zoom was probably the brand that made this bait popular. Just a classic ringworm. Extremely effective on a drop shot. You could even fish him on a finesse Texas rig. Again, a split shot or a mojo rig as well. And these two colors, we just got green pumpkin and chartreuse pepper. I only picked up like 1 pack of these, and it's genuinely just pretty self-explanatory. They're split tail trailers. Using him on a spinnerbait is probably the most effective way to fish him. I have tried him out on a chatterbait, and I have had some success, but it just doesn't have enough meat on the body to really catch a good hook. And the color is silver rainbow. We got a plain classic pack of U-tails. Again, standard in the Zoom lineup, but really nice bait, and it's just in June bug. Just a classic little worm. I'll probably fish him on a Texas rig. It does come with 22 a package, so that's a really big thing to note. That's why I love fishing Zoom baits. You get a whole bunch of them in there, and I know some people complain about them being kinked up, but you can boil them out. Next in the Zoom lineup, we got the Super Chunk, and this is probably my favorite trailer to throw on a jig ever since I started fishing. And I think it's a bait that's really slept on, so a lot of people will prefer like a craw or a beaver style trailer, but I really prefer this. They work similar to a pork frog. Rather than having a whole ton of appendage action, they just kind of glide through the water. But I'm a huge fan of them, and it's in that flippin' purple color, so I flippin' had to buy it. A really nice finesse presentation. This bait right here is called the Z-Drop Worm. Really nice classic to be fished on a drop shot. Has almost like a small flanged tail right there. You know what? I'll just go ahead and take one of these out of the package and show you. As you can see, there's already like so much action just barely holding him, but it's got a flanged tail, so it's going to displace a lot of water, a lot more movement in the water. One side is flat and then the other side is rounded. It almost looks like it was made with an open pore technology. Really nice looking color. This right here is called Greeny Weenie. I'm a fan of it. It's got like a purple strand running through it, and then it's got that green body. But again, really nice drop shot bait, and they come with like 15 to a package, so you can kind of burn through them, catch a whole bunch of fish. Next up, we got a whole bunch of Zoom flukes, and when I say a whole bunch, I mean like a whole bunch. I'm not even sure I can fit them all in my hands. Yeah, they're like falling out, but probably got like 8 packages right there of just Zoom flukes. The major thing to note about these Zoom flukes is that there are different styles. So this right here is the fluke, and it's got like a 4-inch kind of body. Just like a nice plain jig head would work perfect on him. Then you have your Fluke Junior, just a smaller sized version of your standard fluke. And then you have your full-sized flukes. So 3 different styles, but they all 3 can be fished effectively the same way, just depending on the size or presentation that you're going for. But again, we got a whole bunch of them, and I'm not going to bore you to death with colors because some of them are repeats. Like we got that electric shad, and obviously white ice, June bug, watermelon seed, smoking shad, and disco green. Now this is a really interesting color, and I haven't seen it on many shelves, so I'll go ahead and take one of these out of the package and show you. It's essentially just like your standard like clear white fluke, but it has a whole bunch of green fleck and black running through the body. Really nice and interesting. And to show you the difference on the fluke as opposed to what I just showed you earlier, this is what the fluke is. Nice slim slender profile. It's a little bit smaller. This is something that I would probably fish more on a scrounger or on a ball jig head. Moving on to some creature style baits. This is probably the most effective creature style bait in the game right now, and it's going to be the Z-Craw. So we got it in 4 different colors. This is going to be black and blue, and we got it in that sapphire blue. And we got watermelon red and June bug. And I'm going to take one of these out of the packages as well. I don't think people realize how effective this bait is here, but I'm a huge fan of it. The 2 flapping appendages, and then the sides are ribbed, so it displaces a lot of water. From the ridges all along the sides to the really nice big flapping appendages, this bait can be flipped and pitched because it really has a nice aerodynamic profile. It's going to help you get in and out of cover easily, but again, it's still going to displace a lot of water. And then, not to mention, it comes in some really nice colors and 2 different sizes. So this is going to be your full size, and this right here is the junior. Just a little bit smaller profile. You could probably throw him on a jig a little bit better. This color right here is Blacklight. Really interesting color. I'm a huge fan of it. Probably one of my favorite colors in the entire Zoom lineup. You just won't find it in all their baits. The full size comes with 6, and then the junior comes with 8. So just a little bit of information there. Another very popular bait in the Zoom lineup, and I think an also extremely effective one, is going to be the Zoom Ultra Vibe Speed Crawl. Really popular bait that's been used a lot, paired on the back of a jig. You could throw him on a Carolina rig. You could Texas rig him. You could flip and pitch him. He has a really nice thin profile, so it probably would get in and out of cover. I just don't know if it would have enough water displacement. But really nice color right here. This is green pumpkin orange glitter. And I'm going to take one out of the package just because this is an unboxing and you probably want to see what things look like. But really nice and interesting. It's got that orange glitter running through it. And then just a plain green pumpkin. And then another color we got it in is blackberry. So it's similar to that black light, but it just has a little bit more purple fleck in it. Then if you are looking for more action, they do have the Super Speed Crawl. And essentially this just has like speed worm appendages on it. I can't even explain here. I'll just take one out and show you. Huge flapping appendages. This would probably pair really good on like a football jig, or you could flip and pitch this guy. Definitely displace a lot of water. Those things are just like knocking back and forth. But really nice looking color. This is Okeechobee Craw. So it's got that green pumpkin and blue fleck on one side, then it's got that kind of blue sapphire almost on the other. Next up, we probably have my favorite bait ever created, and I think a lot of people have forgotten about it, but we picked up a whole bunch of these, and these are Zoom lizards, or salamanders, whatever you want to call them. I can't believe I'm going to be telling you guys some of my favorite colors, but you really should check them out because they're really interesting. So first up, we just got a plain classic watermelon purple glitter. We got chartreuse red pepper. Next up we got chameleon, literally called chameleon. So 6-inch lizard chameleon. Really interesting color. I'm going to go ahead and pull this guy out just to show y'all. It's going to have almost like a pumpkin body with like a purple pink, almost like a margarita mutilator looking kind of lizard. Really nice looking color. Also probably one of my favorites. Zoom, if you're watching this video, don't stop making this color or this bait. Then again, another one of my favorite colors. This is going to be peanut butter jelly. Really nice looking lizard color. Again, probably one of my favorite colors, mainly because the purple in it, but really, really nice. Watch, now y'all are going to go catch the snot on these, and these are going to become y'all's favorite colors. Y'all better come back and show me some love if y'all do, man. I think in total we ended up getting like 10 packs of 6-inch lizards, and they come with 9 each to a package. So, what is that, like 90 lizards? Next up, we got the brother to the lizard. This right here is going to be your brush hog. And a few things to note, this guy's going to displace a little bit more water. It's going to create a little bit more action. But essentially, they're both just creature baits, and they both really get the job done. If I'm fishing a lizard, I'll typically do it on a Texas rig. But if I'm fishing a brush hog, then I'll definitely have to throw it on a Carolina rig. Another key little bit of information is that it comes in 3 different sizes. So this right here is the tiny brush hog. It's like 3 inches. You could use him on a jig or throw him on a Ned rig. And then bumping up a size, you have the baby brush hog. This is in June bug. But again, just a little bit bigger profile. You could probably flip and pitch him just for like a finesse bait. And then we have the brush hog. There is a size that's even bigger than this. I believe it's like the Magnum or like the big brush hog. But these are the 3 that I picked up. And I'm going to go ahead and take one of these out of the package just to show you what a brush hog is, in case you're not familiar. Essentially just looks like a massive lizard, creature, beaver, appendage bait. I don't really know, but again, it's going to displace a lot of water. It's got 2 massive curly tails, 2 massive flappers, and then these guys right here. If you stay following along the channel, I'm going to show you a way to customize these baits and make them catch like 10 times the fish that they normally do. And again, for colors, something natural, something dirty. So we got the June bug, we got the watermelon red, and then we got green pumpkin blue. Really nice looking color. Another bait made popular by Zoom is going to be like a soft plastic toad. So we have the horny toad right here, and this is just a plain white. Then we have it in a black and blue leg, and then we have it right here in that tree frog. This tree frog color is probably my favorite, and not because it just looks like a gecko from a little kid's picture, but I'm going to go ahead and take one of these out of the package just to show you. But they come with 5 to a package, and we picked up 3 of them, so we got 15 of these guys. Nice durable body. If you were like able to feel this, then you would know that this thing could withstand a few hook sets. And then the tail actually feels like it's made out of softer plastic. I think that was done for durability, but without losing some of that action there. Again, this is my favorite color. You don't have to check it out. If you do, it's probably going to make it that much harder for me to get. but I'm not going to be upset about it because these do catch fish. Alright, we're getting into worms here. So first up, we got the Mag U-tail. They're going to come with 15 to a package. Again, 7.5 inches. And this color right here is going to be watermelon candy red. Then I got a plain watermelon seed for a little bit clearer situations. And then we got it in plum. This is probably the most effective color on my body of water. So I went ahead and picked up 2 of them just because I know how effectively it works and I know I'm going to burn through them. But plum seems to work in most areas, so if you live in the south, I really recommend you pick up a package of these plum worms. Maybe you'll find some luck with it as well. Stepping it up a size, we got the 10.5 hole monster, and this right here is going to be a really nice big profile worm, something that I would probably Texas rig and fish in the summertime when I'm looking for a big bite. In terms of colors here, we got candy bug, really nice looking color. It's like a June bug, but it's just got a little green fleck running through it as well with the purple. And then we got red bug. I'm not sure where the bug is coming from in this one, but it's red and it has green fleck running through it. So maybe it's the green fleck that gives June bug its name and red bug its name. And then for the third color, we got this blackberry. Again, I'm a huge fan of this color. It's just black with purple fleck running through it. For a nice natural color, we got green pumpkin magic. And this right here is just green pumpkin with a whole bunch of rainbow fleck running through it. Really nice, interesting color. So a lot of the times I'm going to opt for something that has a lot of fleck in it or a dark profile, just because most of the time I'm fishing really dirty water. But again, these are just some colors that are my favorite and then some that I picked up to try. If there's any colors that you recommend me, don't be afraid to leave that in the comment section. I'll definitely check it out. And then going up a size again, this is the Magnum Old Monster. So essentially, it's bigger than the Old Monster because it's Magnum. No, but seriously, I mean, it's a 12-inch worm, really nice big profile. It's huge, thick body. I definitely recommend fishing him on like a thicker gauged hook if you're really trying to get a good hook set or something, because that's just a lot of meat you're going to have to go through. And in terms of color, I just got it in June bug red. Again, like I said, I really like something dirty. Another really popular bait in the Zoom lineup is the trick worm, and this color right here is in methylate, so it's extremely effective in the springtime whenever you're bed fishing. Another color that really goes well with this is going to be bubblegum. 2 really nice looking colors. Then we got watermelon purple glitter, something a little bit more natural. I'll probably fish them on a shaky head in clearer water situations. And then we have June bug for a dirty water presentation. Again, I'd probably fish him on a shaky head as well, but in something that has like a dock that I could skip under. I don't know if I'm beating a dead horse by saying this, but I'm just trying to teach y'all redundancy. And it's having a stained water color, a clear water color, and a dirty water color. And you're basically going to have all your bases covered. Lastly, for Zoom, we have the speed worm. And he's a really versatile bait. You can flip and pitch him, you could Texas rig him, you could swim him through the water column, mainly because there's that flange on the end of the tail there. I'm going to take one of these out of the package real quick, just to show you that flange. Again, it's similar to a speed craw. It's got the same exact flange, but it's a worm, almost like a stick bait body. So you Texas rig him, you flip and pitch him, he's going to come in and out of cover really well. Just throw on a small bullet weight, and you'll be good to go. And then going up a size, we have the Mag Ultra Vibe Speed Worm. So just a bigger profile, he's a little bit longer, and you know, it's gonna have a little bit more meat for you to get a hook set in. Pull one of these out for y'all as well. As you can see, thicker, longer, bigger flange there on the end of the tail, but really nice profile. All the same, you can just Texas rig him and should have a lot of success. Just as an accessory or an addition, Zoom does offer these little glass rattles that you can put in almost all of their soft plastics that are going to give a rattle to your baits and a whole different profile. So if you're flipping and pitching and you just want to create a little bit more commotion, I definitely recommend picking a few up. It's not bad to just keep in the back pocket and then you need to pull them out. That's everything for the Zoom side of things. Let's move on to Z-Mans and Roboworm. Moving on to box number 2. Alrighty, starting out with Z-Man, we got a whole bunch of original chatterbaits. We got like 5 of them right here. This color right here, I believe is called Redbone. Really nice looking color. It's almost like a green shad. Then we got Junebug, Firecraw. Really good color to use in the springtime. And then we got Smoky Shad. So similar to the Redbone, but this one's going to have a little bit more like clear and red in it. And lastly, we got your classic black and blue 3/8 ounce. And this guy for me just puts in so much work in ponds, river systems, pretty much anywhere I go where there's dirty water, tannic water, really any color. I've caught them in clear water as well on the black and blue. Believe it or not. I was fishing Lake Ouachita where it's like 130 feet deep, and they were just coming up on the bank for this. I was I was fishing a black and blue 3/8 ounce chatterbait off the bank, and they were just coming up and smashing it, and the water was crystal clear. I mean, you could see pebbles all the way down like 4 feet. Next up, we got the downsized virgin, wow. Next up we got the original chatterbait. This is a downsized version, the mini version, in the color shad. This is not the mini max, which is going to be like a little bit of an upgrade. I think it's going to have like a hand-tied skirt, and I think that's it. I think that's the only difference, is the mini max comes with a hand-tied skirt and this one isn't. I'm not sure if the mini max has maybe like a better blade or better clip that makes it run better. Someone feel free to let me know, or maybe that's something I gotta look up myself. We picked up a couple packs of Willow Vibes in the 3/8 ounce, and this is chartreuse shad, and this is smelt, so a little bit more like dirty water, stain water presentation, and then kind of clearer water. But really, you can use them both in whatever presentation you need. It's just a 3/8 ounce little ball head jig, but it has a little willow blade in front of it, so it's gonna work almost like a finesse chatterbait, I guess you could say, or like a souped up scrounger, if you know what that is. But really nice looking bait. I'm excited to use it. Probably pair it with some flukes that I showed earlier. Here's some chatterbait customs from Tackle Warehouse in some really cool colors. So we got Hodge Knocker. It's got like this chartreuse white kind of glimmer with like a purple descent going through the skirt, and then the head there has like a red glitter on it. We got citrus shad, so 2 shad representations, and then we got bluegill and Bama bug, so it's going to be kind of like that green pumpkin with a June bug body as well. Really nice looking colors. We got 2 bluegill presentations, and I got them in like a 5/8 ounce, so they're going to be a little bit heavier, run a little bit deeper. They also come with a 4/0 hook, so it's going to be really nice, pair up with a lot of trailers. So these chatterbaits are Tackle Warehouse exclusive, and I'm really excited to try them. They seem really nice, and the skirt designs on them honestly caught my eye, so I picked up like 4 of them, and we'll just give them a try. So if you're interested in seeing how these work, y'all just stay tuned into the channel, and I'll be sure to have a more in-depth review, some close-up shots, some action shots, some good footage, all that stuff. Next up, we got a little bit of a different design on a chatterbait. This is called the Cross Eyes. So a couple key things to note about this chatterbait is it's going to have these 2 yellow eyes on the jig head, and it's going to have these 2 wire hook protectors that are going to help you roll over like wood cover a lot better and reduce snag rate. Really nice looking bait. I saw it in this color, which is called Mouse Rat, and I just thought it would represent a shad really well. I guess it's supposed to represent a mouse or a rat. I'm not sure, but yeah, really cool looking color. Y'all check it out. And then another modified chatterbait that Z-Man has is going to be the big blade chatterbait. So it's in the name, obviously the blade is going to be way bigger, and this color right here is going to be chartreuse white and orange. Really cool and interesting. I got it in a 5/8 ounce, so it's going to run a little bit deeper. I think because the blade's going to make it float a little bit, you know, a little bit higher. It's going to pull and resist through a lot more water, so it's going to cause the bait to actually suspend a little bit higher. So if you were fishing this in a 1/2 ounce, it may run like a 3/8. So I got it in a 5/8, so it would run like a 1/2 ounce. Really big key piece of information there. Hopefully that helps you save some money. But yeah, this is a really nice bait to use, especially during the spring or when you're trying to cause a lot of commotion. Like when you see bass feeding and chasing all around you, but they're not really committing to what you have, throw this. And lastly, for chatterbaits or bladed jigs, I guess, we have the jackhammer, and this is probably the best chatterbait or bladed jig that Z-Man has to offer. It comes in some really nice colors. It's going to have those wire tied skirts, really nice jig head keepers. So just to give you some colors, we got black and blue, clear water shad, really nice shad profile, golden shiner. Oh no, I just dropped like $20. I'm not gonna lie, I like jackhammers. I have 4 of them, so obviously I like them, but they are a little bit pricey. Like, I am someone that to pay a fair price on a bait, and I just think that what they're charging on these is a little bit expensive, but I do know that they have to go through a lot of patents, and everybody's got to get their money, so I'm not hating. I mean, I still picked up 4 of them, but if I had to recommend like any 2 colors to you, I would just stick with these 2. Again, I'm not really sure how to pronounce this, but the Bihite Delight or whatever, and then Clearwater Shad. And lastly, we got a Z-Man Sling Blade Power Finesse Spinnerbait. And essentially this guy's just going to come on a 4/0 O'Shaughnessy VMC hook with a wire trailer keeper, so it's going to hold up to the Z-Man plastics a lot better. Then you're going to have a wire tied skirt, so it's going to hold up a lot better as opposed to a banded skirt, or potentially even like a threaded tied skirt. And then the color scheme on this is going to be chartreuse pearl. And for the blade combination, we got an orange Colorado kicker with the Indiana blade. So this is going to work perfectly in like river systems, dirty water fishing, muddy water fishing, after it rains, spring fishing. Really nice looking color. Again, it's that finesse profile. So this is a 3/8 ounce, but it's going to look almost like it's a 1/4 ounce, and it's going to come through cover a lot better. And on the bottom here, we got a whole bunch of Roboworm. So first, the 3-inch Alive Shad, and it's essentially just a little teardrop looking minnow. You fish them on a drop shot, of course, and really nice looking bait. It's got a small profile. Off the rip, I mean, these are my two favorite colors. We got Prism Shad and Margarita Mutilator. Really interesting looking color. It's really dark, so it's difficult to see without a light. You know what? I'll shine my phone light. Looks really, really interesting. This is Margarita Mutilator. It's got that brown top, purple middle, and then kind of like a pinkish bottom. Really cool color. Roboworm has so many other colors to offer, and I'm sure I'm gonna pull out like 5, 6, 7 of these and be like, oh dude, this is my favorite color. It's hard to pick a favorite when you're talking about Roboworm, so just keep that in mind. Next up, we're gonna have our 4-inch straight tail worm. I picked up like 6 of them, and I wish I would have got more, but again, we got that Margarita Mutilator color. Really nice looking color. Then we have PVT. Let's take it out of the package. I'm kind of curious. Oh, dude, that looks money. Can y'all see this? Can y'all see what I'm seeing right now? They do have like this flanged kind of tail there. I really prefer fishing Roboworms on drop shot mainly. I think they're extremely effective on the drop shot, and I don't see why I would change it if it's working for me. This is probably my 3rd favorite color if I had to pick. This is Oxblood Light Red Flake, and it's essentially just a brown, and it has a thin strip of purple running through it with some red flake. Really nice looking bait here. Next up, we're gonna have Aaron's Magic, and I'm sure this camera is really not doing it justice, but it has like green, purple, and a brown kind of body running through it. Really nice looking bluegill profile on a drop shot. And then we got Morning Dawn. Whenever you think of a Morning Dawn kind of drop shot worm, this is what I think of. This is the exact worm that comes to mind. I think Roboworm kind of nailed it with this color, and yeah, whenever I saw him, I just knew I had to pick up a package, and I'm sure I'm not going to end up regretting it. So this is just a longer version. This is the 6-inch worm, and I got a whole bunch of them. Let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 packages of the 6-inch worm, and again, a lot of the same repeat colors, and I won't bore you to death. So we got the PVT. So again, for colors that I didn't show you, this is Salt and Pepper Chartreuse. And then we got Folkstad Special. And a major thing to note about these straight tail worms is that if you get the 4.5-inch or you get the 6-inch, it really doesn't matter. They still come with a 10 count, so you might as well go with the 6-inch and then just trim them down if you need to, because the thickness in these baits are not much different. So next up, we got the Fat Straight Tail. So it's going to be the same concept as the 4.5-inch, but it's just going to be a little bit thicker profile on the worm. This right here is going to be brown purple hologram. And then this color right here is Salt River Craw. Really interesting red looking color. But again, it's going to be the same concept of the 4.5-inch, but it's going to be a little bit thicker in terms of the profile of the bait. So I'll go ahead and take one of these out and show you what I mean by that. As you can see, it's just a thicker drop shot worm than the 4.5-inch. So you get a little bit more meat for a hook to go through, I guess, as well as potentially increasing like the size or quality of fish if you're looking for like a bigger fish. A big reason why the Roboworm colors are always so phenomenal is mainly because they use the open pore technology, and also whoever's over there designing these colors is really like putting some thought into it. I would not mind a Roboworm sponsor. Yeah, these colors are sweet, man. I just feel like these worms get bit because a lot of people are just throwing like a classic green pumpkin, black and blue, yada yada. So these are like a whole different ballpark for them. Next, out of the box, we have the 6-inch Fat Straight Tail. And this is essentially going to be the same concept as the 6-inch worm, but just a thicker body profile. So same thing I just showed y'all earlier. And we got it in 2 different colors. We got it in the watermelon red and black flake. And then this right here is Bitch and Craw. Yes, I just said Bitch and Craw, but I'm gonna have to bleep it out, so if you don't know what I'm saying, it rhymes with itchin'. You know, like I really have an itchin' or a crave to go fishing, an itch under my sleeve. Alright, anyways, I think y'all get the concept. And we as well got it in that purple brown hologram color. Moving on up a size, we have the 7-inch straight tail worm. So this is not the fat version, it's going to be slimmed down, but this is going to be a 7-inch worm. It's going to be a little bit longer, and again we got it in that watermelon red and black, so just a really nice classic worm color that works for me. Next up, we got a whole bunch of Ned baits, and this also comes in all the amazing colors that Roboworm has to offer. It's a 3-inch worm and it comes in an 8 count. Just to show you some colors real quick, we have Aaron's Blue Smelt, Watermelon Dawn. This is Oxblood Light Red Flake. This color right here is Breaking Dawn. So it has like an orange bottom with a purple strip going through it, and then the pink body with red flake. Really nice looking color. I'm gonna go ahead and take this out and just show you guys what this Ned bait looks like. Again, just a classic Ned bait. It does have a lot of salt in it, so it will sink. I really like that quivering action on the tail there. Again, I do think these baits get bit just because a lot of fish aren't seeing these color schemes. And then we got it in that purple brown hologram. Stepping it up a size, we got a whole bunch of these 4.5-inch Ned worm. And there's so many ways to rig this guy up. You could rig him on a shaky head, you could do a wacky rig, you could do a Texas rig, you could do a Ned rig, but you'd have to use a really big hook, probably like a 2/0. Yeah, this color right here is Aaron's Blue Smelt. Then we got Green Pumpkin Amber. It's gonna have like this green pumpkin kind of red flake on top, and then orange bottom. A couple packages of the purple brown hologram. We have that same Breaking Dawn color I just showed you, but in an upsize. So they're 4.5-inch as opposed to a 3-inch. And then we got 2 packages of yellow perch. And this color was really interesting to me. I think it stood out the most because it genuinely looks like a perch. Like the color scheme looks dead on like a perch to me. I don't know what it is. I guess it's the orange and the green, but yeah, I really hope you guys can see that because that looks so interesting. They're kind of big in profile, they're thick, and it's almost like a little stick bait. It's like a finesse stick bait. If you ever fished like a 4-inch Cinco, it's like the sweet spot in between a 4 and a 5-inch Cinco. And lastly, on the Roboworm lineup, we got a whole bunch of these original zipper worms. They come with 6 to a package, and we picked up like 7 of them, so we got like 42 zipper worms right here. But really nice looking, interesting bait. I think it would be perfect on like a Texas rig or flipping and pitching. Almost like flipping and pitching like a speed worm. A lot more water displacement due to the ridges across the body. And then it's going to have that curled flange tail right there. If you haven't checked out a zipper worm, then I really suggest checking it out. This color right here is going to be Tackle Warehouse Black and Blue Green Pumpkin. Then we have Red Craw. It's going to be similar to that Salt River Craw I showed earlier. Oxblood Light Red Flake, again, up there with my favorite colors. Desert Craw. This is going to be like a green pumpkin, maybe a little bit of purplish running through it. And then a orange kind of bottom right there. Green Pumpkin Amber. And again, we picked up that Oxblood Light Red Flake, so we got 2 packages of those as well. Starting out with 10,000 fish. This is going to come chock full of 10,000 fish, which I'm a huge fan of 10,000 fish. I like the whole concept behind the name. I like the brand themselves. I think they also were kind of ingenuitive in some sort of ways, and you'll see why here in a second. So directly on top, we have the 10,000 fish cycle bait underspin, and this is essentially just going to be like a underspin with a Colorado blade, but instead of actually just running like a normal spinnerbait blade would, it kind of has these rings on it, and it's just going to kind of just flash back and forth and create a lot of commotion in the water. So I'm going to just go ahead and take one of these out for you and show you what I mean. Another major plus about 10,000 fish is their packaging. So it's going to come in that cardboard kind of box, but then also in sort of a clamshell. That's going to keep all of your baits just straight, nice, clean. The paint won't chip on the jig head. Just a lot of things. The blade actually won't get scratches on it. See, it's just going to stay nice and new. It has a nice sound to it. I don't know why. It sounds like jewelry, man, but looks like it too. Really nice looking color. This right here is their bluegill pattern. So it's going to have a green pumpkin head with some gold and blue fleck through it, black eyes, and then a gold Colorado thumping blade. But like I said, it doesn't have a swivel on it. It just has these rings, and they're going to twist and turn, and eventually I think they kick and then kick back once they reach a certain point that they can't keep twisting.
and it's just going to keep kicking and kicking back and forth, almost creating like a hunting action side to side because that blade is knocking back and forth. And then for the keeper, it's just going to have a nice wire keeper and a lead keeper, so you kind of get the best of both worlds. You could use it on Elastec, or you could just use it on normal soft plastics. And then it also has a nice looking black nickel hook that feels pretty sharp, so definitely can't complain there. This one right here is in a 3/8 ounce. Again, it's got a 3/0 hook, bluegill color pattern. I picked up 2 of those, so 2 3/8, and then I downsized. I got a 1/4 ounce, just a plain nice silver one. Again, 3/0 hook, same concept. And then I went up a size and got a 1/2 ounce, and this is black and blue 4/0. So essentially what I did was go for some sort of a dirty water, stained, muddy color, and then some sort of a bluegill kind of pattern, and then some sort of a shad pattern. Next in the 10,000 fish lineup, this right here is called the Headhunter, and it comes in some really nice interesting colors and different sizes. So you have the 1/2 ounce and then the full ounce version. I think this is like a 4 inch and a 1/3, and then this is like a 3 1/4 inch. But really nice looking colors. Again, this is sweet and sour sunfish, and then we got salt and pepper. These look like some really nice looking swim baits, so I picked up a couple of each color. And you know, just a really nice quick thing to note about it is it has this hook that's concealed in the top dorsal fin of the bluegill. And again, nice clamshell package, but I'm going to take one of these out and show you what I mean. As you can see, there's a hook hidden inside of that dorsal fin, and then once you go to set the hook, it releases, and it's being held in place by a magnet, so after you catch a fish on it, you just kind of sink it right back in there. It's almost completely weedless, and it's going to really give off a lot of action with that boot tail, and it appears like the fin here has a small flange on it that'll probably displace a little bit of water as well. But really nice looking colors, really nice looking bait, and again, it's just a nice looking swim bait profile for a bluegill, so you can never go wrong with that, especially if you're pond hopping like me. Most of the time that's all I'm doing, it's just like pond hopping, looking for a big fish, and this is probably a way to get a really big bite right here. Then we have the 10,000 fish Tataki frog. So this is essentially 10,000 fish's version of a topwater walking frog. The weight system's on the outside, so they say that it's supposed to help it walk better, come through cover a lot better, and I don't know, I guess we'll have to see about that, but I'll go ahead and take one of these out of the package just to show you what it looks like. Really interesting looking frog. I think it looks nice. I think it looks really weedless and snagless, which can be a good and a bad thing. Obviously, if you're fishing like scum and lily pads, you may want it to be a little bit more snagless, but if you're really looking to get a good hook set, I'd probably recommend bending these hooks out. But really nice looking bait. In terms of colors, we got stone toad and white gold, so just a nice looking dark kind of color, and then a white kind of shad looking color. Another interesting take on a spinnerbait similar to the cycle bait underspin. Right here we have the 10,000 fish cycle bait, similar to a spinnerbait, but essentially it's going to have those rings again, so it's going to make that blade kick back and forth. This right here is a Colorado in black and blue, comes with a 4/0 hook. This is a 3/8 ounce right here, and we got it in dark Junebug, again 4/0 hook. This is probably my favorite color right here, this dark Junebug gold, and so I went ahead and picked up 2 of those just in case I lose one of them. Then a color I wish I would have picked 2 up of, but I didn't because I was stupid, is this pink lemonade right here. Pink lemonade with that willow blade. Dude, this thing looks money right here. And then this one comes with a willow blade combination. So some of them come with Colorado blades, some of them come with willow blades. You just pick whatever combination you want, and obviously it's going to be dependent on the temperature, time of year, whatever situation you're fishing. But I just picked up an assortment. So for colors in the willow blade cycle bait, we got fire craw, and then we got bluegill. So craw representation, bluegill representation, and then a shad representation. And that should basically get the job done for you. In total, we picked up 6 of these, and I'm really interested in trying it and seeing how it works out as opposed to just a normal spinnerbait. Golly, I'm running out of room already. Lastly, for 10,000 fish, we have the Death Stalker, and this is just a 1/2 ounce in that gold tiger color. I'm going to go ahead and take them out just because I feel like the packaging is kind of making things a little bit obscure. So essentially what this bait is right here is it's a blade bait with a willow blade on the back. So it's a blade bait with a blade. I like it. I think it's going to be interesting. I think it's going to catch fish. I think that this blade will probably clink up against this blade and make a lot of sound. And then if you want, you could probably reel him in. And this guy back here is just going to swim back and forth. Really nice looking blade bait. Again, it comes in that gold tiger color, so I'm a big fan of a gold blade bait. I think it works really well in the wintertime. And then you're going to just have a nice black nickel treble hook down here at the bottom. Next, we're going to move on to some 10,000 fish soft plastics. First up for soft plastics, we have the 10,000 fish saw craw. We got summer craw, And then we got Smokey Craw. And I'm pretty sure everyone has seen a summer craw at this point, but I'm going to go ahead and take out Smokey Craw because I have never seen that color pattern in my life. But I like colors that are unique, so whenever I saw this, I immediately had to pick it up. It's essentially just like one side is going to be watermelon seed, and then the other side is going to be a smoke white, and it's just going to have black fleck running through the entire body. Really nice, interesting color. And again, it comes in some pretty sweet packaging. That clamshell is really going to make every single craw bait hold up. I mean, literally, they're all standing up straight. And I'll be able to flip these, turn these whichever way, put them in my bag, take them on the boat with me, take them in my kayak, whatever. And they're going to hold up like way better than most packaging. A lot of salt in them, probably a lot of action as well because those craw appendages look huge. Huge. Eugene. Alright. Moving on from the saw craw, we're going to take a little bit more of a finesse approach. This right here is the Sakoshi bug, and if you haven't heard of this bait, you probably have been living under a rock. It's going to come with some really durable Elastec stretch plastic. The body does float upright, so whenever you're working it on a Ned, it's going to look a lot more realistic, and the colors on it are amazing. This right here is Twilight, and this color right here is Green Pumpkin Orange Craw. Now, a major key I'm going to give you with these, if you're still watching this video, you deserve to hear this, it's that they do work amazing on a Ned rig, but they pair even better on a jig. Mainly because they're going to help your jig stand up a little bit more, almost giving it like a defensive style manner. And in terms of a trailer, it's a little bit more of a finesse approach, so you're not going to disturb too many fish. And the fact that it floats is probably going to help you reduce the amount of snags you have, especially around like rocky areas. It'll probably help keep your hook out of those like crevices between rocks. But really nice looking colors. Again, this is that Green Pumpkin Orange Craw. And then we have that Twilight. So one side of it is going to be green pumpkin, the other side is going to be white with a purple fleck. And again, all their baits are going to come in those really nice clamshell packaging. Because these baits do have some sort of max stretch plastic in them, I really do recommend just keeping them in the package they come in. Otherwise they might melt on you, goop up, or like stick to other soft plastics you have and just ruin a whole batch. You're just going to have to trust me on that one, and you'll thank me later. The best soft plastic that 10,000 Fish has to offer is the Yodo-worm. And I legit picked up as many as I could in the finesse size, and even more in the bigger size, which you'll see here in a minute. But a major reason why I picked up the finesse size is because he can be fished on a swim jig, you can pair it on a finesse spinnerbait, you can pair it on a finesse bladed jig, you can drop shot it, you can Ned rig it, you could Texas rig and flip and pitch him. There's so many ways to rig a Yodo-worm. Again, I picked up as many as I could, so here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And I probably have more somewhere in my arsenal somewhere. But for colors, just a fire craw color I could pair on any sort of red bait. Junebug Gold, really nice looking color. I really bought it because it was purple and gold, and I was like, whoa, this looks insane. But also because I could probably pair it on some sort of a finesse chatterbait. Chartreuse Pepper, this color has had me captivated ever since I was a kid. Another fire craw. White Silver Flake, just a nice shad profile or a finesse minnow bait. Pink Lemonade, this is almost like a pro blue red pearl. But this is probably my favorite color in the lineup right now. Blue craw, essentially like an Okeechobee craw. It's going to have like this green pumpkinish watermelon seed green, and then a blue side. Black and blue flake, and I picked up another one of those Junebug Golds as well. Stepping it up a size, this is the Yodo-worm 4.75 inch. Again, we got that black and blue flake, and then the pink lemonade. These are the only two different colors that I picked up other than this third color I'm about to show you. But again, really nice looking bait. I'll probably pair them on a full size bladed jig, spinner bait, swim jig, Texas rig, shaky head, drop shot, all that good stuff. Next up, I'm going to go with the BioSpawn and 10,000 Fish to kind of transition things. I would not be upset with the 10,000 Fish sponsor. Okay. For the third color of Yodo-worm, I picked up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 of them. Oh, excuse me. 14 of them. There was one on my desk. But the reason why I picked up so many of these is because I got it in the green pumpkin pearl color. And that pearl side is going to essentially allow me to dip and dye it whatever color I want. Essentially, if you have a dip and glow marker, you can color in the pearl side to be whatever color you want. And then you have a really nice looking trailer for whatever spinnerbait, bladed jig, swim jig. So just to take one of these out of the package and show you what a Yodo-worm is. So this right here is the 10,000 Fish Yodo-worm. So taking a look out of the package, it essentially just has some sort of a bait fish profile with almost like a worm or a minnow tail, but it's going to have this Japanese style ridges that's going to displace a lot of water, and it's going to hold a lot of scent, so if you like to scent your stuff. One last thing to note, that tail literally cannot stop moving. There we go, I finally, no, it's just going to keep shaking. Yeah, that tail puts off a lot of movement and action in the water. It's not going to displace a lot of water, but it is going to sit there and just be irresistible. These type of baits are extremely popular on the market right now. If you've been keeping up with the tournament scene, one of the top pros, Jacob Wheeler himself, designed a minnow that is very similar to this bait. It's essentially going to be called the freeloader, and it's going to be a minnow style type bait that's going to be fished on a drop shot, bladed jig, spinner bait. But again, I picked up as many as I possibly could, so we got like 14 of them, and I'm sure I have more somewhere, but this again is probably my favorite bait in the entire 10,000 fish lineup. So whenever I saw the opportunity to snag a bunch, I did not hesitate. Just pick up a 10,000 fish Yodo worm and pair it up on a chatterbait and tell me you don't catch fish. I picked up 2 of these fishing kit boxes, and I'll probably end up doing some sort of a challenge or a giveaway, so y'all just stay tuned for that. Next up, making the transition from 10,000 fish to BioSpawn, we have the Vile Bug, and we picked up like 7 of these packages, but really 6 of them are all the same color, and it's going to be an Okeechobee craw. So this is going to be like a green pumpkin, and then the backside is going to be a blue fleck just running through it. Really nice looking color. It's probably going to be perfect for flipping and pitching baits. A Texas rig. It's really going to imitate a bluegill profile almost perfectly. The only other color I could recommend you is going to be white silver flake, mainly for bed fishing and sight fishing. So these are 4-inch baits, so they do have that full body profile. And we picked up 7 packages. They come with 7 in there, so 7 times 7, we got like 49 of these. Next up, we got exopods, and I picked up 4 packs of these. And to be a little bit redundant, I got 2 packs in the Okeechobee craw color. And then this color right here is going to be candy grass. And then we got Junebug. Again, we picked up 4 packs, and they come with 7 each package. So we got 28 baits. Third bait on the lineup, we got the BioSpawn Vile Craw. And again, we got it in that white silver fleck. It's going to be perfect for sight fishing and bed fishing. And really nice, interesting thing about this bait, if you see the middle appendage there, it's going to have a small little knob on it. So it's going to displace water and kind of knock through the water column, along with the 2 flapping appendages. This bait right here does resemble a similar JDM bait that I am aware of. It's made by Jackal. I'm not exactly sure on how to pronounce the name. I believe it starts with like an A. But this is a more affordable version, and it comes with more to the package. So I'm not complaining. Plus the colors are really nice. You could essentially just rip off the 2 claw appendages here and fish it like a small finesse drop shot bait if you wanted. There's many different ways to fish this guy and rig him. You could use him as a trailer on many different baits, but you could also just flip and pitch him as is, or downsize him into a finesse profile like we talked about earlier. Alright, time to open up the full-sized BioSpawn box. Alrighty, to continue on with BioSpawn here, we have the Vile Tube, and essentially this is just their take on creating some sort of a tube bait. But a couple things to note, the side appendages here do have some sort of wings or flappers on it that are going to help it glide and spiral through the column on a fall. Really nice looking colors as well. So this right here is going to be that twilight color that I mentioned earlier in the Sakoshi bug for 10,000 fish. So kind of interesting to see that they have a 10,000 fish color and a BioSpawn color that are the same, but I'm a huge fan of it. Again, it's got that green pumpkin with the purple fleck running through it. Then the other side is going to be a pearl and a silver fleck running through it. I'm a huge fan of ingenuity, so whenever I saw this bait, I really wanted to try it as opposed to a normal tube style bait. Some other colors I could recommend are going to be the green pumpkin orange tail. Side's going to have a nice green pumpkin. The other side's going to have a nice fire red, almost orange kind of craw. And then we have smoke gold purple fleck. So it's just going to have a full smoked out body with golden purple fleck. Pretty self-explanatory. Another quick thing to note about this tube is it appears like here they have slots for your jig head to come through. So if you're fishing it with a tube jig, it should pair perfectly. I don't know what it is, but it feels like it's kind of difficult to get your hands on a good tube nowadays. Still staying on the topic of finesse, we have the plasma tail worm. This is a very popular bait on the market, and a lot of the colors are extremely interesting, so I had to pick up a whole bunch. So for colors, we have green soda peach. This right here is going to be a nice dirty water shad kind of profile. And I went ahead and picked up 2 of these. Then this color right here is fluorescent shad. It's going to have that purple body with a nice little green tail. Really nice looking worm profile. And I picked up 3 of these. Then of course I had to get purple fire for reasons that don't need to be respoken. Really nice looking purple body, and then it's got that fire tail. And lastly we got Bama Bug, just to have something that'll be a little bit more versatile whenever I need to go fishing in dirty, clear, stained water, or I'm unsure what I'm dealing with. But it's got that June bug on one side, and it's got green pumpkin on the other. And again, in total we picked up 7 packages of these, and they do have a 10 count to them, so 70 worms. Totally worth it. So still staying on the topic of the plasma tail, but we've gone up a size. This right here is the 6.5 inch. instead of the 4.5 inch that I just showed earlier. So the 4.5 inch is probably going to be better on a drop shot, as opposed to the 6.5 can be rigged on a shaky head. You could rig them on an EWG style drop shot. You could rig them on a Texas rig. Many different ways you could rig this bait, but two really interesting colors that we got is going to be watermelon red flake, and it's going to have that fire tail on it. So I'm a big fan of that. And then I decided to rock out with that black light color again, just because I was such a fan of it on the Vile Craw. Quick thing to note about these bigger sizes is they only come with an 8 count instead of 10. So we picked up 4 of them, times 8, we got 32 worms. Now if you're wondering, that's really nice, you got a finesse style worm, but we need something to wacky rig. Well, they got you covered as well with the Exo Stick. And this color right here is going to be white silver fleck. The main reason why I got white silver fleck, again, to be redundant, is for bed fishing and sight fishing. But also, I don't see a lot of plain white Senkos, and then I don't see a lot of plain white Senkos with silver fleck in it. So to me, this just stood out immediately, and I realized I could probably use them to bed fish pretty effectively. One quick thing to note about this worm is it can be rigged on a shaky style head, Texas style rig. It's not meant to only be wacky rigged, but if you've seen it rigged wacky style, then the underwater movement on this, it almost wants to roll backwards and jerk back and forth. So it's a little bit different than a wacky worm. I'm sure it's going to have moments where it's going to be really effective and work, but I only picked up that one package just because I've never tried it before myself, and I'd like to get my own experience firsthand before I make a decision and buy like 15 packages of some things. Now the Yoda worm, on the other hand, that bait's money. Staying on topic with worms, we got the Exo ribbon, and this is basically their just take on a nice Texas rig style curly tail worm. This color right here, I'm sure it's pretty obvious. We got watermelon red black flake, and then we got an electric blue, so it's going to have a black and blue style body with an electric blue sapphire kind of tail. Really nice looking bait. Again, it's got that curled style tail, so it's probably going to kick, drag through a lot of water. And as well, they're going to have it in 2 different sizes. So going up a size, this is the 7 inch. We have the 10 inch right here, and we picked that up in Junebug. These only come with 6 to a pack as opposed to 8 in a pack like these smaller sizes do, but still really nice looking big style profile worm. It's got a lot of meat, so it's going to help hide a thick gauge wire hook. Lastly, for BioSpawn, we got a whole bunch of Exo swims and a whole bunch of different variety, colors, sizes, and all that. So let me take some of these out and show you what I got. So going from smallest to largest, we have the 2.75 inch right here. It's going to be a perfect style finesse little swim bait. Probably works perfectly if you're fishing for crappie, panfish, but as well works perfect if you're fishing for bass in those finesse style presentations, or maybe you're just fishing cold water, extreme kind of temperatures. Really nice finesse style profile and really nice colors as well. Not to mention with how many they come with, it's totally worth it. So this right here is just going to be sexy shad. It's got that blue top, clear bottom with some gold fleck in it. Chartreuse pepper. What you know about that chartreuse pepper? Then we got goby smoke. It's going to have a green pumpkin kind of purple and orange fleck running through it, as well as like a smoky black fleck bottom. Just a nice plain pearl flash. Can never go wrong with a plain little white swim bait. Sungill, probably my favorite color in the entire BioSpawn lineup, other than that black light that I showed y'all earlier. It's like most baits you find don't have a lot of gold fleck in them, especially whenever they're blasted through to this degree, where they legit just look like a sunfish. And then lastly, we got it in electric shad. Then just slightly going up a size, we have the 3.25 inch. And again, these come with 8 to a pack still, so you're not losing out on any baits, but you're just getting a bigger profile if you want to use it as a trailer, if you're looking to get a little bit of a bigger bite. But again, we got it in that sungill color, electric blue and chartreuse. This will work perfect in most of the bodies of water that I fish, mainly because they're stained and dirty, so this is going to stand out perfect. I just went ahead and picked up 2 of each, because I know I'm going to burn through them using them on an A-rig, a trailer, single jig head, whatever it may be. I'm sure I'm going to use them. Going up one more size, we have the 4-inch Exo Swim, and this color right here is again that goby smoke, so hopefully y'all can see it a little bit better. It's got that smoke side. Top side is going to have that green pumpkin purple fleck, almost like an orange fleck as well running through it. The 4-inch is going to pair perfectly on a full-size spinnerbait, or if you like to fish your swim baits weedless, this will probably be perfect to rig up on like an owner screw lock. Then going up to the biggest size that BioSpawn has to offer in the Exo Swim, we have the 4.75 inch, and boy, these are huge. This right here is an electric shad. Again, that sexy shad. Really nice looking color. And then we got green gizzard shad. The top is going to have a green body, and then the bottom's just going to be pearl. 3 really big, nice looking bait fish profiles. Probably end up fishing them alone on like an owner screw lock or some sort of a jig head. That completely does it for BioSpawn and 10,000 fish. I think the last box we have is the Karls clearance baits. Starting out with the clearance, we got some terminal right here made by Stickies. These are just going to be some round bend 6/0 treble hooks that come with 7/2 a pack. And these are just going to be some round bend worm hooks. They're going to be a 4/0. And again, 7/2 a pack. So these right here I'll probably use as replacements on some crankbaits and finesse baits. And then these right here I'll probably just use as a Texas rig and whatever else I need to do. Staying on the topic of terminal, right here we got the Woo Tungsten brand. And we got some Carolina barrel weights. So these are going to be a 3/8 ounce black. And then these are just going to be some red beads. And you can pair these perfectly together, especially because these are plastic beads and this is tungsten. Whenever you're using tungsten, you always want to make sure you're using some sort of a plastic bead, not glass, because the glass bead will break and then it'll probably cause your line to split. Also, you're just littering at that point. But again, we got the tungsten never chip 3/8 ounce barrel weights to pair perfectly with these little ruby red plastic beads. This is another brand by Catch Coast, the hard hat jigs, and this right here is just going to be the rear loading swing jig, essentially just a swing head. It's going to come in a 4/0, and I believe that the size I picked up right here is going to be like a 1/2 ounce, but I'm not sure. 3/4 ounce, excuse me. 3/4 ounce, it's going to be a little bit heavier. I'll probably use him whenever I'm fishing off a ledge or something, some sort of a steep bluff wall. Really effective bait. You pair him with a creature bait. Another brand by Catch Co is going to be the Heavy Metal Tungsten brand. I got a whole bunch of their terminal weights and jig stuff. So right here we got some mushroom jig heads, and these are just going to be a nice finesse style tungsten jig head. Then I got 2 packs of flipping weights, both in 1 ounce, and this is going to be black and then green pumpkin. So I got a nice natural color I can pair with my natural colors, and then I got a nice dark color I can pair with my dirty water colors. I picked up one of their flipping jigs in the color Summer Craw. This is a 1/2 ounce with a 5/0 hook, and again the head is tungsten, so it's going to be a lot more downsized profile, helping you get in and out of cover, as well as it's going to give you a lot more increased sensitivity. And then I picked up one of their punch rigs just in case I wasn't feeling like flipping and pitching a jig. This guy will pair perfectly on whatever soft plastic and hook that you're already using. And again, it's going to come with that tungsten jig head, so it's going to be a little bit more finesse profile. And this is a 3/4 ounce PB&J. Lastly, for skirted baits, we have the Tightrope Baby Fireworks Super Jig. And again, this is essentially just going to be a nice finesse style profile on a jig. 1/4 ounce. This right here is going to be in black and blue with a 2/0 hook. Then we got that Summer Craw color again, so it's going to have one kind of green chartreuse side, the other is going to be green pumpkin. And then this color right here caught my eye almost immediately. It's just going to be your standard pink. Whenever I saw this color, I was dying to have it just because I knew this would work perfectly for smallmouth fishing as well as bed fishing. I've never seen a pink jig before, and I just figured it would be really difficult to get my hands on it if I didn't. But again, this is another company that's under the Catch Co brand, and I'm a huge fan of these colors. The rest of this stuff is kind of random, so we're just going to kind of burn through it. We got the Johnson Beetle Shad. It's just a small finesse profile on a swim bait. We got the Strike Pro Super Quality Super Ice Sinking. It doesn't have a name. This is like a jigging wrap essentially. I'm pretty sure I just randomly threw this in my cart and wasn't even looking whenever I bought it because it was like 50 cents at the time on their clearance page. I'm sure it's going to be extremely effective in some sort of a jigging fashion over humps, rocky points, main lake points, etc. Again, with this Strike Pro brand, this right here is the Swing Pop. At least they gave me a name for this one, but it's in the bluegill color. It says it's tournament grade. I have no clue if it really is. I've never really fished with Strike Pro, but I guess we'll have to find out for the channel. But it's a topwater. Essentially, you're going to fish it like a walking bait, but because of that bill right there, it's going to help it kind of walk and pop, I guess. And yeah, it comes in a 3/8 ounce, 3.5 inches, so it should cast pretty well. Next up, we got a couple traps, and this right here is the Cotton Cordell Super Spot. I'm sure you've heard of this. Basically, everyone has, but it was a really nice gold color, so I went ahead and picked it up for the low. And then I got another one of these Jenko rattle traps that comes equipped with a VMC treble hook. It's essentially like a line-through rattle trap, and the color right here is Texas Craw. So I was a fan of it whenever I first fished with it, so I figured I'd pick up another one. I picked up 3 of these Lucky John Makuro swim baits. Essentially, it's just like a gold kind of yellowish body with a purple top and some realistic looking little eyeballs. I picked up 1 pack of these big bite baits that are saltwater paddle tails. I didn't realize that when I picked them up, but I'm not really complaining because I'll still probably use them whenever I go fishing on the coast. And lastly, for Karls baits, we got some Karls baits. We got blue craw right here. This is just a plain kind of craw. I'm going to take one of these out of the package just to show you, but they do come in a clamshell and they are sauced up. Like my fingers are greased up almost. Oh gosh, see, it's like slipping out of my hands. For the price that I got these, for these to come in a clamshell packaging like these, that's a huge bonus right there. And then we got Texas Craw right here, which one side's going to be orange, the other side's going to have a really nice dark, almost a green pumpkin kind of body, and it's just going to have red and gold fleck running through it. So first up, if you can't recognize the packaging, we have G-Crack, and these right here are their version of like a brush hog, I guess. So this is the bunny hog, and I'll go ahead and take one of these out of the package and show y'all. This creature bait with these massive knocking appendages. I guess they're gonna swing back and forth through the water column. The smell on these is crazy. They smell like Whataburger fries and cardboard. The reason why these baits smell so funky is because they used an SAF soft plastic formula. I'm not really sure what SAF stands for. I think it's like salt, amino, and salt amino formula. I don't know. We can look it up together really quick. SAF material is G-Crack original material for soft plastic baits. S, salt. A, amino acid. And F, flavor. Okay, so, I mean, we were pretty close. And again, that right there is the bunny hog. We got 3 packs of those. And I think they come with like 7 to a package. It really doesn't say. 6-inch creature bait, really big profile. Probably use them on a Carolina rig. And then next up in the G-Crap line, G-Crap, wow, golly. Don't laugh. Alright, next up in the G-Crack lineup, we have the bait that basically made them popular, and this is the Bellow Gills, in 2 extremely interesting colors right here. Again, I don't remember the name. I think this is like Love Bug or something. On one side it's got June Bug, and then the other side it's got like this watermelon red fleck. And then same concept here. I don't know what the color is because I ordered it a long time ago and I can't read Japanese, but it's a green pumpkin on one side, and then it's got like a summer craw kind of chartreuse on the other. And again, these baits are basically what made G-Crack extremely popular. Many people have won tournaments on these baits. I think the most popular victory with these baits was Alton Jones Jr. They also have the Bellow Shad. He might have won with the Bellow Shad. This bait has nothing to do with JDM or anything really in this video other than the G-Crack Bellow Gills or the Bellow Shad. And the reason why I put it in this was to show that these baits are essentially like the same thing, but they're made out of an indestructible plastic. They're made here in the United States. They're easier to get. So here's Purple Grass, and then we have Kissimmee Gill. This company did catch a lot of heat and controversy because of the fact that a lot of people said that they copied this bait. And I kind of see it. Obviously, it does look similar. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. When companies do stuff like this, I guess you could call it copying, mimicking, or I mean, are they just reinventing the wheel, making the wheel a little bit more affordable and available? I really don't know. I picked up a few, and I have a couple packages of these, so we're going to have to give them a little underwater test and maybe a head-to-head test and see which one performs better. That does it for the G-Crack side of things. Let's move on to some more JDM. Next up, we got some Yozuri baits, also made in Japan, and just some topwater baits. So we got a topwater walker and then 2 poppers. This right here is going to be their bone color, and then this right here is Prism Gold Black. This is also Prism Gold Black, but the only difference is that on the popper it's going to have that kind of chartreuse style head, and then this is not going to have any chartreuse paint on the bottom. But still really nice looking colors and really nice looking hard baits. I'll be excited to fish with them and try them out. Next up we got Kitex, and we got a whole bunch of Kitex soft plastics. So just to get started, everybody knows about the Kitex Swing Impact 4-inch. This right here is the standard bait that everybody fishes as a trailer. Simple ball jig head, drop shot, many different styles, many different ways to rig him. You could even throw him on an Alabama rig. This is probably the bait that made Kitex popular. Then to go down a size in length, but to kind of increase the body width, right here we have the Kitex Fat Impact, and this right here is going to be an extremely effective paddle tail when you're looking for a bigger body profile. So it's really going to be effective rigged on like a flashy underspin or something like that. But this 3.8-inch size, I do find that it fits perfectly on a spinnerbait trailer, like a 1/2 ounce to a 3/8 ounce. Really nice looking colors as well. So right here we have Electric Shad, and then this is going to be Bluegill Flash. The top side is going to have like a darker body with some blue and gold glitter. Bottom's just going to have a little bit more of a pearl body. And then this Electric Shad's going to have that gray body with that purple kind of fleck running through it. 2 really nice looking colors. Obviously one's going to represent a bluegill and then the other one's going to represent a shad. Taking things down another size, we have the 2.8, which is going to pair perfectly on a finesse jig head, which I'll show you a really nice one to use here in a minute. And for the color, I just got it in Pro Blue Red Pearl. Next up, showing off a fairly new bait by Kitex, this right here is the Leech, a really nice finesse drop shot bait. If you're fishing like river systems, creeks, again, especially it being a leech profile, many bodies of water have leeches and don't even know it. And if it doesn't look like a leech, then it's going to look like a worm. Obviously this right here is going to be Morning Dawn, really nice looking color. This is going to be Cinnamon Blue. And then we have Electric Shad. This right here is going to imitate a worm. This is going to imitate some sort of bait fish or minnow. And then obviously we got some sort of bluegill or catfish fry. Still talking about soft plastics, we got some Spro soft plastic baits here. This is going to be like a finesse style EWG flipping and pitching weightless bait. Or you could fish them on a drop shot. It's going to have a small flange there at the end. This color right here is Real Mimizu, and it comes in a 3.5, and then I believe they have it in a 4.5. I just picked up 2 packages of the 3.5, and then this color right here is Ozark Craw, so it's kind of got a green body with some purple fleck running through it. Another soft plastic by Spro. This is the 2.75 pintail minnow. Really nice looking, interesting bait. Probably fishes really good on a drop shot. I really wouldn't know any other ways to fish him. I'm sure you could do it on like a finesse Ned rig. We got 2 interesting colors. This right here is called Cellmate. So it's kind of got like a white and purple body with some blue and silver fleck. This color right here is called Spring Craw, which on one side kind of has like this green pumpkin watermelon seed. And on the other side, it's almost like a summer craw chartreuse. Really nice looking color. And then it's got watermelon red fleck and black fleck in it. The cool thing to note about this bait is I believe that it has a small bubble or like a hole in the body of it that's going to help it float on a drop shot. And then lastly, it does come scented in some sort of amino formula, so I'm sure that can't hurt. Next up, we have 2 different frogs made by 2 different companies. This right here is Spro, and then we got Teckle. A bronze-eye frog I'm sure everybody has heard of. If you haven't, then this is probably the best frog that's on the market. It's been on there for years. Mostly everybody's fishing this frog right now, so if you don't have a bronze eye, I definitely recommend picking up a couple colors. You could probably just get by with albino and then some sort of a black color. And then we have the Teckle honker, which this is not going to be like your standard frog. And I'm going to just go ahead and take him out of the package and show you what I mean. So the major thing to note about this frog is that it doesn't have skirted legs. Instead, it has these blades that swing and kick back and forth and then kind of collide into each other or whatever when you're walking the frog. And then the soft plastic is extremely soft and supple, so whenever something comes to hit it, it's definitely going to hook set, penetrate probably as well, because the hooks are already angled upward slightly. I don't know if y'all can kind of see that, but weight system's on the bottom right there. You got your line tie, red eyes. This is a frog that I recommend fishing more like in open water or lily pads. I wouldn't recommend throwing him in scum just because I think that those barrel swivels will get caught up with grass. Lastly, for Spro, we have the Little John MD. Really nice flat side style crankbait. I believe that John Cruz did help develop this. And this color right here is Ozark Craw, so it's kind of got like a green pumpkin body, a little bit of chartreuse, nice red eyes, and then it's got some purple glitter running all over it. I mean, golly, man, this bait looks money, dude. Whenever I saw it, it immediately caught my eye. I don't own any of these, and I heard many good things about this bait. Everyone says, oh, you know, pick up a Little John, go fish him around rock, go fish him around a bank, whatever. All right. I picked it up. I'm going to give it a try, and you guys are going to get to see firsthand, I guess, if these catch fish. But the color definitely caught me, so hey, I guess that works right there. This is probably my favorite company on the JDM market right now, and it's Jackal, mainly because they have a lot of ingenuity and design in their baits. So this right here is the Nico Flickworm. Comes in 2 different sizes, many nice, interesting colors. Like I was saying, many different sizes and colors. This right here is the 5.8, and this is the 4.8. So I got 2 natural colors in the small size. This is Green Pumpkin Candy. Got like a green pumpkin body and then some green and purple fleck. And then I just got a plain watermelon pepper seed. And then for the 5.8, we have 2 interesting colors. We have Prism Gill and Prism Shad. And essentially one side of it is going to be like a green pumpkin. Then the other sides are going to have like a purple, kind of white descent running through it. And then the Prism Shad's going to have some fleck. Almost appears to be like a holographic fleck, as opposed to no fleck in the Prism Gill. Quick tip on how to rig these. Obviously it says that they're Nico Flickworms and you just rig them up on a Nico rig, but definitely wouldn't mind recommend fishing these on a wacky rig, especially if you fish them on a weighted wacky rig. Wow, that was tough to say. Weighted wacky wig. Really effective bait. You can fish them on a Nico, you can fish them weightless wacky, you can fish them weighted, however you like. I'm sure he'll catch fish for you. Another interesting bait in the Jackal lineup, we have the Honey Nugget, and we picked up a whole bunch of these. We got like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 2 different sizes as well. So right here, we have the 3-inch, and then this right here is the 3.8. In terms of colors, we have Zaragani, Sand Zaragani. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. If I'm not, feel free to make fun of me in the comment section. Green Pumpkin Chartreuse. Pretty self-explanatory. Green pumpkin on one side, chartreuse on the other. But it's got some green fleck running through it. Really nice looking color. And then we have Cola Blue. Almost looks like a blue fleck, but the color is literally like a Coca-Cola. And then it has blue fleck running through it. Those are all in the 3-inch size. And then for the 3.8, we picked up some more of that Green Pumpkin Chartreuse. So again, same concept. And then I got that Cola Blue again as well. And the reason I picked up these two colors in the 3.8 and in the 3.0 is I think these two are probably my favorite colors in the entire Honey Nugget lineup. If you haven't fished with these, if you haven't tried them, give them a try. I promise you're going to catch fish. They represent a bluegill extremely well. Now this is probably the most ingenuitive bait that I think Jackall has to offer, and it's the bounty fish. The bounty fish is a topwater soft plastic bait that has this net joint system in between, basically holding each soft plastic together, helping your bait walk back and forth. Almost like a walking bait, but literally just made out of soft plastic. This right here is the 158 size. Obviously just going to have it in that plain white pearl. It's going to be called White Shad, I believe, in their lineup. Then we're going to have Watermelon Pepper. Then we got two of the 140 size, and these colors right here are just Chartreuse Back Shad and Strong Black. I've never seen a soft plastic topwater made like this, so I really got to hand it to them. And again, the colors are not bad. Obviously, you're going to have your shad colors, your bluegill colors, everything that's going to get you by. I definitely recommend rigging them on a thick gauge hook just so you get a really good hook set. You are fishing topwater, so they're going to explode and wreck this thing. 5/0, 6/0, definitely no less. Lastly, by Jackall, we have the Rhythm Wave, which this is essentially just a massive paddle tail swim bait that they offer. This is the 4.8 size, and the color is Prism Shad. So same thing as that Flickworm I showed y'all. It's got that green pumpkin body with a pearl and then the holographic fleck. Exact same color, but it's going to be in their paddle tail. And again, it's that 4.8 size, so it's going to be pretty large. I definitely wouldn't mind using him on a spinnerbait that is huge. I'm talking about like a 1 ounce spinnerbait, or probably using him as a big fish on an A-rig. So you could use him striper fishing, you could use him on an owner screw lock, a underspin, something like that. Next in the box, we got some Dobyns football jigs. This is a 3-pack that they offer. So I think it's like 3 jigs for $9.99. You pay like $3 a jig or $3.30 a jig, I don't know, something like that. But really nice quality hooks. They come with hand-tied skirts, Gamakatsu hooks, a custom bait keeper, really nice looking skirt colors as well, a recessed hook eye, and then the head design is made by Dobyns. This isn't necessarily the biggest JDM bait. It is a really high quality bait, and then it also has the Gamakatsu hook in there, which I guess that kind of counts, alright. But this color right here, if you're interested, is Midnight Purple, and I got it in a 3/8 ounce. Next up, we got a whole bunch of Kitech jigs. And when I'm saying a whole bunch, I mean like literally a whole bunch. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 Kitech jigs. So I'm literally holding like over 50, maybe 60, $70 in my hands just because I know how expensive these baits are. If you've ever fished with these, you know they're pretty expensive, mainly because they're made almost 100% out of tungsten. And they're probably the best jigs on the market right now. It comes in a few different styles, and we just picked up a few. So this right here is just going to be their casting jig head, and that's in green pumpkin. Then we have the football style jig head, and this is just plain black. And I did get different colors. Obviously this is going to be like green pumpkin and blue fleck. And then I grabbed some of their finesse tungsten jigs that are like 1/16 and 3/32 ounce. And they're really lightweight baits, but I think they'll be perfect for crappie, pan fishing. And you could probably catch bass on them as well in pressured areas. Or if you're just fishing like small creeks, urban settings, ponds, stuff like that. For color recommendations, we got green pumpkin, dark green pumpkin, bluegill tiger, and then brown and purple. These are all 4 probably my favorite colors in the Kitech jig lineup. They also have like a green pumpkin chartreuse. But again, we picked up like 12 of these. I'm not going to bore you to death because a lot of the colors are just repeats. Moving into some terminal, we have the Mega Bass Okashira Screwhead. And this is the bait that I was saying would pair perfectly with those finesse Kitechs. Mainly because the quality of this bait and the nice head design, as well as the weight that you can find them in. So this is a 1/8 ounce. And then you get the blade that's going to cause a lot more action that most jig heads don't have. And for colors, I picked up Shadow Spawn and then Spawn Kill. It's extremely effective if you're fishing in cold water, pressured areas, if you're fishing for smallmouth. And again, that blade on it's going to help it have a little bit more action and attract a few more bites. Jumping into my favorite terminal tackle company that there is currently on the market, it has to be Owner. And we got a whole bunch of packages of stuff. I'm not really going to go too into depth on the exact details of what size hooks I have, weights, and etc. But I will show you all the designs and different kind of hook styles that they have. The first thing I want to say though is look at these packages, bro. These things look like they came straight out of an anime or like a comic book or something. Every time I see these, I just want to buy them simply because they look so cool. Like, dude, I literally want to fish these and look like I'm in some sort of like a fishing anime. I don't even know how to explain it to you, but the packaging on them is phenomenal. And then they do come with some really nice waterproof kind of packages like these that are resealable. This right here is the Ultra Head, so it's their version on a round ball jig head. Extremely strong, effective hook. Nice quality jig head. It's probably going to hold up really well after a bunch of catches. Owner Flashy Swimmer, of course. This guy's extremely popular on the market. He's probably caught so many fish. You can take the blade off, customize him, take a little bit of lead off, and then obviously you're going to have that center pin screw lock, which is going to hold your soft plastic so much better than most screw locks that you have on the market today. And then we have another Flashy Swimmer, but this one comes with a gold Colorado blade. Cross lock snaps that I'm going to pair perfectly with some of these expensive swim baits we got over here. And then we have the Ultra Head Block Head Offset. Then we have the Ultra Shaky Head, and this right here is going to have that same kind of screw lock method. So again, you're going to want to pair this guy up with some sort of a stick bait, just because that screw lock is going to pair perfectly all the way to the jig head, and it's going to help hold your stick bait that much better. But obviously you're just going to rig this guy up as a shaky head. There's nothing more to it. Another pack of Flashy Swimmers, but a quick thing to note is that these have silver Colorado blades rather than gold. And then we just got some of their terminal hooks, so some finesse mosquito hooks, some straight shank worm hooks, and then some EWGs. And lastly, for terminal baits, we just got some barrel swivels and some split rings that we can use to either replace on baits that we need, or we can add them to spoons if we need them as well. Rigs, whatever else we're doing, stuff like that. But all of these are JDM tackle companies, and they make some really good quality terminal, Spro, Gamakatsu, Owner, whatever you're using, even Kitech. They all make some really nice looking stuff, so don't be afraid to check this stuff out. Some of it is a little bit difficult to get your hands on, and then it is a little bit pricier than most baits. But if you can get them, they're going to be that much more effective, because that just means that the next fisherman beside you isn't using it. That about does it for the JDM tackle. Before we jump into some of the swim baits, I just want to show y'all this quick tackle bag organizer that Daiwa has. I believe that they were exclusive. I'm not exactly sure how many more are on the market or available. It comes with some JDM baits on the inside, as well as that clear view organizer that you're going to be able to put baits, fishing line, terminal tackle, soft plastics, really whatever in. But it comes with a crankbait, comes with a spinner bait, a blade bait, and then on the back end of everything we got a Daiwa J braid pack with some braided scissors inside. I'm probably going to use all the stuff that it comes with and then end up filling it with a whole bunch of JDM baits. Now for the grand finale, what everyone's been waiting for, the swim baits. Directly on top we're going to have the KGB Spro Shad, and this color right here is going to be Bone. Really nice looking huge swim bait. I believe this costs like $59.99, so it's like a $60 swim bait. A little bit pricey, but obviously it's going to be a lot more affordable than the original KGB. Kind of just like a little small detail they add that I liked is they put a little bone right here next to the head for this bone colored swim bait. I don't know, I just kind of thought that was funny. Then we got some Berkley Nessies. We got the 7 and the 5. I believe this is like 10 bucks and this is like 8 bucks or something like that. These were popular immediately when they first came out. I know a lot of people that were catching some huge fish on them, and we just got it in that unpainted color and then green pumpkin. So kind of like a gill representation and then like a big gizzard shad. Then we got a Mike Buka Bull Shad, which this right here is like a $55 swim bait. So with this and the KGB, we're already over $100. But really nice looking swim bait right here. I'm gonna go ahead and take them out just to show y'all. The body's made out of some sort of like a hard plastic or a resin of some sort, I believe. But it's got like a purple-descent shimmer running through it. You really can see it whenever I do that. I don't know if the camera's picking that up. I hope it is. It's got those big yellow eyes as if it was a gizzard shad. It's going to have kind of like that brush tail. It comes stock with some pretty decent EWG looking trebles, but you might want to consider upgrading them. They could be mustad, I'm really not sure. Again, really quality baits. You're paying top dollar for them, but they should catch you some top quality fish. Next up, just downsizing a little bit, we got the Mike Buka Bullgill. So it's just going to be a smaller style of the swim bait I showed you over there. Also a lot more affordable and really cool, interesting colors. So this right here is going to be Violet Brim, and then this color right here is going to be Ruby Gill. Both of these really represent the bluegill that are in most of the ponds and bodies of water that I fish. So that's the reason I picked these colors up. Do be sure to check out some of the other colors that they have, because you might find something that works a little bit better in your area. Next up we got some Savage Gear Pulse Tail Mullets, and these were made for saltwater, but I'll probably still fish them inshore and brackish water and probably even some lakes. A couple things to note about them: they have like an internal rattle, a small little hook keeper, or a weight keeper if you want to put like a treble hook there on the bottom. Two really nice looking colors. We got Golden Mullet and then Dark Mullet, so it's going to have a purple hue to it, and then obviously it's going to have that gold. Then we got a couple big bite baits, line throughs. These are the B5s, and they do come with a treble hook already with them, so all you got to do is thread your line through them. The two colors I picked up are just going to give me some shad representation. One's going to be a little bit more natural, less aggressive, and then this one's going to kind of stand out in dirty to stained water. This color right here is going to be called Magic Purple. and then this is just citrus shad. And again, these are just a couple line throughs. They come already pre-threaded with some straw in them. So all you gotta do is put your line directly through the bait and you're good to go. Next up, we got the Z-Man Hercules, which this is gonna be similar to that Savage Gear Pulse Tail Mullet, but a quick difference is it's not gonna have that wedge tail. It is gonna have the hook hanger at the bottom there for an added treble or extra weight if you wanna get it to dive deeper. And it is gonna have that hook shank at the top, and then your line tied directly at the front. This bait is made out of Z-Man's Elastec material, so it's going to hold up way better to those toothy critters, especially if you're fishing saltwater or inshore. But I would not recommend putting this guy in your tackle box. Just keep it in its original packaging until you're ready to fish with it. And then once you're done, just let it dry off and then put it directly back in the same package. Because if you put it in your tackle box, that Elastec might definitely melt up against some other stuff or just up against the side of the box and ruin the bait. This right here is going to be called Gold Rush. This right here is going to be called Bad Shad. And then right here we got Sexy Mullet. And then this right here is called Opening Night. It's almost got this purple descent running through the body with some silver fleck. That Bad Shad is just almost like a dirty electric shad profile. I just don't recommend putting it in any of your tackle boxes because it is made out of that Elastec material. So just keep it in its original package and you should be good to go. Next up, we got a Jackal Gantarelle Jr. And this swim bait has a lot of time and thought put into it. I can see it from the treble hooks all the way to the fins and the color schemes that they come in. This color is obviously going to be a little bit more like dirty to stained water presentations, but they have some very realistic looking gantarelles. If you're looking for like a really realistic bluegill swim bait, I definitely think you should check out the Gantarelle. Next up for swim baits and glide baits, I got some River to Sea S-Wavers, and we got two different sizes. So we got the 168 and then we got the 120. I picked up two of the 168s in light trout, and then I got the 120 in abalone shad. And the reason I got two of these is mainly because there's a lot of stocking that goes on here, and you're likely to catch a huge bass if you throw like one of these kind of trout style representation baits, especially during the stocking season. I've heard a lot of mixed reviews on the S-Waver, so I'm excited to give it my own review on the channel. If that's something y'all are interested, y'all make sure y'all are staying tuned for that. Next up, we got a Googan Squad rival. So this is Googan Squad's take on a glide bait, single jointed swim bait. It's going to come in 7 inches. It's going to weigh 2.1 ounces. Really nice chemically sharpened black nickel hooks. The color patterns are obviously going to be pretty specific to Googan Squad, so if you ever ended up fishing the Contender, then the rival's going to have similar color patterns. This one right here was bluegill, just in case you were wondering. And then lastly, for hard body swim baits, we have the Storm Arashi, which I heard from many people that this is probably the most affordable, yet the best functioning swim bait for the price. The color I got is Pro Blue, mainly because I figured it'd work in a lot of water clarities, but it does come equipped with some VMC hooks, a spare tail just in case you lose it. Again, the color scheme on it looks like it's going to be pretty effective. 3 jointed swim bait, so you're just going to want to cast him out, reel him in pretty slow. I'm probably going to fish him around docks, wood cover, main lake points. It weighs 2 3/16 of an ounce. It's a 7-inch swim bait. Really nice quality bait for the price. I'm excited to fish with him on the channel and catch some big ones. Moving to some soft body swim baits, we have the Baka Burrito. This right here is Tactical Shad, probably my favorite color that they have. And I really wish I would have picked up the 6-inch as well. This is just a 5-inch, and I got it in the fast sinking rate, mainly so that way I could kind of be fishing him fast, obviously. The Baka Burrito got its name because it was designed in Lake Baccarat in Mexico, and I believe that is probably one of the most popular swim baits to fish over in that lake. I'm pretty sure a bunch of people have caught like 10-pounders on this bait, and just huge, giant double digits, so I wouldn't be surprised if I end up catching one myself. I believe he costs like 30 or 40 bucks, so it is pretty expensive for a swim bait. It's not made out of your typical plastisol. It seems like it's made out of something a little bit more durable, so that's a big plus. Next up, we got 3 6-inch mag drafts. Extremely popular bait on the market right now. Really popular to fish under docks, cold water, or really if you're just looking to get a big bite. This color right here is going to be Albino Pearl Shad, which is probably my favorite color in the entire lineup. Another interesting one, and one that I think is effective on a sunny day, is going to be Silver Shad. Obviously because it has that holographic shimmer in the middle, and then that black kind of top. And then we have Biwako Shad, which I got this just because the purple running through the body, but it also does almost look like a trout, so I figured I could fish it kind of around the trout stocking season. And then I did pick up some of the Mag Draft Freestyle, which these don't come with any sort of like a treble hook like the Mag Draft originally does. It's just going to come with the 2 soft plastic swim baits, and then you're going to use whatever hook you want. So for example, like a 7 or 8/0 screw lock would probably work perfect with these guys. Quick thing to note, it should be a lot more weedless than the pre-rig Mag Draft, mainly because this is going to come with a treble, and you can use a single hook on this. For the color, this right here is called Ayu. It's kind of got like a blue chartreuse with some silver fleck blasted through it. Still talking about megabass, but just going down in profile for a swim bait, we have the Dark Sleeper. And a quick common mistake is that people do fish this like a swim bait, And I'm not saying you can't. You probably could just cast and retrieve him, and I'm sure you'd catch some fish. But the real secret to fishing this guy is to fish it like it's a jig. So you want to cast it out, hop and retrieve it, flip and pitch it into areas that you think there's a fish, but there's a lot of heavy cover, and it should come in and out of cover pretty cleanly, mainly because the hook is concealed in the top dorsal fin right there of every single one of these dark sleepers. The dark sleeper is a really popular bait on the market, and it has been for a while now. Many people have been fishing this in tournaments and just filling their live well. It does come in some different sizes, so we have the 3/8 ounce, ½ ounce, and then once you step up to the 3/4 ounce, the size of the actual bait does change. For colors, we have Wakasagi, Mutsugoro, Donko, and Haze. All the color schemes seem pretty unique for this style bait. If I could just recommend you 2 colors though, I would have to say that Haze and Donko are probably going to work pretty effectively, mainly because this guy's going to have your red eyes. It's going to be a little bit dirty water kind of profile. This guy's going to have clear eyes, a little bit more clear kind of white, a little bit more of a clear water profile. You should be able to get by with just both of these just fine. And lastly, for the JDM, swim bait, Mega Bass, Kaitex, Spro, Yozuri, all of the Japanese market unboxing. We got the sleeper craw, and we just picked up 3 of them, all 3 different colors right here. It's going to be the 5/8 ounce and a 3-inch. This color right here is going to be called grass craw, so essentially just like a watermelon red. Then we got smoke sunset. It's just going to be a smoke black fleck with purple and gold fleck running through it as well. And then this is just going to be a plain black and blue. I just tried to give myself 3 different colors, 3 different representations that I thought would work in different water clarities. Again, this guy's going to be flipped and pitched and fished like a jig, but a quick thing to note is that you might want to fish him almost like a football jig rather than the Mega Bass Dark Sleeper being fished like it's a swim jig. One last thing to note about this bait is that the appendages on this craw bait are going to actually float, so it's going to put it like it's in a defensive manner and really represent a crawfish that much more realistically. I'm really excited for this box right here. Directly on top, let's just start out with top water. We got us a couple different head and spooks. This right here is the Boyo, really small size. It's like some sort of speckled magic trout or something like that. And then I got a 1-knocker in this chartreuse silver insert. And then I picked up an unpainted one that I'd probably end up painting myself as a little DIY project. I figured that's something y'all would probably enjoy on the channel. If it is, be sure to look out for that. Next up, we got a scum frog. This is their trophy series in the watermelon red. Weighs ½ ounce. I mean, this is probably one of the best frogs to fish around scum, lily pads, hanging moss, really anything. I think it's going to come through a lot of cover, mainly because of the head design. It's a very soft and supple frog, and the hook points are kind of hidden inside of the frog right there. So again, it's going to be really weedless. It's going to come through cover really well because the head design and this color right here, watermelon red. Just going to be a nice classic frog representation. We got a couple Bagley top waters. This right here is the Bagley Wake 1. I'm not exactly sure on the color, but it's just like this chartreuse kind of body. Almost looks like a bluegill or a sunfish. And then this right here is the Spintail. I believe it does dive about like 2 to 3 feet, but you can work it on top if you retrieve it just really slow. The faster you retrieve it, the faster you twitch and jerk it, the deeper it's going to go. You can let it pause, rise, sink. The reason why it's called the Spintail is it's going to have a little prop right here on the tail of the bait. It's going to help it kind of just create more water disturbance. Next up, we got some Team Arc baits, and this right here is going to be the top water blower. I believe it's the 115 size. Really nice, interesting looking color. Not exactly sure what the color is called. Let's see if I can find it. Bleeding Minnow. Bleeding Minnow. I don't know exactly why it's called Bleeding Minnow. I don't really see any blood on the bait, but these kind of baits are extremely effective whenever you're looking for a nice big top water profile, yet it's still going to be pretty subtle. It's almost going to function like a pencil popper, so it's going to kind of like blow a lot of water forward, hence the name, you know, the top water blower. I'm a big fan of Team Arc. I think they make some quality baits. I really like the hooks on these. I think they're extremely sharp, as well as the color patterns that they typically have seem to be really effective in most of the areas that I fish. Lastly, for top waters, we picked up a Booyah Pop and Pad Crasher. It's just something that I started out fishing when I was a kid, and it just stuck with me ever since. I think they're really effective, so I do use them. And this color right here I think is called Night Train. So it's just like a black and blue. I do have different frogs that I fish now as I've grown up, but I still like to keep this guy on deck, just kind of in my back pocket, mainly because I think the profile does get bit. Next up for Team Arc, we got the Elite Z63 in 2.5 inches. This guy weighs 5/8 of an ounce, so he's going to be a little bit heavier than your standard ½ ounce rattle trap. And the color right here that we picked up is Golden Craw, so really nice looking color. So similar in concept, we got the CT35. This right here is just going to be a standard square bill crankbait. It's probably going to dive like 3, 4, 5 feet max, I believe. You can probably get it to like 6 foot on 10 pound. This color right here has been extremely effective for me. If you've watched the videos on my channel, you can probably see me smacking some 4-pounders with this. Definitely a couple 2-pounders, but yeah, this is a really nice quality bait right here. And the pattern we have is just a simple green gill. Really nice looking color. It's kind of got like a gold flash running through it, and then it's got some green as well running through the body. I ended up picking up 4 of them just because I had so much luck with them in the first place. And I figured, hey, if I'm going to catch a bunch of fish with them and then end up losing them, I might as well make sure I stock up. Moving on, we got some Yum baits, and this right here is just the Yum Pulse swim bait. It's going to come in 2 different sizes. We have the 4.5 and the 3.5. This color right here is called Chartreuse Clear Shad, and then this color right here is called Houdini. 2 really nice looking colors. I'll probably use them as a trailer on a spinnerbait or definitely on an A-rig. And then we picked up a couple packs of the Storm 360 GT Search Bait. This made to be fished alone because it comes with a ball jig head, so I'll probably just do that. But a couple quick things to note about this bait: it has a built-in rattle, and then the jig head is made by VMC, so it's going to be quality black nickel hook, as well as it's going to have some nice looking colors. This right here is Pearl Ice. I picked up 2 packs, and I'm sure they're going to serve me well. This right here is just a 3.5 inch, 1/8 ounce, so it's going to imitate a bait fish profile really perfectly almost anywhere I go. Stepping on up a size, we have the 1/4 ounce right here in the color Chartreuse Ice. Quick thing to note about this one specifically, it comes with a bill, so it's going to almost behave like a scrounger, just kind of diving through the water column and swimming downward, allowing it to have a really nice looking motion that most ball jig heads don't have. And then we picked up some Storm 360 GT Coastal Little Swim Baits. I'll probably use these guys inshore fishing, saltwater, brackish water, really any situation that they call for. I believe the color I have here is Morning Glory, so it's going to have like a black and red flake kind of body with that chartreuse tail. And then we got the original Wild Eye Shad in the color Shad. 1/4 ounce, 3-inch bait. You know, just an original classic. Everybody's probably fished with these before. These are really effective for beginners, or if you're just going out fishing with someone and you don't really know what to tie up for them. It's pre-rigged. They can cast it out, retrieve it, jig it, swim it, whatever they want to do, and they're at least probably going to catch a fish. This right here is Storm's take on a rattle trap. So this right here is the Storm Arashi Rattle Vibe. Really nice, interesting looking profile on this bait. I haven't really seen many rattle traps that have this kind of look to it, and it says it has the self-tuning line tie. Never tried it before, so not exactly sure how that's going to work, but we'll definitely see how straight and true it runs. Then it has a single soft knock rattle to it, so that's going to give off a profile that most fish aren't conditioned to. Really nice looking bait right here. For the 2 colors I picked up, we just got Bluegill, and this right here is called Dirty Shad. This is going to be more like clear water representation, and this is going to be obviously dirty water. And then probably the bait that made Storm popular to begin with, we're going to have the Storm Wigglewort. This right here is going to be Phantom Green Purple Craw, Black Glitter Chartreuse, and then Washita Craw. Mainly because I do go fishing in Washita Lake a lot, so I'm kind of curious to see how reactive the fish are to him. Quick thing to note about this little crankbait is he packs a punch. He weighs 3/8 of an ounce, but he gets around 7 to 18 foot, depending on what line you're using. But really nice looking bait right here. Stepping on up a size, we got the Deep Wigglewort. This guy's going to dive around like 10 to 20 feet, and I think it's going to weigh like 7/16 of an ounce. So you're going to be able to cast him pretty far for sure. He's going to get down to the depth that you want, and it comes in some really interesting colors as well. So this color right here is going to be fluorescent red, black, and I really like how they painted the bill there as well. This color right here is Phantom Green Crayfish. Again, I like how they sprayed the bill there. Peanut Butter Jelly Craw. Had to get it. You know, I had to get it. And then just a classic bone. Whole bunch of different crankbaits. They should cover pretty much every section, clarity, all that good stuff. And I've heard a lot of good things about the Wigglewort. Going back to some swim baits, we got the Duck It BD Swim. This right here is a massive hollow body swim bait. I'm probably just going to make some like line throughs with him. I don't know if y'all can see this on camera, but there's like a massive black hair inside of the package. I don't know what that's from. And the package is sealed. It's stapled shut. So like I haven't opened this. I can't do anything about it. That's definitely not my hair, but I don't know, maybe you'll kind of give it some added flavor. This right here is the Live Target bait ball spinner rig. It's essentially like a little mini A-rig that's the size of a spinnerbait. It looks so interesting. I was like, dude, these have to work, right? And I picked up a couple of them. I'm yet to try them, so I'm really excited to show these off on the channel and seeing what we hook into. A couple quick things to note about it. It comes in a few different sizes. There's a small, medium, and a large. This right here is a medium, and it weighs like 1/2 an ounce. For the color, we got Chartreuse Silver, and then this right here is going to be Purple Pearl Silver. You just throw them around like it's almost like a spinnerbait. Moving on, we got some 6 cent swim baits. This right here is the Whale in the 4.5 size. The color right here is really interesting. I think it's called Gill Dust, but it's got like a green pumpkin body with this purple kind of orange fleck running through it. I really hope the camera's doing it justice. For a 4.5 swim bait, it looks like it has a really nice profile. Nice thick body, so you could throw it on an underspin, you could throw it on a single hook, you could throw it as a trailer if you really wanted. I'm not really sure what the side appendages do. Maybe it helps the bait kind of glide through the water column or help it stay straight whenever you're reeling it in, swimming it. but I like it. It kind of makes the bait look a little bit more realistic, and it does kind of look like a little mini whale, so I see where they got the name whale from. I don't know, it kind of reminds me of those gummy sharks I used to eat as a kid, but I'm sure it's going to work effectively. Staying on track with 6th Sense, this is probably my favorite swim bait on the entire market right now, and mainly because it's got such a downsized finesse profile. It's got a screw lock jig head, so you're going to be able to hold up your soft plastic swim baits, trailers, everything's going to stay on there like 20 times better. It has a 5/0 hook, so it's going to be big enough to actually get a good hook set in, but the downsized profile, again, it's not going to shy away any fish. And the color profiles on them are magnificent. So right here, I got black light. And let's see if I can just take this out of the package real quick and show you. So already, as you can see, it's got like these neon green eyes. It's got like a black, blue, and some purple running through the body. So that's like right up my alley. Dirty watercolor with some purple in it. Heyo. But it comes pre-banded, and I would just leave it like that until you're ready to trim off the skirt. So that way you'll have a more symmetrical jig. Really nice quality looking bait. Again, it's going to have a screw lock keeper in there. Really nice, solid, yet supple weed guard. And then that 5/0 hook is really going to be like a gaff. I wish I would have picked up like 10 of these. I only picked up this one, unfortunately, which was a dumb move on my part. But if 6th Sense wants to like reach out and send me a whole box, I'm not complaining. Lastly, for 6th Sense baits, we got the Speed Wake. Essentially, it's going to be like a jointed swim bait, glide bait kind of thing going on. But then it's going to have a bill on it. And you're just going to really cast him out, burn him in as the bait intends. It's called a Speed Wake. And you should be able to hook up on some really big fish. I've heard a lot of guides use this bait. This color right here I believe is called Rayburn Ghost. So it's got like a purple kind of ghost body with a little bit of silver fleck. I'm going to take them out of the package as well. But like I said, it's going to have that joint. It's going to kind of look like just a single jointed swim bait. It's going to have a bill right here. So when you're swimming him, he's going to probably dive about like a foot underneath the water column and cause a lot of wake on the top of the water. But the hooks look really quality. Nice big black nickel hooks. EWG kind of bend on it. So probably going to work really effectively at catching some really nice fish. And it sounds like it has a single internal rattle, so that's also going to be pretty effective. Again, that's the 6th Sense Speed Wake and Rayburn Ghost. And then we just picked up a whole bunch of terminal tackle from 6th Sense. So we got some size 1/0 hooks and then some number 1 wackies. And then I picked up one pack of these flipping hooks, just a size 3/0 to be able to flip like some finesse creature baits. Whatever anyone says, I'm personally a fan of 6th Sense. I always go off on my own reviews, and I think that their quality of stuff is pretty up there with the rest of them. Pulling out some more terminal tackle, we just got some Gamakatsu hooks. We got a couple octopus hooks in the size 1/0, and then we got some 2/0 and some 4/0 EWGs. Again, I'll probably pair those with some creature baits. Then I'll use this guy on like a wacky rig, Nico rig, and obviously you can use them live bait rigging. And lastly, for terminal, I found these Trapper tackle hooks that were on sale. They kind of looked really interesting. They have like a square bend in the hook rather than the EWG or just a typical straight bend that you're used to. But I picked them up because I wanted to see how they would function as opposed to other treble hooks and probably do some sort of a test on the channel. But it says that they're supposed to have some sort of superior pinning capabilities. I don't know, we'll see about that. Next up, we got a couple jigs from 2 different brands. We got Greenfish Tackle and then Nichols Lures. I'm a big fan of both of these brands. I think they make some quality baits. This right here is going to be a 1/4 ounce swim jig in the purple shad. And then this right here is going to be a 3/8 ounce skipping jig in the color Purple Haze. So purple shad, purple haze, peanut butter jelly, whatever. I'm sure you can kind of see a theme going on. My favorite color is purple in most baits. Next up, we have the bait that really made Nichols Lures popular, and it's going to be their spoons. And really, this one right here is probably the most popular one to go with. It's a 3/4 ounce shattered glass silver. 4-inch spoon. You're going to be able to fish this guy on striped bass, largemouth. It does come in a couple different colors and sizes. So there's like 4-inch, 5-inch, and then you even have like this magnum spoon. So for colors, again, we got that shattered glass silver, and I picked up 2 of them just in case I lose one. This color right here is called Purple Threadfin. It's going to have one side purple. It's going to have a yellow strip running through it, and then the other side is silver. Probably my favorite color right here. Again, all 3 of those are in a 3/4 ounce. Then we stepped up to the 5-inch spoon, so this one's going to weigh 1 ounce and 1/8, and this color right here is Golden Shiner. Couple quick things to note about this bait. It's going to come pre-attached with a split ring and a swivel, and then you're going to have that treble hook with that feather in it, so it's going to really have a nice action. It's going to flutter nice and smooth through the water column. And again, like I said, they have this massive size magnum spoon. What's ironic is this is their mini magnum, so I really don't see how this is mini. I'm guessing that it's only mini because there's like an 8-inch that's going to be even bigger. This right here is a 6-inch. It weighs 2.5 ounces, and the color right here is lavender shad. I honestly don't even know if I have a rod to throw this bait yet. I might have to go do a little bit of shopping, but I'm a big fan of big spoons, but this is like big spoon on a different level. I'm sure it'll catch big ones once I learn how to work it, but until then, it's probably just going to sit up on the shelf. Staying on the topic of spoons, but switching style, this right here is more of a jigging spoon. It's just going to be like a full lead spoon rather than a flutter, but really nice quality looking baits right here made by War Eagle. It's got a built-in swivel, nice looking scale pattern, and then some colors as well that I find interesting. I picked up 2 different sizes. We got the 7/8 ounce in the nickel color, and then I got a 1/2 ounce in purple shad. And the reason I really like these baits is because they come with 2 in a pack already. So if you lose one of them, you already got a backup. Or if you're out fishing and you're catching the snot out of them and your buddy isn't, you just say, hey bro, I got an extra one. You tie them up this, and you're all catching fish. War Eagle Custom Lures tends to make some really quality baits. Obviously the EWG treble hooks are a really big bonus, but the quality in them is unmatched. I think the paint holds up, the durability, the catch rate on them, everything about these baits is really nice. Moving on, we got a War Eagle buzz bait. This right here is a 3/8 ounce buzz bait in the black purple color. Then I got a single Colorado blade spinner bait by War Eagle, again in that black purple color, but this right here is a 1/2 ounce, so I figured I'd probably throw him around at night, dirty water, really just trying to represent a bluegill or create a silhouette. And again, it's going to come with that multi-coat epoxy paint, so it's going to hold up way better than any other spinnerbait blade that you're going to have. Next up, we got a couple of their traditional spinnerbaits. So this right here is going to be the 3/8 ounce in the color Silver Shiner. It's going to be a double willow blade. And then this right here is going to be a 1/2 ounce in that double Colorado blade with the white gold color. And then the major plus with these spinnerbaits is that they're plated in 24 karat gold, so it's going to hold up way better. It's going to have a nicer shine. The action on it's going to probably be a little bit better as well. And obviously it looks like jewelry, so can't complain about that. And lastly for War Eagle, I picked up one of their finesse spinnerbaits. So same kind of thing I mentioned earlier about the blades. And this color right here is going to be called Sexy Purple Shad. I believe it weighs 5/16 of an ounce. A hidden key I'm going to give you about this bait that not a lot of people think about is it comes in a 5/16 ounce. You're not going to find many spinnerbaits in a 5/16 ounce. And whenever you're flipping and pitching, most people don't even flip and pitch a spinnerbait. This right here is a finesse spinnerbait, so it's perfectly made to come in and out of cover. If you flip and pitch this spinnerbait through wood cover, you're bound to catch some really nice quality fish. Still staying on topic with spinnerbaits, we got the Covert series by Booyah. This color right here is JC Special, and I believe it's in a 1/2 ounce. I believe that the blades on these are high quality as well. They're made by Hildebrandt, so they're going to hold up really well. They're going to shine really well. I mean, Jason Christie is the master of the spinnerbait. Everybody knows that, so he definitely probably knows what he's talking about and knows what he's doing when he made this bait. Moving on to a bait that's essentially like a downsized spinnerbait. We have the Underspin. This right here is by Mustad, and we got it in a couple different colors and a couple different sizes. If you're unfamiliar with what an Underspin is, it's essentially just a jig head right here. It's going to have some sort of a keeper, and then some sort of a blade on the bottom side of it. Could have a Colorado blade. This one right here has a willow blade painted silver. If you had to pick up one size, I recommend getting a 1/4 ounce. These two right here are in a 3/8 ounce, and I believe it's in some sort of a chartreuse shad color. And then a bait that I think has been shadowed by the Underspin for a while now. This right here is the Tailspin. This specific one is made by Lunker Hunt. For colors, we got Gilly and Chartreuse Glow. 2 different sizes. This is a 1/4 ounce and then a 3/8 ounce. So the difference in fishing this as opposed to an Underspin is probably going to be more like you're fishing open water situations, they're batting at it, you need a treble hook to get a good hook set. Also, if you feel like they're hitting a blade a lot on the Underspin, then switch to the Tailspin. It might increase your hookup ratio. And lastly, we got the Acme V-Rod. Pretty much just a classic simple blade bait. You're going to cast and retrieve this guy. He's going to imitate like a small bait fish profile. Or you can vertically jig him, suspended over some bass, but really effective little blade bait. It's probably going to put off a little bit of a vibration. And the color scheme on this obviously was really interesting. That's kind of why I got it. The name on this bait is kind of sus. It's Pony Boy, but I thought the color was interesting, and I have a lot of like silver and chrome, black nickel, all that kind of stuff blade baits. I didn't really have any colored blade baits, so this is a really nice painted blade. That completely does it for the first Tackle Warehouse box. Let's move on to the Stanley Ribbit box. First on the Stanley lineup, we have their buzzbait, which is called the Ball Buster. The color is black and blue flash, and the weight is a 3/8 ounce. I'm going to assume it got its name because the 2 metal balls right there that are hanging on the wire probably going to hit up against that blade, causing a lot of commotion. Pretty interesting name. It's made in the USA, so the wire's probably going to hold up really nice. Color's probably going to hold up well as well. I am a fan of the jig head they have designed there. It has like a flat kind of profile, almost like an arc or a skipping jig. Now the main reason Stanley's popular is not because they're hard topwater baits, but it's because they're soft baits. And these right here are going to be the Stanley Top Toads. Probably gave them the rise to fame that they have now. Extremely effective soft kind of topwater buzz bait essentially. We got a 3-pack in the color Cane Toad. The best ways I can recommend rigging these guys up is going to be on some sort of a double frog hook with a screw lock. I believe Stanley does offer one in their lineup. Then we have the popping hollow body toad. I'm going to take one of these out real quick and show you what the difference is. But pretty much, instead of having just, you know, a nice walking style head, it's going to have a popping style head. And you're meant to just kind of chug him along, almost like a topwater popper. But the back is going to displace a lot of water with those feet. Next up, we have the Stanley Ribbit. So it's going to have that full body rather than the hollow body. But it is going to have flanges on the tail there, so it's still going to be different than a horny toad or something like that. The 2 colors I can recommend you, this is Wild Shiner, this is School Bus. Easily my two favorite colors in the lineup. If I could just have two, it would be these two. Stepping on up a size, we got the Stanley Bull Ribbit. It's going to be a 4-inch toad rather than a 3.5 inch. As well, it's going to have a little bit more meat to the body there. But pretty self-explanatory, just going to be a topwater toad. Comes with 3 to a pack, and the color right here I got is called black. Hey, that rhymed. I'm a poet and I already know it. Next up, I picked up a whole bunch of these Stanley Ribbit poppin' toads, but they come pre-rigged with that double frog hook we were talking about. That's kind of why I picked them up, mainly because I don't have those hooks, but also because, you know, I'm kind of lazy and they do the work for you. I'll just kind of run through the colors real quick because we got like 6 of them. So we got cricket frog, gold shad, river toad, black, baby bass, and bluegill. And again, these do come pre-rigged. They're going to have that hook right there for you. It's going to have a screw lock on it. They're going to rig the first one. You're going to be able to open this up, immediately start catching fish with it, and then once you're ready, once you've ripped up the first one enough, you're going to go ahead and switch them over to the second one and continue to keep catching fish. Once you've fished both of them, if you somehow manage to keep your frog hook, then you'll just have a free frog hook to use on other top toads. And lastly, again, same concept but with the top toad. This right here is ET toad and wood frog. These are 2 of my favorite colors that the top toad comes in. I believe that they're probably the coolest looking colors, as well as they're probably the most effective where I fish. You definitely could get them and try them out. Let me know what you think in the comment section or something. You know, just tell them Simon sent you. Again, it's going to come pre-rigged in the 2-pack. It's going to come with the hook. Everything that you need to start catching fish immediately. Big plus, they're made in the USA. The hooks are amazing. If I had to pick a favorite between the top toad and the poppin' toad, I'd probably say the top toad, but a lot of people would say that the poppin' toad's more versatile because it can do everything that this one can, but it can also pop. So don't be afraid to give them both a try. Let me know what you think. First of all, in my personal opinion, remember, my personal opinion, I think that the Suffix 832 Advanced Superline with that Gore-Tex technology probably has like some of the strongest line that I've ever used. And I'm not going to lie, the colors on them as well are really nice. So I'll go ahead and take this out and show you what I mean. This right here is called Sunrise, and it's got like a pink, purple, kind of whitish kind of braid. Really nice for visibility if you're fishing inshore, saltwater, stuff like that, and that's kind of why I got it as well. Again, it's going to be made out of that Gore-Tex fiber technology, so it's just going to hold up that much better. I picked up 2 different colors, so this right here, the Sunrise, is in 50-pound test. Again, I'll probably use that for inshore. And then I got this color right here is camo. Pretty self-explanatory. Just going to have green, brown, and a little bit of yellow undertones, but really nice looking colors. And this right here is in 40-pound. So I'll probably use this for flipping and pitching. And then one key thing to note about this braid is that because it's made out of that Advanced Superline Gore-Tex, it's going to have a way thinner diameter than most braids. So it's not going to be really thick. I think it has like 8 fibers in it, and it's going to be a really rounded off braid. And then I picked up one of their quality, cheaper versions of some low vis green. And this is 65-pound test, and this is probably heavy cover flipping and pitching, as well as my large top waters. So some mega dogs, large spooks, really large prop baits. Next up we have Tough Line XP, and I'm a huge fan of this braid, especially if you can find it in the black color, because then you can flip and pitch him and that line is virtually invisible. But this one right here is just a yellow color. Obviously it's going to be like a high vis, and it's in 50-pound test, so I use this guy for inshore fishing. You can use him flipping and pitching on a bait caster. You could even throw him on a spinning rod if you were crappie fishing, but I definitely would recommend way lighter test, because this 50-pound is around a 12-pound test. You might want to rock with like a 20-pound and less. But again, Tough Line XP does make some really quality line, made in the USA, so I'm a fan of that right there. It's quality made, it's affordable, relatively easy to get your hands on, especially again, like I said, if you can get it in black, it's probably going to be better. At the end of the day, you can always just color whatever braid you want with a Sharpie and make it black, so there's that little piece of information as well. And then we have Beyond Braid, which I'm not really sure why this brand gets a lot of hate. This is probably one of my favorite braids on the market, like other than obviously the Suffix and stuff like that. But the reason why I like Beyond Braid is it kind of gives me that look good, feel good kind of thing going on, where you can pair it up with one of your bait casters and rods and stuff and have everything just kind of one color looking awesome. But again, they do make some really quality braid. This right here is 500 yards, and I think it was for like 30 bucks, maybe less. Again, the color scheme on it is really cool, blue camo. It allowed me to pair it up with my black and blue combo, so everything seems to fit. I like the color, and look good, feel good is a thing when you're fishing. Confidence is a thing when you're fishing, so if that's something you're interested in. And then you can't talk about braid without talking about Power Pro. This right here is probably the most popular braid on the market, as well as probably the most accessible. But obviously, you guessed it, we got 50-pound test, and then I got a 10-pound test for my spinning rod, finesse fishing, crappie fishing, pan fishing, all that good stuff. And there's nothing really wrong I can say about Power Pro. Affordable, nice line, nice diameters. The one thing I could say, I guess like the markdown, is it only comes in a 150-yard spool. which really isn't that much when you think about it, because like a 10-pound test is equal to 2-pound diameter and 150 yards of 2-pound test. You better hope that you're filling up a really small reel, or it's not gonna, fill up. But again, just classic quality braid, made in the USA. So I keep a few on deck. Another thing I really like to keep on deck when it comes to braid are these like braid and fluorocarbon kits. So it's going to come with braid and then fluorocarbon line leader. And I have a few different brands right here. So Vicious is going to come with some braid right there. It's going to be like 10-pound test, and then it's going to come with a spool of some fluorocarbon as well. I really like whenever they put the actual spool like that, because then your line isn't just going willy-nilly. But yeah, Vicious makes a really quality one. This right here I'm going to pair with my spinning rod. Seaguar also makes one, and it's called Tactics. Now, I am a better fan of the Tactics braid, so this stuff is really good braid, but I will say that the fluorocarbon comes in some sort of a jank like plastic container, and it just seems like it'll get messed up. Here, I'll pull it out and show y'all. So there's the spool. We got it in camo color. Just like how this line comes, I'm not a big fan of that. I think you'll probably get like one use out of this if you're lucky. And then the last brand for these kits we got right here is going to be Spider Wire, and they paired up with Berkley, so they got Berkley trilene fluorocarbon in them. Now really I have to give it to them for probably having the nicest design on one of these fluorocarbon braid kits. And check this out right here. It actually has the spool in the back of this spool. So this spool is your braid spool, and it holds your fluorocarbon spool back here. Essentially what you're going to do is you're just going to spool up however much braid you need, and then take this guy off the back end of the spool right there, and put however long of a leader you want, and then reattach them. And once you run out of both lines, don't throw this away. What you could do is you could just refill this spool with whatever leader line you want, and refill this spool with whatever braid that you like to use. And you have a little combo kit that you could just take anywhere with you on the water. It's nice downsized in profile. You can throw it in your backpack. You could probably just throw this in your back pocket if you had it big enough. But and we picked up 2 of these. Came in 2 different colors. So this is just a low vis moss green, and then this right here is going to be a high vis yellow. And for the test I got 20-pound and 8-pound, so again probably like spinning reels. Next up we got some fluorocarbon line, and starting out we just got some Seaguar Basics. 100% fluorocarbon line, really affordable. If you know you're going to be around some really big fish, like I'm talking like you're pond fishing a trophy pond, stock pond, or you're like tournament fishing, I don't know if I would rock with Basics, but when I'm pond hopping, this guy's never really let me down. So I picked up 4-pound test right here. 6-pound test, again another finesse line, obviously going to be for finesse fishing, crappie, panfish. 12-pound test, all around versatile. You could throw it on a bait caster or a spinning rod if you had to. And then 15-pound test, going to be more for your bait casters, flipping and pitching a jig, Texas rigging, chatterbait fishing, and whatever else you might be doing. Again, really affordable line. You can find them in Walmart, you can find them basically anywhere. Speaking of a really affordable line, we have Berkley Vanish. This right here is also probably one of the most affordable lines on the market and easily accessible. And I think it really works. I know a lot of people complain about Vanish, but I do use Vanish a lot. I think it works, especially if you pick up the easy casting. It's a lot better than just the leader line. I don't really use the straight Vanish leader line. But again, this is something that you could just fish like pond hopping, or like your buddy's out of line. He's like, hey man, I need a spool up. You just toss him one of these. You're not like breaking the bank. You're helping somebody out, or you're just keeping yourself more prepared. And then for poundage, I got 6, 8, and then 17. So this is going to be a little bit thicker. I'm probably going to use them on some flipping and pitching baits, maybe some swim baits, large chatter baits, large spinner baits. Now these packs come with 250 yards, but I do pick up some of the 500 yard spools. So like right here, we got 6-pound 500 yards, 10 pounds, 12 pounds, 14 pounds. I've caught a lot of fish on 14-pound Vanish. And then going up another size, this right here is the 2,000 yards, which we got it in 8-pound test. Again, like if a buddy's like, dude, I need to spool up my spinning reel, I got you. No problem, dude. This thing is literally 2,000 yards of line. I probably won't go through this within a year for sure. I'm going to be able to use as many leader lines as I want. Again, I'm a big fan of Berkley Vanish. It's made in the USA. I know a lot of people aren't, and I'm not really here to change your mind. I'm just trying to say that it works for me. Back to this box, we have my favorite fluorocarbon on the market. This right here is Berkley Trilene 100% fluorocarbon, and it's professional grade, so you can use this in tournaments. I definitely recommend it. It's also really affordable, and you can practically find it anywhere. Bass Pro, Cabela's, Tackle Warehouse, Omnia. Anywhere that you look, you're going to find some Berkley Trilene. I mean, I've used it to catch some really big fish. It holds up to 5-pounders. At least that's what I can confirm. And I picked it up in 15-pound and 10-pound. The reason why this line is my favorite is it's just been the most durable and most affordable option for me. I've never had a single break-off using Berkley 100% Trilene fluorocarbon. I trust it whenever I'm fishing tournaments. It's made in the USA. I can find it locally. I definitely recommend you picking up some of these. Going back to this box again, they do have a bigger size of the Berkley Trilene. So this right here is 500 yards of a 15-pound test Berkley 100% Trilene fluorocarbon. And then you can't not talk about P-line when you're mentioning fluorocarbon. So of course this is a really popular fluorocarbon amongst those like JDM guys, mainly because it's made in Japan. I had to pick some up just to give it a try. This right here is their P-line Tactical. I've heard it's a little bit more durable. I'm pretty sure I picked it up in like 25-pound test to use on like swim baits and stuff and like leader line. And it comes with 200 yards, so same as any other spool, you really can't complain there. I don't really use mono that much unless I'm fishing like a topwater with treble hooks, like a walking bait, popping bait, or something like that. Or if I'm fishing something that needs some sort of like a leader with a little bit of stretch to it. I think it has a little bit more stretch than fluorocarbon. And once you put a weight on the end of it, it's really not going to matter if it's fluorocarbon or monofilament. It's going to sink regardless. And then for the color that I get, typically I'll go with some sort of a low-vis green, just because I'm fishing some sort of dirty water and I want it to be as invisible as possible. Lastly, this is a fishing line that doesn't get a lot of love, and it's basically a copolymer. This right here is by Grand Slam, and it comes with this little rubber band that's going to help hold your line in place whenever you're spooling and unspooling. So I'm a big fan of that already. They kind of paid attention to details there. You definitely cannot go complaining about that. As well as it being fluorocarbon coated, it does have less visibility to it, so that's a plus. So what copolymer line is it's fluorocarbon mixed with monofilament. It's essentially going to allow the line to have a little bit less visibility than mono, as well as kind of potentially sink a little, but it is quality line though. The reason I use Grand Slam is whenever I'm inshore fishing, as well as leader line. Whenever I'm looking for something right in between monofilament and fluorocarbon in terms of stretch factor, this right here is the sweet spot. Another sneaky little tip I'll give you is try fishing copolymer on a crankbait. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's because it suspends a little bit more than fluorocarbon, but still allows some sinkage. It kind of sits in the water column perfectly, helps you kind of tick against grass and cover, yet not dive too deep to where you're just like hitting snags and really breaking off. So really quality line to use there. I do fish Grand Slam whenever I find the need for it, of course. All right, now that we're done with all the fishing line, let's move on to some accessories. Just starting out with this first accessory and kind of staying on the concept of line. This right here is a lure retriever, aka the pocket knocker. And what you're going to do is you're going to just kind of loop him around your line and shoot him down directly vertically over your lure. Hopefully it'll kind of hit whatever's snagging it or hit your lure, knocking it out of place, unhinging the hook. So these do save you time and money. They will help you kind of get a snag out. And honestly, they probably do help save like a lot of money on baits. But the one downside I could say is that if it doesn't work, then you're down just that much more money. And you're definitely going to have to cut off. I wouldn't recommend sending another pocket knocker after another pocket knocker. I've never tried that just because that sounds risky. I don't know, maybe someone with some more experience with these can let me know. But they do definitely work, and if you're interested in saving some baits, like you get snagged on a crankbait and some wood, that's like prime example. It's just going to hit it immediately out of that wood, and you're going to be able to recover whatever bait it is. If it doesn't work on the initial drop down, then you can give your rod just kind of a couple knocks and some slack, and it should just kind of bump it a couple times and hopefully just knock it out of whatever's holding it down. But really quality kind of stuff right here. It's made by Strike Zone, made in the USA, so I'm a big fan of that, of course. I will say that I like the ingenuity and thought that goes into stuff like this, but I wish there was some sort of a line tie that you could attach just like some thread, so whenever you send it down, you could just pull it right back up, or even some fishing line. Just in case that you weren't able to get the snag undone, you don't also lose this guy as well, and it's more money down the drain. You'll be able to just pull him right back up, and you got your pocket knocker back. But I definitely recommend getting some of these. It won't hurt, and it'll definitely save you some money. Another quick thing I want to talk about for line, that it's not in the unboxing because I already have them, but you always want to keep some sort of like line cutters, especially some sort of braided line cutters. So these right here are serrated. It's going to allow me to cut braided line very easily rather than like trying to tug and twist and pull on it with a straight blade. And then some sort of split ring pliers, so that way you can change out hooks if they're broken, if they're bad, if they're rusted. If you find a bait, you can change out the hardware on it, then you have a brand new bait. As well as with the split ring plier, you can still remove fish hooks. So really plus there, it's like a 2-in-1 rather than a flat plier where you can't undo hardware. I definitely recommend keeping these two at least, and then if you can, some sort of like needle nose pliers or some hemostats. That's pretty much it in terms of like line, accessories, and gadgets and stuff that I would use there. Next up, we got some U40 cork sealant, so pretty self-explanatory. It's just going to seal your cork handles on your rods. This is something I definitely recommend doing. I catch a lot of flack for it. I don't really care, mainly because I'm spending a lot of money on these rods, and I want my rods to hold up as long as possible. And I will say that this cork sealant does work. I've been out fishing in the rain. I've been fishing in the mud. I've literally dropped my pole in the water, dropped it in a mud pit, so many different places, and it actually was able to resist and hold up to all of it. the rod still basically looks brand new. Even if I just gave it like a quick rub down and reseal it, it'll be right as rain. So again, I definitely recommend picking up some U40 cork sealant if you have some cork rods that you want to seal, you want to take care of them. You know, these things cost money, and they also are a memory, right? Like, I want it to last as long as possible and be like, yeah, that's the rod I caught like 10 10-pounders on, and it's still got the cork on it. You know, I don't want it to just be busted and broken. Now, I get that fishing's kind of like, hey man, whatever, just throw it in the back of the truck and just, you know, head out. Like, hey, I like doing that too. I got some rods for that. They're called beaters. I'm not going to put cork sealant on my beater rods. I'm putting cork sealant on my $240 cork JDM rods. You get what I'm saying? Anyways, that's enough about the cork sealant. Next in the box, we got some real maintenance stuff. So we got some Shimano grease and then some Lucas oil. So it was a little bit expensive, but the reason I got the Shimano brand of grease is mainly because I have a Shimano DC. And I feel like whenever you pair companies up with the same stuff that they use in factory or in store, then you're going to get the same results that you had whenever you initially bought it. Hopefully it's going to be like brand new. And then we got some Lucas oil that I'll probably just use on any of my bait casters. Huge shout out to Lucas oil. It's probably my favorite product to use, and it's mainly the only oil I'm really using. Simply because it's just so high quality, it's accessible, and it works really well in all of my reels. Lucas oil, if you're watching this, feel free to sponsor me. We could talk something out. Hit me in the DMs, hit me in the emails, because I love this stuff, dude. Like, I literally have like 3 or 4 bottles of these, and I've probably went through like 6 or 7. And yes, I am that kind of person that greases and oils their reels. I just like to have everything running at like all top speeds. So I'm sure I'm still going to get people in the comments like, oh, I got my ugly stick in the back of my truck for 30 years and it still runs. Yeah, it's an ugly stick. It has a lifetime warranty. I'm pretty sure they're made out of like indestructible parts, and you don't even feel a bite if it hits you in the face. Next up, we got some Mend It. And again, product of USA. If you're not familiar with this, then essentially it's just going to repair your soft plastic baits if there's a rip or a cut in them. So if you have some expensive swim baits and you don't want to throw them away, buy a bottle of this and it'll immediately fix it. Really nice quality stuff. It'll help you save a ton of money. It'll help you save a ton of baits. It'll also help you save time on the water if you're fishing and you don't have like something you need to go back to the truck, you need to go back to whatever. Just pull out this guy, fix it immediately, fix your Kitex, fix whatever. What pretty much happens is it causes a soft plastic chemical reaction, making them almost adhere back together and melt. And if you're interested in seeing how it works, I'll show it on my channel. Save yourself some money, get you a bottle. It'll last a long time. Next up, we're going to get into some attractants. So we got some power bait scent right here, just a bottle of it. Next up, we got 2 bottles of Real Snot, which this is probably my favorite stuff that the market has to offer. I believe it was designed by Mike Iaconelli. It's made in the United States, and it comes in 2 different scents. So we got like a Java coffee scent, and then just a standard unscented. You're going to be able to use this guy as a scent, but not only that, you can use it to unice your guides, you can use it to lubricate your line, you can use it to probably lubricate your reel if you're careful enough. This stuff is really nice. See right there, it says line conditioner and fish attractant. So it has a multi-purpose use. I'm a really big fan of that, especially in fishing. I like stuff that can have multiple uses, and this stuff really works. Not to forget, this Java scent does smell incredible, so if you're not a fan of like garlics and stuff like that, it's going to be way less potent. It's probably going to smell a lot better for you. We got a 4-pack of some Spike It pens. It's just going to be a mixed assortment of them. It's going to have like red, orange, blue, and chartreuse. All sorts of colors I'll be able to mix up, customize all sorts of soft plastics. Simply the way you do this is you're just going to lay your soft plastic on a flat surface and then hold it down while you just color it in. Obviously pretty self-explanatory. It's a marker. Along with it being a color customizer, it does come with some scent, so it comes with garlic, which can never hurt. Along with the Spike It markers, I did pick up like actual bottles of Dip and Glow. So this right here is going to be grape, unscented. And then we got chartreuse garlic, just a classic. 2 different color schemes. It'll kind of give me 2 different water clarity options. So a little bit darker and then a little bit stained color. Also a little bit clear water, a little bit murky kind of thing. I try to go with 2 different contrasting colors just to give myself the most options whenever I'm dipping baits. Next on the Spike It lineup, we got the Luma Pearl spray can. It's going to be a little bit more effective than the Dip and Glow kind of container, especially if you're on like a rocking boat that's going back and forth, a really windy day or something. You don't want to spill it. You just kind of lean your lure over the side of the boat and spray it. And as well as it's going to come in some really interesting colors. So we got Purple Descent right here. If you're not familiar with that, just go look at my other unboxings and I'll show you a whole bunch of lures that have Purple Descent running through it. Essentially what Purple Descent is, it's like a clear coat of shimmering purple rather than a solid opaque dark color. So I picked up that right there. I went ahead and picked up opaque purple right here, so it's going to be a dark colored purple. And lastly, I got iridescent gold, which is going to give me like a golden shimmer to all my baits. Again, like I said, a whole bunch of customization, real easy use. And I believe that it does come scented, so I think these are garlic. Yeah, all 3 of these come scented in garlic. Again, that can never hurt, always help. Lastly, for scents and attractants, if you're not a fan of anything I mentioned before, sprays, containers, markers, all that good stuff, then you can just get some fish sticks, which essentially is just going to be like a little chapstick container of scent, and you can rub it on all your hard baits. The real reason why I got a mix of everything is because I can use the liquid ones on soft plastics, and then the fish sticks are going to be more for my hard baits like crankbaits, spoons, slabs, all that good stuff. I picked up a 2-pack. It's going to come with that 4 times crawfish and 4 times shad. So if it's a shad colored crankbait, I'm going to rub the shad one on there. If it's a crawfish colored crankbait, rub the crawfish one on there. Really just see whichever one's going to work for me. I think that the fish sticks might be the best applicator for scents and attractants, mainly just because it's so simple and easy. You're just going to take the cap off, rub it on whatever. It's not going to leave a mess, and you're still going to get that scent on there. And just a whole bunch of stickers. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Tackle Warehouse stickers, a Googan Squad sticker, a Strike King sticker, and a Berkley sticker. Very cool. I like that. I like all of it. I'll probably end up putting the stickers on my door or my Yeti. I'm not really sure yet. Feel free to let me know what you guys think I should do with them. I'd appreciate any sort of advice, as I really don't know what I'm going to do with them. I do have way too many of those Tackle Warehouse ones, so maybe I'll end up giving some away. Anyways, that does it for the grand finale, as well as the entire world's biggest unboxing in general. I really had a lot of fun making this series, but I think I'm going to have a lot more fun here on out, fishing with this stuff, showing it off on the channel. As soon as we get everything set up in the studio, I'm going to make sure to show y'all all these baits in depth on my channel, show y'all where I fish them, how I fish them, the fish I'm catching, all that good stuff, really everything. Again, I had a lot of fun making this unboxing, but it's been difficult to just kind of sit around and patiently not touch everything. I've wanted to just open up and rip through all the... You have no clue, man. I wanted to rip through every single one of those Berkley pit bosses I showed, but I had to just, you know, hold back, resist, wait, make this unboxing for y'all, because I know y'all are going to appreciate it, and I really hope y'all do. If y'all did, please leave a like, subscribe, comment. Let me know what you enjoyed, and if there's anything that you'd like to see in the future. If there's any baits in specific that you really liked, or colors that you're really trying to get into. I am so excited to be done with this whole series. I had a lot of fun making it, but I think I'm going to have a lot more fun getting back to some fishing adventures. Anyways, until then guys, stay cool and stay on the water. Simon Says, signing out. Peace.